The final damn well game of the Week 1 finals. Hey guys, how you going? So down BK Sport. We are live as the Canberra Raiders are going to be taking on the Brisbane Broncos in a massive matchup between first on the table and fourth on the table. This is a double chancer. So, for the uninitiated, this does mean that whoever loses this game will actually take on the Cronulla Sharks after their win against the Roosters last night. The winner of this game will go straight through the preliminary final to take on the winner between the Panthers and the Bulldogs. So, obviously going to be a very interesting couple of weeks ahead. We've got 3 weeks until the grand final, and this is going to be a really interesting game overall because look, they're two very different styles of footy. Both these teams play an extremely different brand of rugby league. The Broncos are all flair, no breaks, want to score every single play. They have the speed, they have the pace, they have the energy. But also through that will make a lot of mistakes. And through that, because they're maybe pushing one too many passes, or maybe because they are trying a little bit too hard to have that flair, they can make those mistakes and teams can, rock them with a big hit, knock the ball out of their hands and get that knock on. The Broncos and Roosters are a very similar team in regards to that, but the Broncos still are a better team than the Roosters, just with a similar amount of errors more often than not. They do have a similar amount of errors throughout this entirety of the season, but the Broncos do have that extra quality and also, it's not even a fully fit team. It isn't even a fully fit team with the Broncos. They've obviously had a few players out recently, and they've actually been playing better. I'd say they've been playing better footy without the likes of Adam Reynolds, without the likes of Ezra Mann. Their team has actually been doing some pretty good stuff. And look, I wouldn't look at Selwyn Cobbo too much because I don't think the centre/winger will greatly impact the team on this kind of way. Like, I don't think the team improves dramatically from a centre being included or winger being included comparatively. Then again, Dolphins fans would argue their season fell apart when Herbie Farnworth went down. But the point is that the Broncos are high speed, high energy, no breaks, and can come a gutser, but they just really have that high attack. They were the second best attacking team in the competition this year. Whilst the Raiders, they're just a very balanced outfit. They've got a great forward pack. They've got a really solid spine that was completely underrated pre-season. They've got an incredibly strong centre pairing, and they've got an incredibly underrated wing pairing too in Savelio Tamale and Jed Stewart. Look, I think Jed Stewart's still got a ways to come, and so does Savelio Tamale, but Tamale, before he went down injured this year, was having some great reports about him. He was having some great season, and unfortunately went down for quite a while. Now he's back. I think this Raiders team is still super underrated considering their first position, and that's because most people had them for the spoon pre-season. I had them quite low in 9th position. I picked them to still be kind of around that 8, but not necessarily be in the 8. I said next year was going to be their year. But this year was the year. I was just 1 year too late. I was 1 year too late on predicting this Raiders team to actually surprise everyone and go and do well. And they finished in first place this year. So, look, I just think that overall, it's a very, very balanced roster that really does obviously get going forward through their forwards of the likes of Hudson Young, Corey Horsburgh, Joseph Tarpany, and Josh Papali'i and whatnot. Good to see that Josh Papali'i is playing today because there was reports that maybe he wasn't. We'll actually find out guaranteed in just a few moments because there's about an hour to go until the game does kick off. But overall, two very contrasting styles of play. Again, Broncos, like I said, second best attacking team in the competition. The Raiders aren't too far behind, but they're back and forth. And then defensively, they're both the exact same team. So it really does create an interesting dynamic today where if the Broncos are on, they absolutely could win this game. But the Raiders, they're playing at home, their first position. They had a whole bunch of players rested last week. Who gives a shit about that Dolphins game because they rested all their players? I tell you, this sets up for an absolutely gigantic matchup. So let's go through these two team lineups. Actually, let's quickly just go recap very quickly what's happened this weekend. So the first match of the finals between second and third was the Melbourne Storm versus the Canberra Bulldogs. It was 26-18 to the Storm, which means the Storm go through the preliminary final, and they will take on, I believe, the winner of the Sharks and Roosters. I don't know why I said Sharks and Roosters. The Storm Sharks and Broncos/Raiders. I think the Storm play the winner of the Sharks and then the loser of this game, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's all set up and sorted, but it's just I have to remember this off the top of my head. Anyway, long story short, the Bulldogs will play the Panthers next week after the Panthers beat the Warriors 24-8, and the Bulldogs-Panthers will take on. They must take on the winner of this matchup here in the Raiders and the Broncos. Anyway, long story short, Storm beat the Bulldogs. Bulldogs are still in the competition. They play the Panthers next week. The Panthers beat the Warriors. The Warriors are eliminated. The Panthers play the Bulldogs next week. The Sharks beat the Roosters. With the Roosters being eliminated, the Sharks will play the loser of this game between the Raiders and the Broncos. Right, and the winner goes through the preliminary final. So that is the recap. I'm not going to go too deep into it because most of you guys will know that, and it was confusing the living shit out of me for some reason. My brain is just not braining right this very second, but that is the recap of this weekend. But let's get into these two team lineups, guys. Let's get into this game today. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button, subscribe if you are new around here. Well on our way to 40,000 by the end of the year. We are about 2,700 to 2,800 away now, so we are absolutely pumping along. But the Raiders, they come to this game from first position. The Broncos come into this game from fourth position, and this is at GIO Stadium in Canberra. Now, the ins, obviously going to be a lot of ins, a lot of outs, a lot of shake it all about because the Raiders rested a whole bunch of players last week against the Dolphins. Yes, okay, the Raiders did get absolutely pump-a-mundossed. They got absolutely slapped, but that was with a completely fresh team, a rookie team. They lost 62-24. Still scored 24 points, mind you. That's the Dolphins, though. They can score points, but they concede a lot of them. But the ins here for the Raiders, Ethan Strange, Hudson Young, Jamal Fogarty, Jed Stewart, Joseph Tarpany, Josh Papali'i, Ko Weeks, Matty Tomoko, Simi Sasungi, Tom Starling, and Zach Hosking. And the outs, we've got Adam Cook, Chevy Stewart, Daniel Levi, Ethan Sanders, Joe Roddy, Kane Anderson, Manaya Fateri, Michael Asamoah, Noah Martin, Trey Mooney, and Vena Patuki Kase. That right there should tell you what the Raiders did last week. That right there should tell you everything you need to know. Everyone obviously going off saying, well, Raiders can't win the comp because of the 50 thing. Well, technically the statistic will, thankfully, please, I nearly want the Raiders to win this year just so we can remove this stupid 50-point thing because the Knights conceded 49 points in 2001 and still went on to win the comp. It's just 50 points on the dot. So I really hope the Raiders win this year just so we can remove that stupid statistic. But look, overall, there's not much to say here because this is just their team. So there's massive ins here that will really get this Raiders team going, and they have had that rest week. And if they win this game, they get another rest week, right? So these players here, they can go full on, all out in this matchup, get the win, and then get another rest before the preliminary final, which will be in Canberra again because they can't move to a bigger stadium because they are in a city separate to where the bigger stadiums are. Like, for example, Gold Coast. Gold Coast is only 50 minutes away from Suncorp Stadium. So if the Titans get a home final, which we saw in 2010, they actually have to take that from Seabus to Suncorp Stadium to be the home team, which they did against the Roosters in 2010. Same thing goes with the Sharks. They obviously can't play another, well, they can't anyway, but they don't get another home final at Shark Park if they had the opportunity. They actually have to take it to a call or to Allianz, right? So these teams that are in the local area the Storm get to keep it at AAMI. New Zealand gets to keep it at Mount Smart. All these different places, but Sydney and Gold Coast have to take it to the bigger stadiums, right? So that's why the Raiders are so beneficial there. They're just a little bit too far away from Sydney to actually shift it. Now, the fullback is Ko Weeks. The wingers are Savelio Tamale and Jed Stewart. Centers of Matty Tomoko and Sebastian Chris. The 5'8" is Ethan Strange. Halfback of Jamal Fogarty. With the front row forwards being Josh Papali'i and Joseph Tarpany, who is the captain. Number 9, Tom Starling. You go to the back row, Hudson Young and Zach Hosking. With the 13 being Corey Horsburgh. Interchange of Owen Paddy, Simi Sasungi, Morgan Smithies and Atamariota. The 18th man replacement being Matty Nicholson. And the coach is Sticky Ricky Stewart. It's a good team. And that's not telling anybody anything new because this team clearly came first on the table this year. They finished number 1 on the ladder. They had 2 more wins than the next best, which was the Storm. They had 19 wins, only 5 losses, whilst the Storm in second had 17 wins and 7 losses. And look, the points differential was much better for the Storm, but overall the Raiders just knew how to win their games more. Right, the Storm could be inconsistent at times. The Raiders, they really just simply weren't that inconsistent. If you go through their season, most of their losses really came at the beginning, like the beginning, because outside of that, they kind of just went on an absolute streak of games. So in the first 5 rounds, they beat the Warriors in Vegas, 30-8, and then they beat the Broncos 32-22, which is a key telling point here, and that was in Canberra. Then they lost that game to Manly 40-12, and they lost to the Cowboys, which was the Cowboys' first win of the season, mind you, 30-20. So they were actually 2-2 in their first 4 games, which people don't really remember about. So that 2 of their 5 losses came in the first 4 games of the season, and also, mind you, that they only had 5 losses. one of which was against a team that they rested all their main stars against, and the Dolphins obviously just ran amok with a full-strength team. So I'd kind of remove that loss from mine on a full-strength Raiders team. They've only lost 4 games this year, and 2 of which came at the very beginning of the season. So after those 2 losses, they went and beat the Sharks with a miraculous Sebastian Kris try, 24-20. They beat the Eels 50-12. They beat the Titans 30-20. They beat the Dolphins 40-28. They beat the Storm 20-18. They did lose to the Dogs. This was a key game they lost. They're actually up 20-0 at half-time in this game, and the Dogs came back and just run amok in the second half to win 32-20. I don't know if the Raiders want to play the Dogs because they maybe mix the way these two teams mix together might be an advantage of the Dogs. And I'm not just going based off of that game, just off of the 2 styles. It'll be a very interesting matchup if these 2 teams obviously did have to play, which would be the case. Yeah, which would be the case if the Raiders were to win this game, that it's winner of Bulldogs Panthers would go this side of the draw. So that could be the case, but overall there's another one of their losses. But then after that, 40-24 against the Titans, 16-10 against the Warriors, 26-24 against the Roosters, 36-12 against the Rabbitohs, 16-12 against the Tigers, 22-18 against the Knights, 28-24 against the Dragons, 40-16 against the Eels. This middle part of the season was incredible. It was absolutely incredible. Since after that loss to the Bulldogs, they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 games in a row, and then lost the Dragons 18-12, and then haven't lost since. 28-12 against Manly, 20-16 against the Panthers, incredible game, 24-10 against the Tigers, and look, again, I'm saying they haven't lost since because I don't care about the last game against the Dolphins because the Raiders played a completely fresh team. So this Raiders team is very, very damn well good, and especially throughout the second half of the season, because the first half of the season is kind of when their bulk losses came, even though it was still very limited. So whilst people are very heavy to get onto the Broncos here because they are the hype team, the Roosters are a very similar team to the Broncos, and they were the hype team, and guess what? They were the favourites last night in the Sharks game, and I kept telling everyone before the stream, in this part of the game, I was like, how are the Roosters favourites here? It did not make sense. And the Broncos aren't favourites in this game, but also they have a similar kind of, people have a similar thought process towards them. Now, I do think the Broncos have more quality than the Roosters, but it's just very interesting that people still won't give the utmost respect to the Canberra Raiders, who, outside of that Dolphins game, let's go back to the Raiders here. Outside of that Dolphins game, they lost 1 time in the last 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, actually, they lost 1 time since 1 game since the 10th of May, because the Dolphins game for mine doesn't count. Since the 10th of May, they have lost 1 game by 6 points to the Dragons in excruciating conditions at Wollongong. 1 game. You know, that's wild work. That's wild work. So I think the Raiders at $1.70 is actually relative value. I really do. I think it's relative value. The Broncos definitely have a chance, but, you know, it's relative value because seeing that team in first place at home have beaten the Broncos and scored 30 points this year down there in Canberra. Obviously, that was all the way back in round 2, but, you know, the point of the matter is that this team has only lost 1 full-strength game since, buddy, nearly my birthday on 4th of May. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I was still in India. I've been through 3 countries in this time frame. I was still in India. I hadn't even been to Thailand. I hadn't even been to Vietnam. I hadn't even been to Malaysia and then come back to Vietnam in that time frame. That's only 1 loss in that whole time frame for the Raiders. So, look, I think that they deserve a lot of credit. And I think they're not getting as much credit as they really should, but it's because it's Canberra, a locality that people don't really care too much about, right? But they are a big-time team. Now, the Brisbane Broncos, their ins, they've got Gehamat Shibasaki. Their out is Deloise Holtup. The fullback is Reese Beasy, Reece Walsh, with wingers being Josiah Kotopani and Dean Mariner. Centres are Katoni Staggs and Gehamat Shibasaki back in after his dropping for disciplinary reasons. The 5'8" is Billy Walters, the halfback Ben Hunt, with the front row forwards being Corey Jensen and Payne Haas. The 9 is Corey Pakes. You go to the back row, Brendan Piakura and Jordan Rookie. And the 13 is Patrick Carrigan, who is the captain. Interchange of Tyson Smoothie, Kobe Hetherington, Ben Talty, and Jaden Hunt. 18th man replacement being Jesse Arthurs, and the coach is Michael Maguire. Now, obviously, like I said, Gethemar Shibasaki comes back in after an internal suspension for what he did in regards to training and whatnot. He was suspended for last week's game. Now, last week's game was actually incredible for the Broncos. They did win 30-14 over the Storm. With that being said, there was a lot of things that people didn't really like to talk about, with the fact is that the Storm actually had nothing to play for. They played a full-strength team. We found across the weekend, we've spoken about this a couple of times this weekend and last weekend, you could see the clear intention from teams that had something to play for comparatively to the teams that had nothing to play for. And the Storm, throughout that game, you could clearly see did not have the anywhere near ferocity, anywhere near the motivation, anywhere near the same drive as the Broncos had to win it to guarantee themselves a top 4 spot, so they had a second chance. Because otherwise the Sharks would have been the ones playing in this game against Canberra down there. And the Broncos would have had to play the Roosters yesterday, which would have been an insane matchup because they're both the same team. I would have hit the Broncos, though. I still would have hit the Broncos in that game against the Roosters. So, the Storm didn't have that same drive. The Broncos clearly did, and with that, they were able to get a 13-plus victory, which is great. Very controversial game in regards to officiating decisions, but then again, we are not surprised with that in the NRL in its current state. But overall, if you look at the team here for the Broncos, obviously Adam Reynolds is still out, Ezra Mam is still out, Selwyn Cobbo is still out, and Xavier Willison is still out. But like I said, they've actually been very good even without those guys, because it looked like when we saw Adam Reynolds and Ezra Mam and Selwyn Cobbo go down in that game against the Storm back in round 23, that kind of looked like the Broncos season might have been done right there and then. And kind of at that time, I think everyone, including Broncos fans, thought, well, shit, maybe we're done here. Maybe the Brisbane Broncos have just gone and lost their season based off of both their halves going down at the same time. But yet, since then, they were able to beat the Dolphins 38-28, they were able to beat the Knights 46-12, and they were able to beat the Cowboys 38-30, and then the Storm 30-14. Now, the Dolphins game, and people, Broncos fans will be like, oh, you're just biased here, but I don't really give a shit. So, the Broncos versus the Dolphins game, the Dolphins, they score a ridiculous amount of points, but they also concede a ridiculous amount of points. In that 4-week span here, with including that Broncos game, they gave up about 200 points. I think it was 190 points in 4 weeks. 190 points in 4 weeks. That's nearly averaging 50 points a game against them in that 4-week span, which is absolutely insanity. So the Broncos still won that game, and the reason why it's still impressive is because they lost those players of Xavier Willison, Adam Reynolds, Ezra Mam, and Selwyn Cobbo, and Piakura wasn't playing in that game too. And the Dolphins were fighting for a top 8 spot at that time too, as were kind of the Broncos, but they were obviously able to put themselves into the top 4. But the Dolphins are a team that are very fluctuating in both sides of the ball. Incredible attack, really bad defense. They actually led that game 13+, the Dolphins, in the second half. They led that game in the second half, 13+, and then just absolutely capitulated. So the Dolphins are just shithouse. And then you go to the Knights, and we don't even need to talk about that. 46-12 against a team that literally came last this year. And it was at home for the Knights, where they won 2 games at home this year. They literally won 2 games out of 12. They were 2-10 at home this year. That's horrific. It's like the Titans at 3-9. That's horrific to have a home record like that. And then we had the controversial game against the Cowboys where they won 38-30. Very close game. Cowboys are a very similar team in regards to Dolphins, where they give up a lot of points, but they score a lot of points as well. It's just the Dolphins are the Cowboys on steroids. Truly, which is crazy to say. The Dolphins are the Cowboys on steroids. The Dolphins concede more points, but they score more points. The Cowboys, they don't concede as many points, but they score as many points. But it's really crazy that, the Dolphins are actually the same as the Cowboys, just on steroids, man. It's actually ridiculous there. But obviously that game was quite controversial, but the Broncos still won it. And then we had the Storm game last week. So look, overall, this Broncos team can score points. They can concede a lot, but last week was very impressive. They only conceded the 14. Outside of that, though, they gave 30 points to the Cowboys, 28 points to the Dolphins, 22 points to the Storm, 14 points to the Rabbitohs, which wasn't that great, but they did lose that game 22-20 to the Eels at Suncorp Stadium. Got 14 points to the Titans, 18 points to the Bulldogs. Their defense is thereabouts. Sometimes their defense, and I've said this since the start of the season, the Broncos' defense inside their defensive 20 is so strong. It really is. It is a very strong defensive 20. I don't know if I would say their defense overall is that great across the entirety of the field. I actually think I would say it's quite bad in the middle of the field. But at their defensive 20, I would say they're one of the teams that I have noticed throughout the year as maybe one of my best on the line. Bulldogs are going to have the first there, and I'd probably say Storm are going to be the second. Maybe you would argue Panthers third. I would disagree. I would say in the defensive 20, I actually would put the Broncos as third. I'd put the Broncos as third, and then I'd put the Panthers at fourth, which is a big call. But I would do that. I think they've been really impressive when the fact is that other teams are quite easy to get into their 20, but then they don't usually go up a great deal of points there. They don't usually go up a great deal of points, and a lot of the points in that Cowboys game actually came from big breakaways, right, and long tries being scored. So, look, who am I going to tip here today? I'm going to tip the Raiders. I do think the Raiders are too much solid. I think they're very balanced. I think they can score points. I think they can defend. If we go and have a look at the for and against these two teams, the Raiders scored 654 points this year, which is only behind the Storm, the Broncos, and the Dolphins. No, and the Roosters. So they were, they are fifth. The Raiders are in fifth. Actually, no, sorry, they had one more point scored than the Roosters. No, they're not, so they're fourth. So they were fourth for the attack. Raiders with 654 is behind the Storm 671, the Broncos 680, and the Dolphins at 721. Yeah, they scored one more point than the Roosters. So they were in the fourth position for attack, whilst the Broncos at 680, the only team that was above them were the Dolphins at 721, which is a ludicrous number, especially to not make the 8 Dolphins. It's a ludicrous number at 721. But the Broncos finished in second, only 9 points above the Storm. And again, it's not too far away from the Raiders at only 26 points scored more, but it is still more. So this is the second best attack and the fourth best attack in this game. And then defensively, the Raiders have given up 506 points and the Broncos have given up 508 points. So they're both the exact same team there. So the only teams that are above them were the Storm for defense, the Bulldogs for defense, the Sharks for defense, the Warriors for defense, the Panthers for defense, and that's it. Yeah, that is it. So Raiders were 6th, and the Broncos were 7th for defense. 6th and 7th. So it's a very even matchup here. It is a very even matchup. You would actually say both these teams are as balanced as each other, just actually based off of that stat there. The Broncos have more ability to score, only by 26 points though. It's just the Raiders have made consistent progress, whilst the Broncos have made very big scores in individual games. Like, for example, that game against the Rabbitohs where they won 60-12 or 60-14 or whatever it was, that's really the kind of game that's pushed them back up here. Whilst the Raiders, they haven't had, like, huge deficit wins this year, I don't believe, for the most part. You know, I would say the Raiders overall have just consistently won by decent margins rather than like a 60-point win or a 50-point win. That game against the Warriors, 22 points, that's a relative normal big score. 30-20, they lost 40-12, 30-20. I want to say 50-12 against the Eels was quite big. That was back in round 6. 40-24 is fine. I'm trying to see like really big scores. 36-12 against the Rabbitohs. Yeah, overall, it is just kind of that consistent big margin of between like 16 and 24 is what you're looking at here. But between 16 and 24 on a consistent level is kind of what the Raiders were quite consistently doing, whilst, again, the Broncos had a few really big results that dragged it up. Like, for example, the Broncos versus the Roosters to start off with, and then you had the Broncos versus the Bulldogs 42-18. You also had Broncos versus the Titans 44-14. That's relatively closer to the margin I was talking about with the Raiders, though. And then you're obviously going to have that 60-14 against the Rabbitohs. And then you got a couple of big results here at the end with that 46-12 against the Knights. So that's why I would say the Raiders have been probably more consistently medium in regards to big scores, which is the Broncos have had bigger scores, but in shorter time frames, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm going to take the Raiders here. I will take them 1-12. I think the Broncos should be able to absolutely keep it up in this game, and I could see well the Broncos win. I can understand why people are looking into the hype of it, just like I could see why the people were looking into the Roosters hype, but I do think the Raiders should be shorter odds. I think that $1.75 or whatever it was is actually, you know, quite decent value considering. You'd obviously be looking at the 1-12, but this Broncos team can explode but they can also completely fall apart. So just be careful in regards to the margin, because you could actually see multiple different outcomes here. Raiders don't usually tend to win games against the big opposition by 13 plus, though, which might sound like a pretty obvious thing to say. But the Raiders a couple of years ago were kind of this team that would always get 1 or 12 wins. Let's go have a look at recent games. So when they've had games against the big teams, they won 20-16 over the Panthers. They... their back end of the season hasn't been difficult. 26-24 over the Roosters, 16-10 over the Warriors. Won by 2 against the Storm, lost 32-20 to the Dogs. Their back end of the season, they had to play all the tough teams at the beginning, really. 24-20 over the Sharks. Usually when they win against these big time teams, they do make them really, really close. So that's why I'd say Raiders 1 or 12 here, which... Look, should be the obvious prediction, but there's a reason why it's the obvious prediction. There is a reason why it is the obvious prediction. But anyway, guys, there we go. That is the preview for today's game. Obviously, hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Let's finish off the weekend with an absolute bang, and let's see who gets to play against the Shaggy Sharks next week. The Shaggy Sharks. I said for the last 4 or 5 weeks of this season, my prime time finals matchup would be Broncos Sharks. It would be. It would be my prime time finals matchup, and right now we have a chance for it. Right now we have a chance for it, son. Come on, Raiders. Get us that final. Get us that victory so that we can see the Broncos Sharks, which, I don't know who I'd tip, man. That would be such a good game. It would be such a good game. But like I said, thumbs up, subscribe. Let's get into Le Chat-Ola. Olivia Ruby, the $8 do donations. Another day, another dono. I'm pumped, got a beer, and I'm ready. Olivia's getting around her Raiders today. Getting around the old Vikings. Getting around you. Olivia, appreciate you for your $8 do donation. Funny Cat Vid says, should be the game of the round. No, I think Sharks Roosters was game of the round. If anyone who says that wasn't a good game is crazy to mine, I would say my ranking of games would be Sharks Roosters just over the top of Bulldogs versus Storm, and then Warriors Panthers obviously in third. Warriors and Panthers always in third. But it had a great chance to be a good game, that Warriors-Panthers game. Unfortunately, a call really decided a lot of how the outcome of the back end of the game went. But the Panthers probably still were going to break through this Warriors defense, the tired defense at some stage regardless. However, if that ball didn't bounce in the Panthers' favour, and Watene now gets that ball at the 45 or whatever, the Warriors are going to be on the attack 40 metres out. The whole game has changed. It's just that kick was so good where it bounced back for the Panthers, and then they got a really beneficial call without that forward pass. So, if that ball just bounces in a different direction, the Warriors get it, they're on the attack, and they're only down by 4 rather than now down by 10. So it would have been a very different game. Still will end up playing the loser of this game in the prelim. Yes. Yes, they will. Because the Sharks will, yeah, because that's right, because the Dogs Panthers will take on the winner of this game. Yeah, exactly. Sean James is up in the noon, mate. Get around you. Okay, I got my Feel Good coffee. I have no idea what that is, but I've got my coconut coffee, son. Coconut coffee. Get around it. A beautiful Vietnamese coconut coffee. Get around it. Get around it. Killzeri says I'm going Broncos 13 plus. Why? On what basis, Killzeri? Are you a Broncos fan? On what basis? And I'm just being honest here. I'm asking you a genuine question. On what basis? You have to be a Broncos fan to have that much confidence. You're playing the team in first in Canberra, a team that beat you 32-22 when they last played in Canberra. There was no other game at Suncorp Stadium this year. And I don't understand where you're getting a 13 plus from here unless you're a Broncos fan. Aspects says, I've seen enough. New South Wales Cup is better than the NRL. What? Sam says, coming to Broncos. That's just skipped past a whole bunch. Oh, geez. This chat is messing up right now. David says, we're so back. Killzeri says, this is my prediction as I've been pretty spot on for their last games. Let's go. No, you've got to be a Broncos fan, Killzeri. It makes no sense otherwise. It makes no sense. What statistics are you basing off to say that the Broncos win this game 13 plus? I just don't understand where you would get that confidence from. Again, The Raiders won 19 games this season. The Broncos won 15 games this season. The Broncos lost 9 games. The Raiders lost 5 games, with most of those coming at the start of the season, and one of those games for the Raiders coming last week when they rested literally their team. The Broncos have lost to the Raiders 32-22 this year, which is a 10-point margin in Canberra earlier on in the year. And if anything, the Broncos are still a very inconsistent team, where they still lost the Eels 22-20 a couple weeks ago, despite the Eels being a lot better of a team. But the Eels then went and lost to the Rabbitohs, mind you, but could beat a couple of good teams at the top, whilst the Raiders, their only realistic loss in the last, since May 10th, was the Dragons, and that was at Wollongong. I just don't understand, if you're a Broncos fan, it makes sense, but if you're a neutral, I just don't see where you're getting that from. But that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. It doesn't mean it won't happen. It doesn't mean that you're wrong. I just don't see where you're getting that confidence from. Vompe says, keen and seeing which team is going to end up with the most points. Yeah, most points wins, Vompe. Yeah, most points wins the game. John says, critics have been praising the Raiders all year, almost as much as Reece Welsh. I don't agree. I see what your point is, John. I do think that people have been talking about the Raiders, but I don't think they're talking about them as heavy as a first-place team would be. I think that's because of the location of the team. The Bulldogs at the top of the table, everyone's talking about them. The Broncos at the top of the table, everyone's talking about them. New Zealand at the top of the table, everyone's talking about them. Canberra at the top of the table, people kind of talk, but not really. They're more focusing on the Bulldogs in third. No one's really talking about the Storm in second, but that's because the Storm are just so used to it being there. But there's a difference. The locality and the size of fan bases and audience is what brings it out into, the media's not going to talk about it as much because it's not much of a. They don't care for that audience comparatively to the size and the passion of what you see from the Bulldogs. And I'm not saying anything bad towards the Raiders or Canberra there. I'm just kind of providing my opinion on why the Raiders don't get as much acknowledgement as you will see from a team like the Broncos, who have an entire city with a massive audience there. The Dolphins will be the same thing because they've got a massive location. And to be honest with you, if the Gold Coast was on top of the table, they would get a lot of people talking about it too, because one, it's a complete surprise because that never happens, but also two, because it is a bigger city. And people do think a lot more about the Gold Coast than they do about Canberra. Newcastle is a bit of a weird one as well, but they would still get more of a regard because they've got a really strong fan base online, whilst the Raiders don't really have a strong fan base online. They have a strong fan base at the games, but not necessarily online. So a lot of... I don't feel like Canberra gets talked about as much as they probably should be. Jimmy says, hi, Jimmy, I want Broncos to lose, but then the losing team will versus Sharks next week, so I'm scared. Well, if you're in the finals, mate, you shouldn't be scared of anybody. If you believe you can win the comp, then who cares? Who cares who you play if you believe you can win the comp? Who cares? If you're in the second week of the finals, you shouldn't be caring about who you play. You should be believing you're going to beat them. Doesn't matter if it's the Raiders, doesn't matter if it's the Broncos, doesn't matter if it's the Storm, doesn't matter if it's the Australian Kangaroos with damn well Darren Lockyer, Aaron True-Johns, Buddy Wally Lewis and Cameron Smith. Doesn't matter who you're playing, you should believe that you're going to beat them because you're in the second week of the finals. We've already seen 11 teams get knocked out of the competition. You are a part of the final 6 teams in the competition. You should believe that you're going to be the ones to beat them all. Sam says defense is key. Whoever controls the ruck wins. Agree. It's a qualifying final. Anything can happen. Sure. But we've seen you're tipping a huge upset. Broncos 13 plus is a gigantic upset. Gigantic. Everyone will jump off the Raiders wagon if that happens. That would just make no sense. It just wouldn't make any sense how the Broncos go and win 13 plus away from home to a team they've already lost to this year by conceding 30 points, and both teams are in a pretty similar area to what they kind of were at that time. Funny Cat Vid says that's 4 countries. No, it's not. Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia. I was in India, but I said I've been through 3 countries. I said Thailand, Vietnam, Malaysia, Vietnam. Well, you could technically say I've been... No, you can only say I've been in 3 countries just 4 times. You can still only say I've been in 3 countries 4 times. Royal Grand Majesty says, do you reckon this will come down to the wire or maybe a blowout? Look, if one team comes out and fires, then is there a world for it? Sure, but I think this should come down to the wire, this game. I think it should. Sam says, please no bad calls or knock-ons or 4 passes. Yeah, but you know that's not going to happen, mate. You know that's not going to happen. Welcome to the NRL, man. You know that's not going to happen, but, touch wood. Please, I beg, I pray, we don't see any bad calls here today. I beg. Ben says, I'll back the Raiders to win 1-12. It'll be a close game until near the end of the match, where Raiders will end up scoring the last couple of tries. Sure. I wouldn't be surprised with that. Yeah, that's not a good comment aspect. I hope Mam doesn't come back from his hammy. No, he can't be wishing. Yeah, look, I'm not a big fan of Ezra Mam, and I think that he was a disgrace in regards to what happened off the field, but I'm not going to wish injury on a person. It'd be just as bad as what he did. Willie says, I think the Raiders will be tough to beat at home. I agree. Suncorp would have been a very interesting matchup here, actually. I don't know. If the Broncos and Rays play at Suncorp, I would have probably maybe looked at tipping the Bronx. I may have done that. I think that Canberra at home will be too strong, but I think at Suncorp the Bronx might have had a little bit too much. The atmosphere would have been really strong for Brisbane. I think they would have got up. In that game. But obviously this is down there in Canberra. Garcia says I got the Raiders as well. Why do you think Broncos Sharks is your primetime game? Yeah, Garcia, I don't know, man. I think it's because they have two very polar styles where when we saw the Sharks play the Broncos in the last time out, which was an incredible game, mind you, full of errors, but the game kind of became really great based off of the errors. I don't know what it is, because I don't usually like errors. Obviously, I get pissed off with errors, which most people should. But the Sharks were leading like 24-6 at halftime, or 24-8 at halftime, something around that margin. Maybe 22-8, I think it was. And then the Broncos ended up winning that game 34-28, but it was a crazy game in lots of factors, just because the Broncos play this high energy, high pace, just really flair style football, whilst the Sharks don't really play that, and they really do kind of play more of a balanced kind of bland up the middle kind of style of footy, which arguably is more so the style of footy that wins premierships comparatively to what the Broncos do, which is what the Panthers have done. Sharks not at that Panthers level from the last couple of years, but similar-ish styles there, where they're not necessarily about the whole kind of Reece Walsh picture where he's floating and jazzing his hands and just absolutely running amok on the field. I just feel like because of the polar opposite nature, opposites attract a lot of the time, and the last time these two teams played, it didn't look like it was going to be an incredible matchup, and it did end up being an incredible matchup, and I just feel like this would be such an exciting game at Suncorp. And again, the Broncos came back and won that game. Sharks still had a chance to win that game. Like, it was really exciting. I remember it was really exciting. So that's why I hope for it. I don't know, I'm going against the grain a little bit because a lot of people will expect that game to be a bit maybe dead because of the Sharks style compared to the Broncos style. But the Sharks can force those errors out of them, and the Broncos can just make it really... I don't know, it's a high-scoring game that I could see going either way. Stormmate says, crazy how the Dogs are the team to end the Dragons 11 in a row premiership run, and now the Dogs will be ending the modern-day version of that team's run next week. That's actually a good point to make. That's actually a really good point to make. I didn't even think about that. That's really cool. That would be really, really cool. But I do hope everyone in Belmore stays safe if that is the case, because that'll be their grand final. That'll be their grand final. Zesby says, what's the try scoring lock this game? Not Josh King, as Seb Watson would say. And the equivalent in this game would be Corey Jensen, for those who are wondering. I will say a try scoring lock in this game there's no necessarily lock. I would personally go with if I'm going to go an obvious one, I'm probably looking towards Matty Tomoko. But Ethan Strange has been incredible for the Raiders this year. I think he's a bit of a smoky to win the Dally M. I think he's a smoky. I don't know if he does it, but I think he's a smoky, because I don't know if Jamal takes too many points off him. It's just Hudson Young could take a few points off him, same with Tarpany. And then if you're looking at a forwards for the Raiders, I'd probably look at Has Hudson Young scored in a while? I can't even remember. I'd say, you know what? Tommy Starling could be a nice little scoot out dummy half. Tom Starling, but then again, this isn't like a lock. I'm just giving you my try score prediction. So for the Raiders, I'd probably go Matty Tomoko and maybe Tom Starling. For the Broncos, wouldn't mind a little bit of Katoni Staggs. And I will say in the forwards department, I would be looking at... maybe a Brandon Piakura. Corey Jensen's not a try scorer. Payne Haas doesn't score a great deal of tries, but he still scores some. I'm not a massive fan of Corey Payne scoring a try. I'd probably go Piakura. Jordan Rookie is just super underwhelming. I'll probably go Piakura and Katoni Staggs for the Broncos. But it's not a lock, but then again, we're in the finals. Nothing's really a lock right now. Libby says Josh King. Oh my gosh, see? Brenton says Newey girls on the W. Simpsons debut goes a Hattie. That's great. Don't know, but sure. Titans in the finals though. Get around it. After a field goal yesterday, it's really a whiskey bottle. Oh, it actually, funnily, smelled like Kahlua. It did before, but this is Kafadua. Kafe means, obviously, coffee. And then coconut coffee. Nice little flask, though. Nice little flask. It's beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. Tylen says, I sincerely hope my neighbours have earplugs because if the Broncos can win, it's going to get loud. Well, I just want a good game, man. I want a good game. I want a really good game that gets us excited to finish us up for the week. And then, obviously, we've got a couple of days until Friday night. Well, actually, yeah, they'll play on Friday night, won't they? It'll be Friday night and Saturday, yeah? Yeah, and then that's right, because then the Host Plus Cup Grand Final, is that next week? Or is it the week after? I think the Host Plus Cup Grand Final is next week, no? Or is it the week after? Brent says that was Bailey's in a whiskey bottle, sir. Not Kahlua. Bailey's is what I was thinking about. HBT says, for every double Walsh scores this final series, I'll also extend it by another 3 days. What? What are you talking about? What are we talking about over here? Jay says, the crowd's going to be wild to Canberra. That's why I feel like they just win. But if this was at neutral ground, I'd have to say the Broncos probably, though. Neutral ground, I'd still take the Raiders. GIO Stadium, I'd take Raiders. At Suncorp, I would have taken the Broncos, yeah. Stormmate says, if the Broncos win 13 plus, I'll change my name to Broncos Stormmate. Why is your name Stormmate? Did you have a bet that you had to change your name on YouTube or something if you lost to the Storm? Is that what's happened here? You're just a fan, Killzeri. Okay, that makes sense. Like, again, you're entitled to your opinion. Your opinion's fine. It's just that you have to be a Broncos fan if you've got such confidence behind a 13 plus of the Bronx. Stormmate says Brisbane's a shithole. The AFL team are full of inbreds too. Yeah. Stormmate, Mr. Daz, he is a Gold Coast Sunnies fan. Not too happy with the old Brisbane right now. Lazar says, I think there's way more pressure on the Raiders to win this one, though. Why? I'm to the Bronx. Why is there way too much pressure on the Raiders to win this one? Based off of what? Why is there so much pressure on the Raiders to win this one? I don't understand. Regardless, the Raiders will get another home final either way. The Raiders have proven themselves a ridiculous amount this year. I don't understand why it's not pressure on the Broncos and only on the Raiders. I'm interested to hear why you'd say that, though. Daz will find a way. Broncos win. I sell my undies on Fortnite. That's a really strange comment. That's a really strange comment, that one. But Pax says the Wires are shy. Dallin needs to retire his mullet, I reckon. The Wires are just getting slapped at the moment. They're just getting slapped. Big Smudge says that coffee looks expensive and delicious. Does it come in a glass? Yeah, this is glass, brother. Yeah. No, it's beautiful. This only cost 65,000 dong. So it's basically nothing, bro. 65,000 dong to AUD is $3.70. Yeah, so $3.70 for this entire thing, bro. And yeah, it's nice. It's glass. It's beautiful. Beautiful, man. You can't complain with it. This is the thing. That's why you travel overseas, man. Because Asia is very cheap. Asia is very cheap. I had a steak. I had a steak last night, and it was a good steak, and it was like $8 Australian. Like, it was just stupid how good it was for the price. No, it's Saturday and Sunday. They've changed it. Yeah, I lost a bet. That's why you don't bet, Daz, mate. You know? That's why you don't bet. I've had so many people message me over the years on Instagram and say, like, oh, let's have a bet. If the Titans win, I do this. If the Titans lose, you do this. And it's like, well, one, I don't know you. So as if I'm going to have a bet with you where I don't care if you change your profile picture. There's so many people over the years have messaged me saying, hey, man, I'll change my profile picture to this if the Titans win, but you change your profile picture to this if my team wins. And I don't know the person. So why would I give a shit if you change your profile picture when you've got, like, one follower anyway? You know, and I'm not trying to disrespect the person, but it's just like, well, what do I gain from this? What do I gain from having a bet with a person I don't know and changing my profile picture to something I don't want to do for a person who I don't know has one follower? So it won't mean anything because no one's going to see it, and it's probably a fake account of that. So where do I benefit from this? You know, I just lose either way. Like, I just literally lose either way there. Big Smudge says, went through Japan recently. The low prices for everything shocked me. Asia is definitely the place to go. And it's funny, Big Smudge, because Japan's actually really expensive. It's really expensive comparatively to like Thailand, which is getting more up there, but Vietnam and Malaysia and all these places. Japan's actually the most expensive. One of the more expensive in Asia and the world. Lola says, Raiders haven't been in finals for a while, right? And Broncos are always favourites, unless maybe against the Storm. Did Raiders come 9th last year, or did they come 8th? I think the Raiders played finals last year, no? Oh, no, they did come 9th. Yeah, they just dropped out late. They did drop out just late. They played finals in 2023. They came 8th. They also played finals in 2022. They came 8th. In 2021, they just missed the finals because the Titans snuck in. 2020, yeah, they did. They came 5th. 2019, they made the grand final. Where are you getting the Raiders haven't played finals in a while? Because, yeah, this Raiders team, they came 4th in 2019, but they obviously made the grand final. So, no, they only missed the finals realistically last year and then 2021. So, in the last 6-7 years, they've missed the finals twice. Ben says, will you somehow be able to send me coconut coffee when you come back to Australia? No. Livia says, we aren't babysitters. Georgie says, come on the Broncos, do it for Brisbane, Australia. Yeah, well, good luck. Good luck, Georgie. Shannon says, let's go Raiders. Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're all strapped in for a cracker. I'm ready for a cracker. So I want to see a biffo. That's what I want to see. I want to see a nice little biffo, son. A little bit of how you go. A little bit of us. That's what I want to see. 15 minutes to go until the game starts, guys. 15 minutes to go. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here. Slap it in. 15 minutes to go. It's going to be huge. Going to be a huge old game, this one. And then, so it is Friday. I think Friday night we'll see what? Bulldogs and Panthers? Dogs fans, you'll know. Is it Friday night we see Bulldogs and Panthers or what? I'm pretty certain that's probably the case. Probably the case, but I could be wrong. Stormmate says, glad you noticed, Ben, profile picture of the Mighty Storm. My Mighty Storm winning 14-4 in the 2012 Grand Final. I know we might have been cheating and the title should be given to the Dogs, but a win is a win. You are a dog, Taz. You are a dog. Still upset, no Vietnam fighting hat. I got my hat over here, actually. I got my hat over there, but I'm not going to I don't need to wear it. Oh, Saturday, thank you. Okay, so that means that the loser of this, plays the Sharks on Friday then. Is that the case? Would love to see a Raiders versus Sharks grand final. Honestly, be happy if neither the Storm or Panthers make the grand final. I think everyone's going to be the same way, Extreme Zone, but it's severely doubtful that we see neither of those teams in, especially with the Storm being one game away. And the Storm will take on the winner of the loser of this game and the Sharks. Storm Sharks is actually a belter. Storm Sharks is a belter because the Storm split it with the Sharks this year. Storm beat them like 30-10 the last matchup, but the Sharks beat them 31-26 in another matchup this year. Plus, the Storm and Sharks absolutely despise each other from the 2010s and the 2016, obviously, grand final. The Storm and Sharks played in a preliminary final in 2009, I think it was as well. Or maybe 2008, which was one of the teams that the Storm had to beat whilst they were cheating dogs. The Storm and Sharks have an actual quite ferocity of a rivalry as well. I wouldn't say the Sharks are the biggest rivals of the Storm. I'd say it's Manly. But Sharks would be top 3. Maybe even second. I don't know if the animosity between the Storm and the Panthers is as much from the Storm side. I think they actually probably hate Sharks fans more than they do hate Panthers fans. If you're a Storm fan, which it'll be interesting to see, but if you're a Storm fan, do you hate the Panthers more or do you hate the Sharks more? And I want you to take away recency bias from this and just think about who you actually hate more as a club. Because I find it interesting. I think that the Panthers is a successful rivalry. It's not actually an animosity rivalry. Whilst I think Storm and Sharks is an animosity rivalry. And it's like Liverpool and City, right? Liverpool and City was a successful rivalry. And City and United is a local and animosity rivalry. And Liverpool United is a local and animosity rivalry. But City and Liverpool don't hate each other based off of the clubs. It's just a success that both teams are so successful they had that rivalry together. And that's why I kind of compare that with the Storm and the Panthers. Sam Powdrill with the $2 dude donation says, I might have some try-scoring guesses for you later. All right, let's go, Sam. I'm looking forward to it. Georgie says, I appreciate you for the $2 donation, by the way, because I'm from Australia, Queensland. I'm First Nation Australian Broncos fan. Well, thank you for letting us know, Georgie. You could just let us know you're a Broncos fan. We guessed that when you said go Broncos. We guessed that. And I think they should forfeit next week and give the Dogs a free win. Wow, Dad's a big Melbourne Storm fan. Big Melbourne Storm fan. Is this the girls or the boys' grand final? What? What? This isn't a grand final. What? What's happening here, Georgie? What are we doing? Game starts in 10 minutes time, by the way. 10 minutes time until the old game gets whacking along, son. Whacking along. Hopefully it's a cracker. 10 minutes time to go. I don't understand the girls or boys grand final thing. Well, there's 17 girls in the Brisbane team, Stormmate says. I was waiting for it. I was waiting for someone to do it, and you have done it, mate. You have done it. Definitely in the fullback position, that's for sure. I wonder how much toilet Reece Walsh has consumed today. I wonder if he's... Do you reckon he's had the balls to go down to Canberra? Are the Canberra toilets clean? Because we definitely know the Brisbane's toilets aren't clean. I think the cleaner the toilet, the worse it is for Reece. That's probably what I'm thinking. That is probably what I'm thinking. So I wonder how much water he has consumed today from the toilet bowl, because that is a Reece Walsh special. A massive special. Did you learn that in first grade? Absolutely. So 12 tries here for Reece Walsh this year, 9 tries a KO Weeks, 23 tries here for Reece Walsh, and 8 tries this a KO Weeks. Wow, 23 tries is quite crazy. I, in fact, had toilet water. That's how I won a comp yesterday. Fair enough. Fair enough. He's had his Red Bull. He's good. No. Red Bull's not good enough. Does he have wings? Haven't seen him with wings. He's not drinking Red Bull. Toilet water's not Red Bull. Blaze, which order of teams left would you want to win the comp most to least? Raiders. Sharks. Raiders. Sharks for my mum. Sharks, Raiders. Bulldogs. Broncos. Storm. Panthers. And that's no disrespect to the Panthers, and that's no disrespect to the Storm. It's just that we've seen you guys win, so I want to see other teams win. I'm not the biggest fan of the Broncos, as you guys know, and yet I would still take a premiership for them. I would cop the slam dunk. I couldn't give a shit. You can, at the end of the day, you're still, coming onto the streams and you're still, watching the content. So you can hate all you like if the Broncos win the comp, because I actually would advocate for it more than other teams winning the comp right now. Aspect says, that's right, I read that comment. Up the milk. Justin says, Olivia says, I've been in the sheds and seen him down a Red Bull. It gave him wings in that Sharks game. No, Olivia. No. He put toilet water in the Red Bull can. He didn't drink the Red Bull. He put toilet water in the Red Bull can. Not reading that comment out from Mitchell. We'll not be reading that one out there from Mitchell, that is for sure. But the only way that the Broncos, for mine, can win this game is if they shut down Ethan Strange. Because I think that Jamal Fogarty can be okay at times, but it's Ethan Strange who... And I was actually criticising a little bit of Ethan Strange at the beginning of this year, I remember. I didn't think that he was actually cracking on whilst Jamal Fogarty was getting it done for the most part in the first, 7 games? But then since then, Ethan Strange has been absolutely incredible. And that try that he... he didn't score the try, he gave it to KO Weeks, but... The breakaway from when I think it was Jed Stewart caught it against the Panthers, and then he passed it Ethan Strange, and he broke away for 90 metres before getting into KO Weeks. That really did emphasise how good. And I honestly think people aren't talking about Ethan Strange potentially for a Dally M here. I think there's a chance. I think there is a chance. What are the odds? Does anyone have any odds? I don't even know if you can bet on Dally M, can you? Can you bet on Dally M? Sam says, I live a couple of blocks away from Reece and have seen him a few times. He's actually a really good bloke, always up for a photo and pleasant. Yeah, but they're all like this, bro. They're all like this. This is a big issue in regards to what we saw this week. People don't realise this is entertainment. This is entertainment. You're going to see what they show you to see. Everyone thinks that a person is based off of the character that they are on the field. Ronaldo Molitalo on the field is a piece of shit. That doesn't mean that he's a piece of shit in person. He's probably not at all. He's probably a really good bloke. On the field, he is annoying as all hell to watch, but it's great and an entertainment for that. Now, on Reece Walsh is the same, and you can see there's a lot of ego there, but at the end of the day, it's an entertainment. This is a business. Same thing goes to me. People will take their opinion about what they see on streams and the way that I create content for sport, and they will think that's my entire personality. And it's like, no, that's just what you see here when we're directly talking about sport. when we talk about a player on the field, we are talking about their character on the field. We are not speaking, if we will specifically refer to their character off the field in regards to Ezra Mam, who makes a mistake. That doesn't also mean that he is an awful human being overall. It just means that he's made a mistake there. I disagree with it, and I think that he's a dickhead for what he did. But that doesn't mean that I think that he is an awful character. I just think he made an awful mistake as well. Right? So people don't know how to separate the entertainment from the actual person. And it's exactly like what we had on Friday night when we had to speak about the guy with the stupid siren at Amy Park, and some dude got upset about it and said, "Oh, I know that person, don't say that." And I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care, because I'm going to insult the siren. It doesn't mean we're insulting the character of the bloke with the siren. We're not insulting him, we're insulting the stupid siren that he has. It has nothing to do with that guy, he's probably a good bloke. But ban him from the stadium for a stupid siren. You know, like, people never know how to disassociate between the public discussion and how a person actually is. When I was a great and really humble bloke on the field too. I'm timing you out for a minute for that. I'm actually timing you out for a minute for that, Mitchell. I'm doing it. Livy says, we tried to get as many Bronx fans, and all of us members were giving out our passwords for people to get tickets. Raiders will slap Broncos fans today at GIO Stadium. Is that what you're talking about? Are you talking about getting more Broncos fans to Canberra? No way. No way. Ibrahim says, Sam giving us some toilet water pieces offering. No, they stopped the betting after that 1 year the results got leaked. Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. Sportsbet only has Clive Churchill market at the moment. Monkey Boy Tyson, let's go the Raiders. Aspect says, Raiders are $1.95 to win with the boost thing if you don't put on a multi. Okay. Raiders are $1.95 to win? No. I'm pretty certain they were much shorter than that, weren't they? Someone was telling me they were $1.70. Someone was telling me they were $1.70. $1.95? No. That's a crazy. That means the Broncos are favourites. With the boost thing, but that would mean the Broncos are favourites. $1.70 with that boost. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That makes sense, Sundo. $1.95 would mean that the Broncos are the favourites of this game. There's no way the Broncos should be favourites of this game. All right, so we're about 5 minutes away from kickoff. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. 5 minutes away from kickoff. I am going to say a score prediction of 24-20 Raiders. I'm going to go 24-20. That's what I'm thinking. Got enough points in it. Nothing too crazy, but got enough points in it. Broncos $2.17. Yeah, that makes sense. Close enough where they could win, but not favourites by any means. That makes a whole deal of sense. $1.95. I don't know what he's looking at. That must be with like a double boost. He must be adding everything on. But no, it really does grind my gears with the lack of understanding that people have for, you know, who these players are, and then too, and I get it with the Titans too. Like, our Titans boys have had conversations with them before where they obviously cop a lot because of, one, how the team's performing, but also two, because of fantasy, because of Supercoach, and because of gambling. You know, and people really take it out on them. It's like, no one gives a shit about your multi, and definitely no one gives a shit about your what's it called, your fantasy. You know, I love fantasy, but the way people get too animated over it is just insanity. I used to, like 10 years ago, but I still would never have messaged a player to say, you know, the fact you didn't score a try, I'm going to murder you. Like, that's the most ridiculous thing ever. And also, you're not going to do shit, you couch potato. You're going to sit there. You're going to sit there on your couch and message, oh, I've got ya. You're probably fat. Settle down. You know, like, it's crazy the way that people react to things that mean nothing over, like, what, maybe $50 you put on, or $100, which is a lot of money for some people. But also, it was your choice to put it on. And you had the choice to do it. Scott says, tried toilet water today. Not that good. Don't do it. I'm never going to try toilet water, mate. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I find it so crazy the way people can emotionally react to things that actually don't mean much at all. Mitchell says, I am very sorry for my outrageous comment. It won't happen again. Yeah, it will. Your apology is acceptable. Yes, it will. Yeah, you will do it again, Mitchell. You're a Tigers fan. You know, we're used to it. Shiver better want to have a good game today. Oh, here we go. Have you put a bet on him, have you? Actually, what is your bet? Don't gamble if you can't afford it. Exactly right, Sean. Exactly right. I'm never going to tell people not to gamble, but I will tell you that if you do gamble, it is completely Your choice. It is nobody else's fault if your bet loses, because you could have chosen him and he scores, but you chose him and he didn't score. That's your choice. And when people putting their life savings on it, I understand what it's like to have a gambling addiction, but ultimately it is still your choice. Ultimately. And then to take it out on other people, and then to see what we saw this week in regards to all that situation, people just can't control their emotions nowadays. All right, only a couple. Oh, actually, the game starts at 1:05 in 5 minutes' time. I thought it started at, it would be 4 p.m. your time in Australia, but 1 p.m. for me here in Vietnam. Aspect said, I don't like a certain person called Kyle, but I would never mention to him to hurt himself. Kyle? Who's Kyle? Oh no, please tell me you're not talking about Kyle Flanagan. Are you referring to Kyle Flanagan? Oh, please. Has Kyle Flanagan just gotten... has Kyle Flanagan just got slapped in a Raiders versus Broncos final stream? Olivia says, no, I have Katoni, Staggs, and Billy Walters. Of course you got Billy Walters, because you're a Billy Walters fan. Rhea says, hi, hello Rhea. Who are your tip of the day? Actually, get some score predictions in the chat. With 5 minutes to go, get some score predictions in Le Chatola. It's only about 20 or 30 minutes time, and we're going to see a lot of people get on the Reese Peasy Circle Jerk Brigade. We always have it on Broncos streams. At some point, we will get a massive Circle Jerk stream going for Reese Walsh from the chat. Aspect says you figured that one out really fast. It's because I stream every single game here, Aspect, so I've got a pretty good idea of when people mention the name Kyle, what it's going to be referred to. And there's the start of the Circle Jerk. Rhea says Reece Walsh is the Pookie to score the winning try. There we go. Rhea, can I ask you, where are you from? Where are you from? Because I'm pretty certain I know. Mitchell says, watch out, Aspect, his father will come after you. Lincoln Boy says 24-18, Raiders win. I think that's kind of what I did. I said 24-20. Justin says, sometimes it's good to take a reset in the sports betting, otherwise you end up watching the game because you bet rather than for the love of the game. Yeah, and I know, and it ruins it. I tell you, in 2022, maybe, or 2023, when I was streaming, I was really heavily into gambling, and I was betting a lot, and it would impact the stream, because, one, I was being quite biased towards the team that I needed to win for the bet. This is why I kind of stopped. But the team I needed to win for the bet, but also, two, it made it so emotionally charged overall, but only for one set of fans and only for one set of people. And it was an unrealistic view, because when you gamble, you have a specific view for this team and you have a specific anti-agenda for this team. So don't do what I do here and gamble, because it would just ruin everything. Reece Walsh is the Poogie to score twice. Oh, for God's sake, Rhea. For God's sake. Asper says, yeah, no. Sam Padgell says 20-18 Broncos, but I'm a Broncos fan. Scott says, apparently PNG will be based in Cairns and play games in Papua New Guinea. Yes. Any truth to it? Why not just have a Cairns NRL team? Because Cairns NRL team won't have the audience for it. There's not going to be anywhere near enough of an audience to justify having a team comparatively to South Island New Zealand, or a Western Corridor Brisbane, or even an Adelaide, or even a potential second Melbourne team, which they've spoken about. There's not enough of an audience in Cairns to justify having that, so they need to be able to bring in Papua New Guinea. And Papua New Guinea aren't necessarily ready, and this has been a thing, we've known this since Papua New Guinea were originally being named to come in. We've known that they're going to play games out of Cairns, but they're also going to play probably, 4 or 5 home games out of Papua New Guinea, I reckon. So most of their games will be played up there, but they need to utilise the audience of a country. I would not be surprised if the further down the track years-wise, like 10 years later, if Papua New Guinea becomes sustainable and financially organised to maintain their team, I would not be surprised if Cairns gets told to piss off and they go up to Papua New Guinea. I would not be surprised if they remove Cairns. That's just a kind of foundation for now to set Papua New Guinea up, and then eventually just shift them up to Port Moresby. I wouldn't be surprised, but I think for the first 10 years at minimum, 10, 15 years at minimum, they will have that kind of split. Aspect says, Mitchell, he'll tuck his son into bed, give him his bottle, give him a goodbye kiss, and then come out for me. That's getting a bit weird, this comment section. It's getting a bit weird. Brenton says, I put 12 multis on from the feed and let it ride and just check after that game and not think about it until... From the feed? I put 12 multis on from the feed and let it ride and just check after the game and not think about it until... I love that. As long as you're only spending what you can lose. I love that. If you don't know... But then again, you need to know what you want, because That's weird, but I do like it. That's weird, but I do like it. Yeah, Rhea doesn't have a clue what she's talking about. Funny Cat Vids was 5+ errors. Thank you, Funny Cat Vids. Yeah, the Warriors are not playing today. Yeah, they're not playing today. They're already gone, son. They're already in Whakatane. Sean says, in the league needs other countries in, like Papua New Guinea and the rest. Well, yes, but Perth is very integral to coming into the competitions. The Broncos are about to come out on the field here, some of the Raiders. The Perth is the most important because Perth makes it a national competition. Right now, it's not national. It's not at all. You know, you've got Melbourne, you've got Canberra, you've got Sydney, you've got Newcastle, you've got Gold Coast, you've got Brisbane, you've got Townsville. That's just a line on the East Coast, which is most of Australia when it comes to population, but it's also just the East Coast. So it's not national. And then you've got New Zealand. So it's not national, it's international. So if we get Perth, that makes it a national competition. Obviously, you'd ideally want Adelaide and Darwin and Tasmania and all that. That's not going to be realistically possible. But national will now encompass a majority of the country. Plus, we've also got the International of New Zealand. Plus, we've got Papua New Guinea coming in. And eventually, I guarantee you, a Pacifica team will come in. I guarantee it. Eventually. But that's 20 years down the track. Long time down the way. Is Raiders ML the play? I think so, Kirk. But, look, it is a finals game. The Broncos are a hype team. They can score a lot, but they can make a lot of mistakes. They're similar to the Roosters, but a bit better than the Roosters. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a similar game to last night, where the Sharks came out on top with the Canberra Raiders being a better version of the Sharks in a lot of ways, and the Broncos being a better version than the Roosters in a lot of ways. But similar style teams. Snailmaster says, is this a knockout? No. The Raiders and Broncos, whoever wins goes to the preliminary final. Whoever loses plays the Sharks next week. So if the Broncos lose, they play the Sharks at Suncorp. If the Raiders lose, they play the Sharks at Canberra. Nate Jason, come on a milk. Tear these Bronchokes a new one. Oh, he's the Viking clap, son. Everyone in Canberra's got the clap. Everyone in Canberra loves the clap, son. Get the clap and check it out. Sam says, let's have a great game. Please, officials, let them play. That would be nice. Yeah, Stormmates says clap if you're frauds. The Raiders are out in the field. I just want to throw it out there, though. Every time I've been at Canberra, I've screwed their clap up because I just start screaming in between. And you can actually hear it on the broadcast whenever I've gone down. Brenton says, sorry, the feed is where other people put multis get together on Sportsbet. Oh, so you just go and click on other people's multis and then just let it go. Okay, I don't mind that. Aspect says, Broncos haven't won a finals game away from home in their last 10. Is that true? Is that true? Yeah, okay, because I just realised Broncos would have had 2 home finals in 2023. I'm trying to think of all their away games, so that would go back a few years. Because how can a person in America watch this? Well, I'm in Vietnam, bro, but watch NRL.com. You pay $40 a month for. Obviously, that's not worth it for you, but I'm not sure otherwise. But I watch it on watchnrl.com internationally. All right, so the game has kicked off for you guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. The Raiders will get this ball at the 5 through Savelio Tamale and Josh Babali'i. He re-signed for another year, and he will get this ball up here to the 12. I'm going to refresh this score here so that you guys can have the live score underneath. Jeez, that is a great run there from Thomas Darling to the 25, and they're making some quick speed here. Oh, no. The Raiders on such a quick play the ball. It's going to be a knock-on here from the Raiders. Jeez. Well, this was very, very quick play. If the Raiders had have been able to keep on with that, they might have just scored just then. Oh, yeah, okay. I just think it's I don't like the call, though. It's the right call from the referee, but I don't like the ruling system that isn't a play the ball, is what I would say. But that is the correct call based on the rules nowadays. I just don't like how that's the rules nowadays. That isn't a correct play the ball because he doesn't knock the ball on. All right, so 15 metres out from the line. Frost King Genetics says Broncos open the floodgates in the last 15 minutes. You're a Broncos fan. Third tackle now for the Broncos, and they're 15 metres out from the line. That first mistake there from the Raiders was absolutely crucial. And now they go to the right. And Haas, he gets the offload away to Reece Walsh. Reece Walsh will get the ball across. Now left-hand side, Ben Hunt kicks it through. Not the play from Ben Hunt. The Raiders will... Well, the Raiders will knock the ball on here at the 5. They will knock the ball on here at the 5. And the Broncos are going to be 10 metres out from the line with a fresh set at 6. Bretton says the clap is strong in Canberra. Everyone's got the clap in Canberra. Really think they need to go check it out. I think they need to check it out. Oh, it touched the hand from Fogarty. And it's a good call from Ashley Klein there. So Broncos, 5 mows out. Sean says too many hookers. A lot of hookers in Canberra, mate. They all love the clapping hookers in Canberra. Ibrahim says, glad Josh is available here. There was talks he wouldn't play. Yeah, I did see that. So the Broncos, Dean Mariner, he's going to be 5 metres away here from the line. Let's see if this high-paced, high-energy Broncos team can score against the Raiders team that's very balanced across the park, but they're very similar teams on attack and defense statistically. Broncos now at the 10. Whoa, at the back. Oh, I think there's a try for the Broncos. Tony Staggs will score. It's 4-0 with a kick to come. Well, I called Tony Staggs for a try. I did call Tony Staggs for a try, and they have scored 4-0 here with a kick to come. It's going to be right in front. That is a great try there from Tony Staggs to take the early lead. Take the early lead there. It's a great play here from Staggs, who just waited. That was actually brilliant from Reece Walsh. But overall, Tony Staggs was just too strong without a break over the top there. Canberra clap was a different thing in the 70s. No, it's still the same thing, mate. No, it's still the same thing, mate. That's the whole point of what we're referring to, mate. So Staggs with the try. Underneath the post, and it's about to be a 6-0 ball game. Yeah, Zach Hosking there got caught in the Paddy Carrigan area, and Jamal Fogarty, that was really poor defense from Fogarty. That was really poor defense from Fogarty, and Staggs was just able to really push off him and score straight away underneath the post. And that all comes off the back of that Tom Starling mistake, because it looked like the Raiders were getting a really good set going, and they were getting some really good speed, and it was just bang, bang, bang. They were trying to play that Broncos style. And then they got called up for something that I just feel like overall, as a rule, like how they can say that it's not correctly played, I disagree with. But again, it was the right calling at the time. They were getting a good roll on, and then just find a way to give the ball to the Broncos. And then after doing a great defensive set, like someone said, too easy for the Bronx. Not necessarily. They still had to, complete another entire set. The Broncos had one set. Raiders defended it. Jamal Fogarty knocked it on, gave the Broncos back the ball, and then obviously they scored. And when you're playing the best teams, if they're getting multiple opportunities at the line through multiple sets, then more than likely you would expect them to score, which is what the Broncos have done. And Tony Staggs there with a great, strong try. Jamal Fogarty should have done better there. But overall, it's a great start here for the Brisbane Broncos 4 minutes into the game. Broncos Sports says, try time, bing bong, mudder, bleesh. Just breathe, boys. Well, it's a long way to go. There's 75 minutes left. There's still 75 minutes left here of the game. But the Raiders will kick this ball off. It's a beautiful day in Canberra, by the way. Wow. Absolutely beautiful day. And Billy Walters goes right-hand side to Paddy Carrigan. And Carrigan's going to be at the 7 on first tackle. Canberra washed, Stormate says. Oh, we're 4 minutes into the game. 4 minutes and 20 seconds in, we've got the first Canberra washed comment. Oh, dearie me. What are we doing? 15 metres out. Now third tackle for the Broncos. Gerhard Shibasaki at the 20. Third tackle. Roll it back. I'll tell you what, though. If the Broncos were able to win a game like this, 13+, it would really... That would send a genuine shockwave across the competition. I think that would really knock a few people out, inclusive of myself, who has been critical. I think that would prove to me they're a contender. 1 of 12 doesn't necessarily prove to me that they go on to win the comp, but it would tell me that they're a contender. But if they won this game 13+, I would nearly have them as a grand finalist. I would nearly have them as a grand finalist to make the grand final. Second tackle here at the 25. Again, they would have to beat either the Panthers or the Bulldogs, though. I think the Broncos beat the Bulldogs. They've beaten them twice this year. But the Panthers, that would be very interesting. Very, very interesting. I might tip the Panthers there, and that would suck because then you're probably going to see a Storm Panthers grand final. So the Raiders now, they'll get this ball to the 48 on fourth tackle. Some massive hits going in there. Right-hand side of the Raiders, and they're going to be at the 45 on fifth tackle. Yeah, there should be a lot of big hits in this game, especially with the mix of the forward packs. So Raiders whack it down to the 10, where Josiah Kotapani, who's been fantastic this season, he'll get this ball taken down at the 20 on first tackle. Stormmate says, hey buddy, Para beat Penrith twice in 2022, then lost them in the finals, thanks. Yeah, that's true, Daz, but also, listen, we're still talking about the old Penrith Panthers here. Oh, the Broncos, Dog's just not good enough, Daz. All right, so third tackle for the Broncos at the 30. That's just what I'm trying to say there, Daz, mate. Sorry. Also, Daz, just a quick question. You criticised what I just said. What is your name currently? Is it Daz, mate, or is it Bulldogs, mate, or is that a 40-20 here? That is a 40-20 for the Broncos. That's a great start. That's a great 40-20. The Broncos are on fire here in this opening 7 minutes. If they can keep this game up, this is huge. Where is the Raiders defense here? Why is nobody ready for a 40-20? You are in a finals game. You are in a finals game here in Canberra. How are you not ready for a 40-20 there? Especially when Reece Walsh is quite well known for doing that. He's quite well known for doing that. All right, so the Broncos now 10 metres away from the line. Louis says he's had his toilet water. All right, so right inside, Reece Walsh gives it to Brendan Piakura, and Piakura is going to be second tackle here, 8 metres away from the line. 40-20 kicks in his career is 7 for Walsh. It's not like it's a surprise from Reece Walsh. So I don't know how they're not thinking about it. Billy Walters. Oh, he gets the offload away. Oh no, it's a penalty. No, it's a forward pass. Yeah, penalty to the Raiders. There's been a play taken out. So, geez, I thought you were going to get a try there for Billy Walters, Olivia, but no, it's going to be a penalty to Canberra. Gerhard Shibasagi will not score a try. Apparently, there's an obstruction here with Jamal Fogarty. So where's Jamal? So where's the obstruction of Jamal? Oh, it's Shibasaki. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, he does run into the line. So it's going to be raised ball here at the 24. Johnson's players must groan as soon as they learn Ashley Klein is refereeing the game. Well, what's been your problem so far? So I see your point, but also what's been your problem so far? Because that's an obstruction, and technically on the rules that Bad play the ball from Tom Starling in the first minute of the game was also correct. It's based off of the rules of the game. So what have you complained with Ashley Klein with so far? So the Raiders out to the right side of the 45. KO Weeks, the 40, the 35. Good run, fourth tackle. Francis Fogarty did try to make the tackle on... at the end of the day, Gerhard Shibasaki ran straight into the line. Like, that's still on him. And it's going to be 6 again, even the Raiders at the 30. It was going to be fit tackle, but the Raiders go to the left. It's Hudson Young. Hudson Young taken down to the 28, first tackle. First tackle. Now, Tom Starling, he'll go to Corey Horsburgh. And Horsburgh at the 25. Okay, first attacking opportunity here for Canberra. He hasn't started with the relentless penalties and 6 agains yet. You're right, John, but he can be up for a good game every now and then too. He can be awful, but I remember that Panthers versus Storm game, he was actually really good in that game. Third tackle now for the Raiders at the 13. I'm not defending him, but I'm just saying sometimes he can be on for a very good game. And so far, we haven't seen him get too heavily impactful. Horsburgh gets taken down to the 10, throws the ball backwards, and it's going to be Raiders ball. Okay, well, I don't agree with Ashley Klein here. Well, this has clearly come backwards here. You've said held, but yet referees always say, if you've called held there and then he's passed it, we've seen throughout the entirety of the last 5 years that you'll just bring this ball back then. Well, how is that held, Ashley Klein? What? What, Ashley Klein? Oh, John, you've just jinxed us. John, you've just jinxed us, brother. You have just jinxed us. How on earth is that held? That is insane from Ashley Klein. He's called held. What? Anyway, first tackle here with the Broncos at the 15. He hadn't even hit the ground yet. He hadn't even hit the ground yet, Ashley Klein. Gary's captain's challenge. Well, they didn't challenge at the Raiders. It's too early. 10 minutes is the first half. It goes 30 minutes to go. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. That's on you, John. You're the one who jinxed that. Reece Welsh now gets his ball to the 40. That is on you. Matthew S. says that is a terrible call. That's an incredible call from Ashley Klein. Incredibly bad. He hadn't even hit the ground yet and passed it backwards, and he said it was held. Is that not a penalty? That's a full pass. Yep, there we go. So it's going to be Raiders ball at the 48. I don't get it. He's a horrible ref, man. He dictates games. I do agree with you, John, but sometimes he can be on... Oh, it's going to be 10 metres for dissent as well. No. Yeah, he's going to be 10 metres for dissent for penalty for the Raiders at the 45. A forward pass from... Yeah. It was close to flat, but Ben Hunt really gets into Ashley Klein there, and it's going to be a penalty. Oh, dude. Oh, dude, this game's... Like, John, you are to blame here. We were having an okay game, everything was okay, and now we're looking at Ashley Klein, and he's being the bald muppet, the bald muppets, the bald muppets. Come on. So the Raiders now at the 10. First tackle. No, 30 metres out, sorry, first tackle. Then to Jamal Fogarty underneath Hudson Young. He'll be 20 metres away from the line, second tackle. Not good signs, Matthew says. Not good signs. Corey Horsburgh, he'll get it out to Jamal Fogarty. Fogarty short ball on the line. Oh, Zach Hosking, good tackle there from Billy Walters. Billy Walters, huge. Otherwise, Hosking was away. KO Weeks. Four tackle, 4 metres away from the line. Four tackle. And now 3 metres out. Jamal Fogarty short into the line. Joe Tarpany. Tarpany's going to be fit tackle. 3 metres out. Fit tackle. Fit tackle now for the Raiders. Tom Starling. He gets it to Jamal Fogarty. Kicks it through. Hudson Young! Try time. And I called that one too. I've called both try scorers so far. Staggs and Hudson Young. And that is 6-4 here with the kick to come to the Raiders. That's a great play on the left-hand side there. Nice kick from Jamal Fogarty. Hudson Young just breaks it on through. And it's about to be a tied game, you would assume. You would assume. Ashley Klein's ref. I know controversy coming. Yeah, controversy coming. Because Ashley Klein, especially with it being such a sunny day, off of his head, this is probably going to see a reflection, and he's going to be blind with the reflection, so that's the problem. But it's a nice kick there from Jamal Fogarty. Hudson Young goes bang. Hey, well, when someone asked me what a lock is for a try scorers game, I included these two guys as try scorers, so I'll tell you that. Great play, Raiders. Hardy Young. Laurie says, hi, Blaze. Let's go to Raiders. Well, this will be a close game. Broncos got off to a red-hot start. And then that forward pass into penalty call just really kind of hurt the Broncos. Ben Hunt, as a leader, needs to do way better than that. You know, the ball's at the 50, and now the ball gets to the 20. And, you know, you don't want to give the team a finish in first playing at home. You don't want to give that team an advantage through that. Klein needs a guide dog. I would agree with you, Jay. I would agree with you there, sir. At least we haven't seen these two tries be off of like a wrong call, right? Like there's things you disagree with, like for example, Corey Horse being called held when he hadn't even hit the ground yet, or I don't know. There's a couple of little individual niche things that have been happening, but it hasn't like directly impacted a try right now. So that's what 6 try from Klein. Well, Jex, what are you complaining about? Because at the end of the day, Ben Hunt did backchat him, so that is a penalty. So there was nothing wrong with that try from the Raiders, and there was also nothing wrong with the try from the Broncos. There's just been weird things that have been happening throughout the game where you disagree with. Like, for example, Corey Horsburgh, there was no way that he was held. There was just simply no way the guy was held. Was Walsh walking already after the play the ball there? Yeah, Walsh was way too far behind there. I picked all the underdogs this finals to win apart from the Raiders. Well, the Raiders aren't underdogs. The Storm won. They were favourites. The Panthers won, their favourites. The Sharks were underdogs. You took the Sharks. Is that what you're saying? Well, yeah, it's the same. But the only underdogs who have won were the Sharks, and the Sharks should never have been underdogs. So first tackle now with the Raiders, and they're at 13. Oh, so I got Raiders to win this game. Yeah, okay, but they're not underdogs. That's why I'm saying, like, I picked all the underdogs this finals to win apart from the Raiders. Oh, you're saying you tipped the Bulldogs, you tipped the Warriors. Penalty to the Raiders. You tipped the Bulldogs, the Warriors, and then the Sharks, did you? And now you've tipped the Raiders as the favourites. Is that what you're saying? And that will be a high tackle against the Broncos, and it is a high tackle. It is from Paddy Carrigan into the head. Michael says up to Milk. Hopefully Hunt drops the ball again. Jeez, we're going back 10 years ago. Jamal Fogarty, he will kick this ball to quite literally the halfway point. So 6-6 with 26 minutes to go here of the first half. Agnes says Broncos to win. Well, they got up to a hot start, but the Raiders have found their way back into the game. And Josh Papali'i now, he'll be 48 metres away from the line on first tackle. Either way, we just want to see a close game here. Good, enjoyable game. We just want that ball muppet in the middle to not get too impactful. Second tackle now at the 43. Second tackle. 100 correct. Okay. Yeah, now get you now. Surprised you tipped the Bulldogs, though. I am surprised you tipped the Bulldogs down there in Melbourne. Third tackle here, 30 metres away from the line. Oh, close to the 6 again there. Raiders right inside, they didn't call it. Josh Papali'i goes in himself. He's 20 metres out. Good offload away. Tom Starling, he then offloads it to KO Weeks. KO Weeks rolls out to the left. Oh, close to a high tackle, but they keep going here. It'll be 20 metres out from the line, 4 tackle. 4 tackle, 20 metres out. Tom Starling, Ethan Strange, Hudson Young. He steps. He's going. He offloads it. Ethan Strange. Ethan Strange. Ethan Strange! Oh, if he had got the offer the way Joe Tarpon, it was a try. And he's lost the ball. And it was because he's trying. No, don't challenge this, Strange. You're trying to offload the ball. The Broncos player wraps it up. You've lost it because you were trying to offload the ball. You will lose this challenge if you challenge it, and they won't challenge it. Geez, Broncos, you're very lucky that Broncos hand come in just a little bit late there with Reece Walsh lapping it up. Otherwise, yeah, it's just because Ethan Strange is trying to get that ball to Joe Tarpany, and then Walsh wraps it up just beforehand, which ultimately creates a knock-on. Surprised he tipped the 2025 Premiers. Hi, Storm mate. Just want to let you know, we have got eliminated here. We've got eliminated there, eliminated there, eliminated there. We've only got 6 teams left in the competition right now, and the only one that has fraud alert on it is the Bulldogs. Oh boy, gee whiz, Josiah Katapani slapped backwards. Just want to remind you, Daz, the only fraud alert out of the 6 teams right now is Le Doggy, the Woofy Wolf. The Broncos at the 15, Ben Hunt underneath now to Tony Staggs. It's going to be 4 tackle at 25. Not a great set here from Brisbane. Raiders clamping down a lot, but this is a great run from Paddy Carrigan to the 40, so they've saved their set quite a lot. 5th tackle. If the player loses the ball when he's trying to offload while Reece holds the ball, is that a knock-on? No, it's a knock-on against the Raiders, yes. It is a knock-on against the Raiders. All right, so KO Weeks, he's going to get this ball to the 25 on first tackle. The Canterbury Chihuahuas. No, he says, yeah, they didn't take enough 2-pointers to win the game. They didn't take enough 2-pointers like the old Dragons. So second tackle here at the 35. They give it off to Savelia Tamali. He'll get this ball to the 50. It'll be 3rd tackle. 1, we are scammed. No, you're not. And 2, how we frauds. Oh, knock on from the Raiders at the 50. Knock on from Savelia Tamali, and the Broncos will get the ball 50 metres out. So how we frauds when everyone has us going out in straight sets? Because you are a 3rd place team. You shouldn't have everyone having you going out in straight sets. So if you are in 3rd place, like for example, no one is expecting the Raiders to go out in straight sets. No one's expecting the Storm to go out in straight sets. You know what? Not many people thinking the Broncos go out in straight sets, but why is it that the top 3, the 3rd place team has everyone thinking they go out in straight sets? Why is it? Because they're 3rd. What are you, Adelaide? So the Broncos, they're going to get this ball here to the 40 as your first tackle. First tackle, care to explain, sir? Yeah, no, I just did. So the Broncos now at the 33. 6 again for the Broncos. And their first tackle, 25 metres out, 18 minutes into this game. Pierre Kura rolls it back. Corey Pakes to Paddy Carrigan. Carrigan off to Corey Jensen. It's going to be 2nd tackle now, 15 metres out. When do they get to their flair? When do they get to the excitement? They go out to the right. Not this one. They're just going to go through the forwards, through Pierre Kura again. Not the play. 3rd tackle at the 10. Hey, you're going to assume they're going to float out to the left here. You're going to assume they're going to float out to the left here. They go. Ben Hunt. No, he just... Okay. No, that wasn't... No, Ben, that wasn't it. That wasn't it. 4th tackle now, 4 metres out of the line. I agree with Daz, put dogs on scam. Well, I disagree with you, so I'm not going to do it. Ben Hunt, he will go into Paddy Carrigan. Carrigan taking out the 5. This has been a weird set for the Broncos. This isn't usually how they play. But here we go, left-hand side, Ben Hunt. Oh, no, this is a weird set, bro. 6 again they've called. Oh, well, there's a forward pass there, mind you. It's 6 again, but there was definitely a forward pass there the Broncos should have been called up for. Ashley Klein. Hello. Broncos here. They're going to be 1 metre over the line first tackle. Ashley Klein, hello, forward pass. Well, this is going to be a penalty to Canberra. What the hell are you doing, Broncos? Ashley Klein, you're bald. Broncos, what are you doing? Like, that's crazy to drive through the marker there. What is going on, Brenton? Exactly right. I don't know what just went on. The Broncos was one of the weirdest sets of their season where they don't usually play like that. And then you get Corey Pakes trying to drive through his own player after Ashley Klein doesn't call a forward pass against the Broncos, says it's a 6 again for the Broncos, and then penalises the Broncos because their hooker decides to run through the the play the ball, which is obviously a penalty. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in ever. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that forward from Hunt is crazy. It's crazy. This game is off its rocker. Second tackle now with the Raiders at the 33. Cleary might be injured, so Dogs have a chance. Yeah, but Dogs have no Stephen Crichton. You know, you got to think about all the situation in regards to that. Stephen Crichton's their captain as well. And Cleary will play. You watch. Sebastian Chris here at the 50. And Starling after Corey Horsburgh. I would nearly risk everything that Cleary plays that game. Kyle Weeks, he'll be 35 minutes away from the line here. 20 minutes to go in the first half, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. 20 minutes to go the first half. They kick this ball to the corner. Good chase even the Raiders, but the Broncos will grab it to Reece Welch at the 5. First tackle. Olivia says, can we get a new ref? Well, I don't think you want that because the Broncos should have been pulled up for forward pass. The penalty was absolutely correct. Like, he goes straight through the ruck, which you're not allowed to do. You can't come into contact with your own player. Just ask the Titans against the Rabbitohs this year. Was it the Titans-Rabbitohs? When Sam Verrill scored or something like that? And they said, oh, Broncos knock on! Oh, no! No. Broncos knock on to the 25. Get how much Ibasaki drops it out of nowhere. Oh, boy. That's a bad knock on there from Shiba. There was an easy pass from Billy Walters, and then Shibasaki just drops it. And Olivia, you did say that you want Shibasaki to have a good game today. Well, he hasn't had a great start. So Raiders will be back on the attack here, 25 metres out. Raiders back on the attack, son. Back on the attack. Oh, Aspect said he still might be drunk. Completion rate is crazy in this game. 50. Oh, Aidan Strange. Oh, 3 minutes out from the line. 56% completion rate for the Raiders. 64% completion rate for the Broncos. That's hilariously bad for both of these teams. 80% is a minimum. They're at 56% and 64%. That is crazy numbers. That's crazy. 5 metres out the back net of Jamal Fogarty. And now Joe Tarpany. He's 3 metres away from the line. Second tackle. That is crazy. 56% and 64% on a completion rate is just insane numbers. For a finals game too, Raiders! Oh, so close. Good defense there from Shibasaki, actually. For third tackle. Into the line. Horsburgh throws out the back here. Jamal Fogarty crunched in the line. Fourth tackle, 2 metres out. This game is so hard to commentate. There's so much going on. Oh, they've kicked it through. They're going to score again. Sebastian Chris! This game is all over the shop, dude. How has that happened? Sebastian Chris has just scored. Was that Corey Horsburgh who kicked that ball? Who kicked this ball? Or was it Hudson Young who kicked it? Who kicks this ball? Yeah, it is Hudson Young. That's a great kick from Hudson Young. And the Raiders will score again in the corner, make it 10-6 with the kick to come. That comes out of nowhere. This game is a really difficult game to commentate, guys, because there is a lot of weird things happening. 56% completion rate, 64% completion rate is abhorrent for both teams. You've seen both teams score. You've seen the Raiders score both times off of a kick to the left-hand side. Hudson Young scored off a kick from Jamal Fogarty. Now Sebastian Chris is going to score off a kick from Hudson Young. Ashley Klein's been all over the shop. It's really hard to commentate this game. Where's this in Origin, Hudson? Nah, Leon, Origin's a very different game, man. You got to realise that in NRL, you're going to see these kinds like Payne Haas is a great example. You know, for the Broncos, he is relied upon because he is the leader for the team. But in Origin, you know, they've got huge guys. They've got leaders like your Nathan Cleary and your Stephen Crichtons and your, well, not even Stephen Crichton actually, but, you know, Liam Martin's a huge player in that situation. You've got these guys that the team can rely on that are more reliable than looking at a back rower in Hudson Young, who is X Factor. I don't even know how to explain this really, but the long story short is that there is a limited amount of top-tier competition at the Raiders where you shine, but when you're playing across the best players in the competition in the one game, you're not going to shine as much as you do when you're in the NRL with these guys that aren't on that same elite level as you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Laurie says, you always losing saliva when Ashley Klein refereeing, bro. Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. 2 grubbers, 2 tries. Yeah, to the same side. We did win a series without him. Would you say Cleary, though? Yes, I still would say Cleary. But no, Cleary isn't. I don't think Cleary's an Origin player. That's a very ballsy call. Tell me I'm wrong. And tell me why I'm wrong if you think it. Because I think that Cleary might possibly be the greatest NRL player of all time. I think that he is... Still hasn't necessarily proved it at international level, but I think that he absolutely can. Origin, I think I've seen enough that he doesn't fit the arena. Tell me why I'm wrong. Moses, though. Moses is built for Origin, yeah. So 3rd tackle now. He's had an incredible year this year and last year. 0-4 in game 3s. Yep. So Corey Horsburgh, he'll get this ball to the 45, 4th tackle. Might be ballsy call, but tell me why I'm wrong. Raiders to the left-hand side, Hudson Young. It's going to be 4 tackles still, now 5th tackle at the 45. Daniel Viata says, Harley right about Cleary. Yeah, look, I just think that we've seen plenty. Yes, sure, he has one Origin. And 2021, I think it was, Reece Walsh gets his ball to the 22 on 1st tackle. 2021, they had a blowout, game 1 and game 2. Still couldn't win game 3, mind you. But Queensland have been underdogs in most series where they've ended up winning. That's going to be a penalty to the Broncos at the 35. Queensland have been underdogs in most series where they've ended up winning. They're against Cleary, who should be the guy. For Queensland, Cameron Munster is the guy, or Tom Dearden is the guy. These guys just stand up. You know, Harry Grant doesn't necessarily work in Origin either. I would say Harry Grant's proven himself a lot more for Queensland than Nathan Cleary has for New South Wales, but Harry Grant has also been not the same impactful player for the Queenslanders as he is for the Melbourne Storm, where he's very clearly the best hooker in the game in the NRL. But when it comes to Origin, sometimes he can be really poor as well. Sometimes people don't realise that they're just such different games. Oh, that's definitely held, Stags. Go back to the 25. So 2nd tackle here. Oh, Ethan Strange is on the ground right now. You don't want to see him injured. Maybe he's just... Oh, jeez. He's just hit his back straight in the ground there. I hope he's all right. God bless him. I want to see Cleary perform how he does in a different system. Yeah. All right, so Broncos now 25 metres out from the line. 2nd tackle. Carrigan gives it off to Kobe Hetherington. Hetherington's going to be 20 metres out from the line. 3rd tackle. 3rd tackle. They go to the right-hand side. Now Broncos, Reece Walsh should be at 15. 4th tackle. 15 minutes to go the first half. This game has felt like it's gone on a lot longer. Wow, 6 again for the Broncos. That's huge. Oh, Hetherington gets slapped at the 10 by Hudson Young. I don't know where that 6 again came from, but it has been called. First half with the Broncos, 10 metres out. They give it out to Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt at the back to Jordan Ricky. No, that is Piakura, sorry. Piakura at the 8, 2nd tackle. Another set restart here for the Broncos. Paddy Carrigan, he's going to be 5 metres out, 1st tackle. I'll read out a second who's who. Out the back to Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt off to Piakura. Oh, it's a strong run, but it gets taken down by Tom Starling and Josh Papali'i. That's 3rd tackle, I think, now. Broncos trying to go up through the crash plays. Now 3rd tackle, 2 metres away from the line. Now they're going to spread it out the back to Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt out to numbers galore. Try time for the Broncos. Where was the Raiders' defence there? That was really strange. That was really strange. Like a good pass over the top there, but that was really strange. Difficult kick to get here for the Broncos. But Dean Marriott's going to score here. That was... where was the defence? Where was the wing here? Because that seemed way too open. Sebastian Chris has come inside. Yeah, that's on Sebastian Chris here. Sebastian Chris has jammed in on Reece Walsh, which has forced the winger to come in for the centre. And then, obviously, Dean Marriott's going to be completely open on the wing there. That is on Sebastian Chris, unfortunately, defensively. So, try time for the Broncos. Way too open there because, unfortunately, the Raiders centre decided to come in for the fullback on the inside when the Raiders had plenty of defenders on that area. And that is the problem with why people blame wingers, because Savelia Tamale cannot be blamed for going for the centre there because Sebastian Chris has come in for the fullback on the inside, which has kept Dean Marino completely open on the wing. Who's just to play devil's advocate, Panthers are known for their slow grind play style. That's very much like Origin games, which would mean Cleary is accustomed to the Origin slow grind play style. Sure, yeah, I don't necessarily disagree, but also New South Wales don't necessarily bring in a team to play that slow grind style like they do. It's weird. Like, I can see what you're trying to get at there, because Origin is built for that, but it's not like New South Wales really build and deliver their team surrounding that kind of play style. It is more of a... They don't necessarily select based off of that. They do... It's hard to explain. I don't feel like New South Wales go for the grind. I don't think they do. I think they did last year. Last year was a very good example of where they chose players for a specific reason, which is what Michael Maguire did. This year, I don't think they did that, and in recent years, I don't think they do that. Whilst Queensland do actually deliver around, it's a good kick from the Broncos, over the post, over the black dot, and it is 12-10 with 12 minutes to go here of the first half. Good kick there from Reece Walsh to make it a tied game at 12-12, 12 minutes to go of the first half. Broggy Sports try time big bomb on a bish. Justin says, Broncos are getting pushed around like they are children. They have no shot versus the Raiders. Justin, are you watching the same game as us? Justin, are you watching the same game as us? KCT says, coming to Raiders. Paul says, where was the Bronco defence? Tit for tat. Well, to be fair, the Raiders have scored 2 tries through kicks. The Broncos have scored 2 tries through the hands. So, not really tit for tat in a lot of ways. It's tit for tat in regards to the scoreline, but not in the way they're conceding tries. The Broncos have conceded from 2 kicks through the line. And so if you're going to say where's the defense there, you're kind of blaming solely Reece Walsh because he's the one in control of behind the line. But for the Raiders, where was their defense? Because they're getting done through the hands. There's a very different way of both these teams conceding tries in this game. Reece says, I think you are bullshitting. Well, explain to me how. The whole point of the conversation is that you actually explain to me how you believe I am wrong. You don't just say, I think you're bullshitting, because then I just say, well, how? How? Explain to me how I am wrong in the way that I'm thinking. The whole point is a conversation here. So please feel free to enlighten us on your intelligence, to tell us whatever you believe. I don't even know what you're referring to. But whatever you believe, please tell me how I'm wrong in whatever I'm saying. So the Bronx, now, they get that ball at the back here to the 35, and then Walters kicks it through. It's not played at. It's not played at. They throw the ball backwards here. Raiders might pick this up here. They might kick it through. Oh, it's still Broncos ball at the 40. They need to get the ball away here. It's fit tackle at the 50. No, dude. You got to kick that, Hetherington. Just kick it through. Please, Reece. I'm really looking forward to it. I don't know why Hetherington's not kicking that ball through. What was that from the Broncos? Justin says, well, to be fair, I said that before they scored. My feed is a bit delayed. Oh, fair enough. Anthony says, Broncos grandfather. Don't even know what that means. Paul says, will they wake up to the kick through? Well, we'll find out now, Paul. We'll find out now. First tackle over the Raiders, 45 metres out. 10 minutes to go here of the first half, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new around here. We're live for every single finals game and then also the internationals coming up. But hit that thumbs up button, subscribe. Raiders at the 35. Now it's going to be Zach Hosking, who's going to be 23 metres away on third tackle. Broncos have had 59% possession, by the way. 59% possession. And Raiders kick it through. Where's the ball going to? It's going to go too far. It's going to be dead. I don't know why they've kicked that ball on third tackle. Kale Weeks, that wasn't the play. That wasn't the play. Laurie says, have faith, Justin. Long way to go. Sean says, don't stop moving your hands. At least I know something is happening. Nikhil says, evening all. How's the game going? I just got home. It's a good game. It's an exciting game right now. Exciting game. First tackle for the Broncos, and they're up to 38. Not the play Weeks, not at all. Not on third tackle, at the very least. Broncos now, second tackle at 44. Justin says the Panthers style of play doesn't necessarily fit Origin. Yeah, I agree, because they've had 5 Panthers players throughout their time there. I think one year they had 7 Panthers players in it. And yet, did they lose that series? You don't have the luxury of playing on the ad line like in regular season. Cleary squares up play well, enabling openings on the edge. The Broncos now left-hand side. Shibasaki is going to be 32 metres out for tackle. 9 minutes left of the first half. Billy Walters. They get it across here at the 30. Carrigan. Oh, it's a massive hit there from Hudson Young, who has clearly been the best player in this game, mind you. Hudson Young has been incredible today. And now they'll kick this ball into the corner. Good chase through, but it will be taken by Tamale. Held up over, and they'll be in the in goal. That's a great tackle from the Broncos. That's a great tackle from the Broncos, and Dean Mariner and Tony's tags will take him, hold him up, and then take him into the in goal. And see, there's a real emphasis of a point, guys, in regards to people who talk in today's day and age. Everyone's happy to come in and say that I think you were bullshitting and that you're wrong, but they're not happy to explain why. So there is a very key point to how the world operates nowadays, is that they're happy to come in and tell you you're wrong without explaining to you why they believe you're wrong. There is a key example from old mate before, and that's a great kick there from the Raiders. The Broncos will get the ball at the 35, and they're going to bring it out here to the 45. Always encourage the conversation, guys. First tackle here for the Broncos at the 42. Horsburgh needs to fire up and get angry. Haven't seen much from Corey Horsburgh today. Maybe last week hit him in the fields because he was the captain and they lost that game to the Dolphins despite having all their players out. Second tackle for the Broncos at the 35, and Billy Walters is going to get straight through. Oh no! The Broncos knocked the ball on. Oh dude, that was a try waiting to happen, but Billy Walters gets the pass away, and then it's a knock on, I think, for maybe Shibasaki. Oh, he should have just... That's such a good run from Billy Walters too. The pass is kind of on Billy Walters, and Pierre Kura knocks it on. It's just a bad pass from Billy, but it was a great run from him anyway. Grass McGrath, Casey. Apparently you can't have a different opinion these days, mate. No, you're not allowed to have a different opinion, Storm, mate. But even when you do, people refuse to actually talk and discuss it. But it shows you the bitch that they are. So first tackle now for the Raiders, and they're going to get this ball out here to the 15. First tackle, 7 minutes 22 to go here the first half. And penalty to the Raiders. Damn, you're going to be spewing if you're a Broncos fan. You looked like you were just about to take the lead, and instead you're going to knock the ball on and then give away a penalty straight away. Yeah, no, rugby, we do what we want here. Laurie says, could taste the try line before, and now they'll get this ball to the 45. 45 metres out, Sebastian Chris. Penalties, the Canberra 5, Broncos 1. A lot of these penalties have been valid, but I feel like Broncos fans will complain about the number of them in comparison to how Canberra have given away, sorry. But if you disagree with the penalties, then tell me which ones you disagree with. So the Raiders now will be second tackle at the 48. At least Ashley Klein, he looked awful for a point of this game. Hasn't been too bad for a while now, though. All right, Raiders now 33 metres out. It's third tackle. Now Jamal Fogarty off to Morgan Smithies, and he's going to be 24 metres away from the line. Do they think about a field goal at any point? Because it is a final, it's huge, but 7 tackle set is also big to give away. I don't know if you think about a field goal now, but 6 to get on fifth tackle is crazy. Kale Weeks, he breaks through. It doesn't matter! Try time for the Raiders on the post. So forget the 6 again. He scored on fifth anyway. Bing bong, KO Weeks, that's poor defense from the Broncos there. KO Weeks, you can see that hole completely open up there where the posts were. He was looking to shape out to the right-hand side. The call of 6 again came, but it doesn't matter because KO Weeks sees that hole open up. He just runs a straight hard line and scores onto the post. It's about to be an 18-12 ball game for the Raiders. That was the set restart on the final play there, but either way, he does score on that fifth. And look at the defense, the Broncos. There is massive gap there. I don't know what Reece Walsh is doing. Reece, unfortunately, has had a really tough game positionally. Very, very tough game positionally because the Raiders are tricking him quite well right now. They're tricking Reece Walsh very, very well. They have been able, that's the first try the Raiders have scored through the hands, mind you. They've been able to pinpoint where Reece is positionally on defense on the left-hand side with the kick through from Jamal Fogarty to Hudson Young and no one being close. And then also the Hudson Young kick through to Sebastian Chris with no one being close. So they're picking out Reece Walsh positionally in the middle of the field and then going bang on that left-hand side. And then this time, Reece Walsh is actually kind of ready for a kick if they do go through. Because Reece Walsh has come across to prevent that kick if it goes out into that corner. But because of that, then K. Weeks has just said, well, screw this and just run it himself. And there's a massive gap there because they've all bid on that as well. So he's gone straight through. The Raiders tactically here have really been able to pinpoint Reece Walsh in defence today. Jonathan says it would be nice to see Cleary Roman play both sides instead of playing just right side only. Also, it'd be nice to see him run inside ball plays instead of always playing out the back door. Yeah, well, look, I want to really re-emphasise here that Nathan Cleary for mine is one of, if not the best NRL player ever. But the NRL is a different game to Origin, and Origin is a different game to International, and International is a different game to NRL. They're all three very individual competitions. And there have been brilliant players in the NRL who haven't translated to the Origin arena. And there's also been, like, for example, Robert Toyer. It's also a great example. He was clearly built for Origin. And he's been good for the Roosters, but I wouldn't say he's been unbelievable for the Roosters. Like, you can clearly pinpoint him as the best player for Queensland in a losing game in Game 1 this year. But I don't think many people can really refer to Robert Toyer on a regular level across the year in the NRL for the Sydney Roosters. You know, and I think that overall he was one of the most important players for Queensland in that competition. But most people wouldn't have really regarded him too well outside of that in the Roosters if you remove his origin. So I think that Robert Toyer is that kind of player can play there, but maybe not necessarily that kind of beast player that we see here. Third tackle over the Raiders. Would you guys agree or disagree with that? Raiders now third tackle at 28. Gary says, I hear you, Blaze. Having an opinion nowadays is not allowed in certain places. We know that. Fourth tackle here. But that's why you just got to keep encouraging the conversation, man. You've got to keep encouraging the conversation. Oh, Fogarty nearly knocked that ball on, but it's fine. Good kick. Will it sit up, though? Will it go too far? Or it will go too far. 7 tackle, 7 for the Broncos. So I'll get this ball out here to the 20. 0 tackles, 3 minutes 53 to go the first half. Laurie says that knock-on from Walters, Raiders punish. Yeah, exactly right. And AJ says, old mate Weeks is too quick. He's got springs in his boots. Justin says this is a hell of a game. It is a very good game because, again, the Raiders have tactically pinpointed Reece Walsh on defence, whilst the Broncos have also had majority of the possession by a significant amount. But it's like this is a very close to a high tackle there. Second tackle for the Broncos at the 50. This is very interesting tactically wise because the Broncos are threatening, but the Raiders defensively are coming up trumps. It's very balanced. And this game is so close. Like there's... You can't tell who's going to win yet. At the moment, I'd still be leaning with my tip of the Raiders, but it's a very technically top-tier game. Fourth tackle now for the Broncos at 35. And Ben Hunt, I don't know why. Oh, no one was back. Where was the fullback? Where was K. Weeks? Well, that's going to be a great kick from Ben Hunt. It looks weird. If K. Weeks was back there, it would have been awful, but he wasn't. So they pinpointed where K. Weeks was and now forced a dropout. I like it. I like it. No one around him. Jordan says, your prediction for the grand final? This is a bold prediction. I still consider Sharks sneaking in, eh? But I will say, right this very second, it's still looking likely as a Raiders Storm grand final, but I would only tip the Raiders to make the grand final if they win this game. I wouldn't have them to make the grand final if they lose this game. Yeah, I wouldn't. I would have them to play the Storm in the prelim. I'd have them to play the Storm in the prelim, but I wouldn't have them... I think the Raiders would beat the Sharks next week in Canberra. Sharks Broncos at Suncorp is such a hard one to call. Oh no, Payne Haas is limping heavily here. God bless him. Oh no, that's not what you want to see. You don't want to see Payne Haas limping heavily. Fourth tackling over the Broncos at the 25. You do not want to see that, especially with no Xavier Willison already. God bless him. He still can't even really walk properly. Broncos hit Grassy McGrath, still their ball at the 30. Reece Walsh comes back across here at the 35. Tries to go through the line. It'll be fit tackle at the 25. They've locked down Reece Walsh a lot today on defence as well. And now they go to the left. And that's going to go out the full here. That's going to go out the full. Yep. Well, that's definitely not gone regardless. No, it is going to go out in the full. So Raiders with a minute 22 to go. They're going to keep Payne Haas on the field here. If you're the Raiders, you pinpoint him. Run straight at Payne Haas. It's an awful thing to say, but this is a professional sport. You have to target this kind of shit. If you want to win this game, if you want to win games professional sport, it's their choice to keep him on the field right now. They're challenging this, the Broncos. They're saying they touched it in flight, but either way, it's a knock-on. Why? Why? Why are you challenging? What's the point? Either way, this is a knock-on. So Ben Hunt kicks that up. Does Corey Horsburgh touch this ball here? No. No, nowhere even close. Why are we even looking at that? So they're saying that Corey Horsburgh touched this? Are you off your rocker? There's no way they challenged that. Okay, and now they're going to see if this ball goes out in the full. Okay, where's the Broncos player's feet? He is... He's definitely out. Why have you challenged that, Broncos? You're out. You've lost your challenge pointlessly. Because as well, mind you, Broncos, you knocked that ball on anyway. That's baffling, dude. They've lost their challenge, the Broncos. They have lost their challenge, and no, that's not a hip drop, Olivia. No way. No way is that a hip drop. No way. That is not a hip drop. That's a brain explosion for the Broncos to challenge that call. No matter what, you weren't getting the ball back because it would have been a knock on. Anyway, third tackle with the Raiders at the 40. Michael Boyd says, yeah, what a dumb challenge. Nate says, unless he's got go-go gadget arms, he's nowhere near it. Well, that's not what they were challenging. They were challenging... Oh, that's a knock-on for the Raiders. So the Broncos... Oh, no, it's a double knock-on. It will waste a bit of time, though. Broncos get the ball at the 45. They weren't challenging Corey Horse for touching it, so it was weird the bunker was looking at that because he was about this far off touching it. But they challenged that he knocked it in bounds before it went out in the full. But the issue with that, again, was that, one, he was clearly out, but even if he wasn't out, it's still just a knock-on against the Broncos, and the Raiders will still just get the ball 5 metres further back or 10 metres further back. So it wasn't Broncos' ball. So they've lost a challenge to gain nothing. Billy Walters, the left-hand side here. They kick this ball down to the corner, but it's going to be knocked on by the Raiders. The Broncos will get another chance here. They'll still get another chance. They're going to pack the scrum. There's 15 seconds left, first half. They will get a play off here. You wouldn't go for a field goal. They're just going to kick this ball up into the air, I reckon. 12 seconds left. They go to the right-hand side. Ben Hunt kicks this ball to the corner. Dean Mariner. I don't know what's happening here. 3 seconds. They're going to get one last shot at it. They get that ball across into Ben Hunt. They pass this ball 6 again. Broncos back to the 20. What on earth is happening in this? Oh my gosh, they might actually still find a way to score. They might still find a way to score. No, he's held up. Oh my gosh, dude. Tom Starling, take a bow. Tom Starling, take a bow. Deary me. Yeah, Reese, because you're a pussy and you can't actually reply to a genuine question, we're going to remove you for 10 minutes, mate. If you have the balls to come back and actually discuss and conversate, then we'll happy for you to do that. We'll see you in 10 minutes, buddy. So that's going to be held up. Jeez, that was so close from Josiah Katapani. So close. It'll be held up over the line. Starling, unbelievable. Unbelievable. So half-time, 18-12. This is a great game, right? This is a great game. This actually could go down as the best game of this final so far. Currently, I would have Sharks Roosters yesterday, then Storm Bulldogs, and then Raiders versus the Broncos, currently in that order. But if this game continues, wowee, this is actually a really enjoyable matchup here. But anyway, halftime here, 18-12. Obviously, get into the chat. Let us know what your thoughts are. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Let's get into the stats and see how this game is progressing. Now, in regards to try scorers, the Raiders, Hudson Young, Sebastian Chris, and KO Weeks, with the Broncos try scorers being Katoni Staggs and Dean Mariner. And the possession-wise, this is why it's crazy. Broncos at 57% possession. The Raiders at 43% possession. That is gigantic in a swing. That is a gigantic swing there, man. Wowee. You know, for a team to be up 18-12, despite only having 43% possession and a completion rate that is pathetic, that is really crazy. That is really crazy stuff. So it shows the quality of the Raiders even when they're on the back foot. But the Broncos, they're still in this game and only down by 6 points, but they've had such a significant amount of possession that if this equals out, and this goes more to like a 52-48 or a 50-50, the Raiders actually win this game quite well. And that's what should be worrying and concerning for the Broncos right now, is that they've nearly had 60% of the possession, and yet they're still down by 6 points. And then you go to the time possession here. 13 minutes and 55 seconds for the Broncos, 10 minutes and 12 seconds for the Raiders. Now that's under 25 minutes of play. Now that's poor. You want to be seeing more time with the ball. 13 minutes 55 plus 10 minutes 12 is 23 minutes, is basically 24 minutes and 7 seconds. That's under the minimum that you want to be seeing at 25 minutes. So, look, ultimately you've seen 5 tries in this game, which is why you're going to see that. But also, there has been quite a lot of penalties. There's been quite a lot of penalties and also quite a lot of errors in this game. And you know what? The Raiders, again, despite having 43% possession, we're going to talk about this in a second, but 8 errors. 8 errors. This is actually really impressive. Despite the Raiders not being too good, they're still winning. They are still winning this game. Now, in regards to completion rate, you want to be seeing 80% as a minimum, right? If you watch these streams every single day, you know what we say, 80% is a minimum. Both teams are not there. The Broncos are at 73%, 17 from 23. That is not good. You want to be seeing at least 80%. Anything above 80% is where you need to be. They're at 73%. They have incomplete 6 sets. But the Raiders are at 68% with 13 from 19. Also, 6 incomplete sets. They've just had 4 less sets than the Broncos. So the same amount of incomplete sets and 4 less complete sets than the Broncos. But again, they've had 4 less sets in general than the Broncos have. So both teams are very underwhelming there in regards to completion rate. You go to the runs, 79 runs for the Raiders, 86 runs for the Broncos, with 7-run gap. The Raiders are at 664 metres from those 79 runs, and the Broncos are at 738 run metres from those 86 runs. So if you're looking for this solid number of 10 metres on average per run, 10 metres on average per run is what you want to see for a very solid number. The Raiders are 664 from 79, so that means they're about 126. Let's go with an even number of 130. 130 run meters behind what you'd like to be seeing for 10 meters on average per run. Whilst the Broncos at 738, they're also very similar. You know, it's probably more closer to 120 metres at 86 runs for 738, so you'd be needing to see 860 metres there. And for the Raiders, you'd need to be seeing 790 metres there. So that's what we're saying. So it's about 130 metres behind for the Raiders, 120 metres behind for the Broncos, 738 at 634 on its merit. But if you give those 7 extra runs here to the Raiders, you're probably seeing a pretty similar rate, if not just in advantage of the Broncos. You're probably seeing the Raiders at about 710, maybe 720, whilst the Broncos at 738, if you give the Raiders 7 extra runs to get to the 86-86. I'm not going to give them 10 metres on average per run. That would take them basically exactly to the Broncos, but that would be an unfair metric. So based off of me kind of trying to give you as best of a light as I can, it would be 710 to 720, which would still be behind the Broncos, not quite there, but also close enough to say this is quite an even game run meters wise. And then you go to the post contact meters. Now, again, 7 runs. The Broncos are 226 from 86 runs, and the Raiders are at 214 from 79 runs. You give the Raiders 7 extra runs, they probably get to about 230, 235. So that means that Raiders ultimately are getting more post-contact meters than the Broncos. Not by a great deal, not by a significant amount, but the Raiders probably, it's a difficult metric to read, but probably would be in front of the Broncos if you equal it out at 86-86. Then you go to the line breaks. Broncos 3, Raiders 1. That's actually very impressive for the Broncos. Nothing too insane overall, but it is a good amount of line breaks for the Bronx. Tackle breaks is 24 for the Broncos and 19 for the Raiders. 18 and 12, you can't expect that, but also the team that's missed more tackles is a team that's leading 18 and 12. You know, ultimately, it's crazy, a lot of these stats here. The tackle breaks of 24 means the Raiders have missed 24 missed tackles. And the 19 missed tackles for the Broncos is normal for the Broncos, but also it's past the average. We expect that from the Broncos, not necessarily from the Raiders, but again, the Raiders are leading 18-12 despite the stat favouring the Broncos here. Then you go to the average set distance. 25 metres and under, you turn the stream off, it's pathetic. 25 metres to 30 is disgusting. 30 to 35 is underwhelming. 35 to 40 is hitting the marker. 40 to 45 is great. 45 to 50 is fantastic, and 50 plus is basically perfect. Both these teams are nowhere near that. They're actually both in the underwhelming category. The Raiders were at 34.95, so they are 0.05 away from hitting at least the hitting the marker category of 35, but they're not quite getting there. They're at 34.95, which is still extremely high in the underwhelming category. And then you go to the Broncos, we're even lower. They're at 32.12. So it's only 3 or so metres that have separated the two of these teams, but the Broncos are at the lower to mid-range of the underwhelming category at 32.12 metres. Per set, on average, they're hitting 32 metres. And per set, on average, for the Raiders, they're basically hitting 35, but they're just underneath it. So both teams, underwhelming. Raiders just a little bit better in this category. And then you go down to the average play the ball speed. 3.48 seconds for the Raiders. 3.79 seconds for the Broncos. 3.39 and below is fast. Or extreme. 3.39 and below is fast. Anything under 3.20 is extremely fast. 3.4 to 3.59 is average. 3.6 to 3.79 is slow. And then 3.8 and above is extremely slow. Now, the Raiders at 3.48 seconds is right dead smack in the middle of an average speed across the competition. It's a pretty normal speed. There's nothing too spectacular about it. It's not too fast. It's also not too slow. It's just pretty normal. Whilst the Broncos, they are quite literally on the dot of extremely slow. Their play the ball speed is well and truly into the extremely slow. Like, that is Well, they're actually 0.01 in the slow category, but you're basically saying this is extremely slow. 3.79 is not exactly a number that you're used to when it comes to playable speed. So Broncos, extremely slow. Raiders at 3.8, pretty regular speed. Advantage Raiders there on a beautiful day in the capital. Then you go to the offloads. 7 to the Broncos, 6 to the Raiders. Both these teams love a good offload. This is quite a lot. It's really good to see from both those teams. Forced dropout, showing the Broncos are on the attack a lot. 2-0 to the Broncos here. It's showing that they're getting repeat sets in the line of attack. You go to the kick defusal, 17% for the Raiders and 0% for the Broncos. Not great there from either team. Broncos with a 1-40-20. And then you go to the effective tackle percentage, and this is bad stuff. This is bad stuff here from both these teams. I will really reiterate, this is an individual effective tackle percentage marker. This is not a collective team level, right? But it does show you that these players are all missing a lot of tackles, and there's a lot of ineffective tackles in this game because there is a lot of X factor, a lot of flair, actually from both these teams in this game. Now, you want to be seeing at least 88%. 85% and below is disgusting. 85% to 88% is underwhelming. 88% to 90% is hitting the marker, and then 90% and above is absolutely fantastic. Both of these teams are in the disgusting category. The Raiders are at 82.65% right now. That is really, really poor. That is really, I need to emphasize how poor that is. 162 tackles made for 24 missed tackles and 10 ineffective. The average amount of missed tackles in the first half is about 15 to 17. They're at 24. That's 7 more missed tackles than an average on the highest level of the average at 17. 7 more than that. That's really bad. That's really bad. It's similar to the Bulldogs in what they had against the Storm in the first half on Friday night, which we had to criticise quite a lot. In the ineffective tackles, there's an average of 6-7. They're still above that by 3. So 34 bad tackles in the first half is really poor stuff from the Raiders, and that's why they're at 82.65%. But the Broncos aren't too much better. They're at 84.27%, so they're still in the disgusting category. 150 tackles made, 19 missed tackles, and 9 ineffective. So slightly better. They've had 12 less tackles made, but the missed tackles are 5 less than the Raiders, but still 2 above the highest of the average of 17 at 19. And then the ineffective tackles is still 2 above the highest of the average at 6-7. So that's still 28 bad tackles made from the Broncos to 34 bad tackles made there from the Raiders. But still not too far separating. It's just the Broncos have had those less tackles there. Overall, both these teams defensively on an individual level are not performing at a great time. They're not performing great. They aren't performing great here defensively, but it's because both teams are showing a lot of flair. There was a lot of flair from both these teams, especially, I would say surprisingly, the Raiders. Again, the Raiders can score, but they're not necessarily known as that flair team. They're more of a balanced team, whilst the Broncos are very heavily reliant on their flair, which we have seen it a couple of times this game, but the Raiders have been able to really restrict the Broncos in regards to the creativity that they usually play with, and that's how they must win this game. And the Raiders have been also very tactically brilliant with picking out where Reece Walsh is in the fullback, kicking there where he's nowhere close, kicking there where he's nowhere close, and then as he's going over for a potential kick over here, Weeks runs in and catches him off guard again. The Raiders have been very good in regards to picking out where he is. But overall, effective tackle percentage, both teams, not good. Then you go to the negative play, and this is bad, especially for a finals game between first and fourth. 4 and below is really good. 5, 6 is average, and 7 and above is really, really bad for errors. The Raiders are at 8. The Broncos are at 5. So the Broncos are on the lower of the average of 5, 6. That's still a lot of errors, but it's not really bad. The Raiders at 8 is Newcastle Knights territory. The Raiders at 8 for a first-place team in this finals game at home to have 8 errors is unheard of. That is really bad stuff. And this is why it's so surprising that you look at a score here of 18-12 to the Raiders, but yet these stats should show that they should be down. But this is the definition of a team that can win a comp. This is the definition of a team that is a genuine contender and can win a premiership if they don't necessarily deserve to be where they are, but they are where they are. And the Raiders have made a lot of errors. They've got a really poor defensive effective tackle percentage. They've got less run meters. They do have technically less post-contact meters. They've got a worse completion rate. They've got literally 14% less possession in this game at 43% to 57%, and yet they're still up 18-12, and that's the point that these kind of teams win premierships when they don't necessarily deserve to be there, but yet they're still there, which ultimately means that they do deserve to be there because they just know how to win, regardless of how they play. 8 errors is pathetic. That is pathetic stuff. but yet they're still up by 6 points and they've scored 3 tries. Penalties conceded is 5-1 against the Broncos, so very ill-disciplined there from Brisbane, and then the ruck infringements is 4-2 against the Raiders, so both teams are actually at a very similar rate there on a discipline level. That's 5 penalties/ruck infringements against the Raiders, while 7 penalties/ruck infringements against the Broncos. It's just that the 4-2 Raiders way is in the attacking 60, whilst the 5-1 penalties conceded from the Broncos is from their own 40, for the most part, right? I'm pretty certain most, if not all, of those penalties actually did come within the 40. So overall, you look at this game and you say, if the Raiders can get a bit more possession, they might win this game 13+. This has been a really exciting game. However, where the Broncos, if they can maintain what they're doing right now, they should be having more points on the board. It's just their defense has let in tries because the Raiders just know how to win. They know how to score. Again, the stats as a whole, much more possession for the Broncos. A completion rate is better. More run meters. More post contact. More line breaks. More tackle breaks. Average set distance is not good. Slow play, the ball speed is not great. More offloads. More forced dropouts, 40-20, better effective tackle percentage, less errors, more penalties conceded, but overall, the Broncos on these stats should be up. They should be up, but as Shannon says here, ugly winning is what the Raiders have been good at this year. No, I would say that ugly winning has been what they've been good in recent years. I think this year they've been pretty confidently winning most games. But in recent years, I would agree with that. But anyway, I'm going to still take the Raiders here in the second half. But it's going to be very interesting to see if this possession count evens up. The Raiders could actually go and win this game 13+. If the possession count stays similar or goes more in favour of the Broncos, then you're probably looking at the Broncos to tie this game up and we may see an extra time. But overall, this has been a really quality game of tactical play. Little bit of flair, but both teams have been restricting it as well. And then just defensively, both teams are picking it apart. It's really intriguing how a lot of this is going. And at least Ashley Klein, despite making some very strange calls, hasn't impacted the game too drastically just yet. But obviously, guys, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. The second half is about to start here, where I'm pretty certain the Broncos hit the ball after the Raiders to start us all off. Kamoy says, do you still do NFL streams? Not really, Kamoy, because I'm on a really awful time zone, mate, for the NFL. 12 a.m. is when they start for me here in Vietnam. Yeah, we'll see, man. But just not for the time being. Sorry, it's actually the Broncos who received the ball here first, and they get this ball to the 20 on first tackle. But yeah, no, I do love my NFL regardless. Paul says, Raiders are using their brains, cunning, man. They're cunning. Well, they know what they're doing. They know what they're doing. Gary says, with you on that, Sean. Sean says, 25 minutes of real play and they don't get paid enough. Exactly. Vasa says, God, please, yet Raiders win. I'm a Sharks fan. Obviously don't want to play the Raiders. Why? Why? The Sharks were a couple of seconds away from beating the Raiders earlier on in the year. I don't think they played again, did they? I think the Raiders only played the Sharks once. No? At least Payne Haas is okay and running well. Fit tackle over the Broncos at the 42. But the Raiders only played the Sharks one time this year, no? And it was a very big breakaway 90-minute try from basically Sebastian Chris in the last seconds. But otherwise, the Sharks are about to win that game. So, I don't know. Brendan Pukura has been ruled out of this game with a fractured cheekbone, guys. That's a big loss there for the Broncos. A big loss there for the Broncos. NFL streams had to be good. I would do them if it wasn't such an awful time zone for me, man. If I was living in, like, America or something like that, I would definitely do them. But also, Vasmus, I've got to remind you, man, you're in the final 6 teams of the NRL. You're just taking out a team. You shouldn't be afraid of anybody. If you believe you're going to win the comp, then play who you play. Don't care who you play, whether it's the Broncos, whether it's the Raiders. And also, the Broncos, you would play them in a place that you did lose to as well. Fit tackle now for the Raiders at the 40. Tom Starling gives it back here to Jamal Fogarty, and he will whack that ball down to the 5. Is that going to go too far? It will not. It will sit up in the in goal. It's a great kick, and Reece Walsh is forced to bring this out of the in goal and slapped out of the 15 on first tackle. Jordan says, well, the pressure is on. This is anyone's game. Of course it is. Case says, I reckon Kawhi Leonard will stand in the second half. What an irrelevant comment. Vassal says, I'm calling a Broncos comeback, even though I wish they don't for Sharks' sake. Again, you shouldn't give a shit who wins and loses this game. You should play whoever you play. You are in the final 6 teams of the competition, man. Who gives a shit who you play? At the end of the day, if you think you're going to win the comp, you're going to be the best by beating the best. If you want to be the best, you have to beat the damn well best. If you play, like I said before this stream, if you play the Raiders, if you play the Broncos, if you play the Queensland State of Origin team from 2000 and damn well, 10, Who cares? At the end of the day, you're in the second week of the finals. You should be confident against whoever you come up against, especially after your last two games, one against the Bulldogs, and then that last night's game against the Roosters. It was great stuff from the Sharks. So no, I 100% believe that you should not be scared about playing anybody. And I say the same thing for the Broncos, and I say the same thing for the Raiders, and I'll say the same thing for the Panthers and everybody in between. You shouldn't be wanting to pick and choose who you play. You should just be confident against whoever you're playing. Because to be the best, you've got to beat the best. So the Raiders now, Tom Starling goes right-hand side. And they'll get this ball here to the 40 on fourth tackle. Fassman says, all right, I need more confidence. Absolutely. Great running. Tom Starling is away here. Tom Starling's away here to 35. The 30 gets away from Reece Walsh. Reece Walsh down. Tom Starling right-hand side. He'll be 15 metres out of the line. Fit tackle. Jeez, great run there from Tom Starling. He's been good today. Fit tackle for Canberra. Morgan Smithies gives it across here to Jamal Fogarty. Jamal Fogarty kicks that ball over the top, and Ben Hunt will get it 1 metre out. But geez, what a set from Canberra. That boy Jordan says, damn, the game is getting kind of tense. Well, that's what happens in the finals, that boy Jordan. This is what happens, man. Of course, it's going to get tense. Only a 6-point game. You know, whoever wins goes to the preliminary final. Whoever loses will play the Cronulla Sharks next week. And I can tell you right now, both these teams would have watched that Sharks team play yesterday, and it was a very impressive win. Anyone who tells you that Sharks win wasn't impressive and it was the Roosters just making errors, I promise you right now, and if you watch me on Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram at BKRsport, you know what I'm saying. Go watch my stories. That was a very impressive win for the Sharks yesterday because they usually collapse under the pressure. The Roosters in the second half were going to dominate the living shit out of them in that 40 to 50-minute time frame. And then they scored a try. They weren't letting the Sharks get out of their own 20. That is a prime time for when the Sharks would normally in recent years just absolutely collapse under the pressure and get slapped. And that's what the Roosters did to the Storm with 8 players out, but also the Rabbitohs in the second half. But the Sharks said, screw that, and they were able to hold them out. It was a very, very effective win for Cronulla yesterday when no one believed him. They shouldn't have been the underdogs. They've won 7 out of their last 8 games coming into the final series. And I'll promise you that both these teams don't want to play Cronulla right now. Both of them don't want to play Cronulla. So this is going to be an intense last 35 minutes, not only just to make the preliminary final, but you don't want to be playing an elimination final next week against a Sharks team that pretty much everyone's underrated throughout majority of the back end of the season. Criticism has been valid for them throughout the season, but the back end of the season, they've really found form at the right time of the year. So the Raiders put that ball up at the 20, knocked back here from Canberra, still fit tackle, KO Weeks steps, it's still fit tackle here, KO Weeks goes, 10 metres out, he's still going here, and he'll be taken out of the 5, he lost the ball, so it's going to be Broncos 0 tackle at the 5, I just take it out to the 10, surely. What? Was that a strip? Was it Ashley Klein? Well, surely that was a Raiders knock on, so it's either Broncos get the ball at the 10 on first, or it's a 0 tackle at the 5. What? Ashley Klein? Peter Pritchard says Broncos going to make a comeback. Well, it's only 6 points, so I wouldn't even necessarily say too much of a comeback, but could the Broncos win this game? Sure, this is a very tight game right now. 4 tackle, very intense. Very intense. Is there an update on Haas? Sorry if I missed it. No, Scott, he's on the field. He's fine. He is fine. But Brendan Pierre-Crew was ruled out with a broken cheekbone, a fractured cheekbone. Sorry. So Ben Hunt on fit tackle from the 30, and that's an awful kick from Hunt, dude. No, dude. No, dude. Not at the 35. You've put the Raiders into a good field position here. I understand the breather. I get it. But not at the 35. You need to kick that ball down deep, dude. All right, 33 minutes left here in the game. Shannon says, what I mean is statistically they are losing on stats but winning their games. Is that true? From what I've seen, I wouldn't necessarily agree, but I wouldn't be surprised if you were actually correct there either. I wouldn't be surprised. I would disagree off the top of my head, but you might be right. I wouldn't be surprised with their play style. So it's going to be 3rd tackle now for Canberra, and they get this ball here to the 40. But then again, you'd say the same thing about the Broncos in a lot of ways too, and the Roosters in a lot of ways too. I wouldn't say the Raiders usually make this many errors, though. Tom Starling get this ball here to the 30, now to the 25 on 4th tackle. I think the errors is what's most surprising from Canberra today. 8 errors at half time is crazy work. And Hudson Young, he's been incredible. He'll be fit tackle at the 13. 33 minutes to go of the game. Ethan Strange, Corey Horsburgh. It's fit tackle. He gets the ball across to KO Weeks. KO Weeks underneath to Zach Hosking. Zach Hosking kicks this ball through. That was absolutely horrific. That was absolutely horrific from the Raiders. That was crazy bad. So second tackle now for the Broncos, and they're going to be at the 13. 33 minutes to go of the game. Nikhil says Haas is out there. Scotty's still playing. Yeah, no, he's all right. Good to see. You want to see the best playing the best of the best. That's what you always want to see. Broncos fake it. Ben Hunt. He'll get the ball offload to Grass McGrath, and then Reece Walsh gets away. Reece Walsh can be away here. No, he will not be. And then throw the ball back to the 20, and Jordan Ricky will just take it at the 30. I've got to be honest with you, Broncos fans. I say this most weeks, but I don't know how Ricky still plays. Anyway, it's going to be fit tackle here at the 45. What does he bring to your team? What does Jordan Ricky bring? Besides the potential we thought we saw from years ago, what does Jordan Ricky actually bring this Broncos team? So the Raiders now get taken down at the 20. Glenn Wood says finals 40 pass try from Cleary kick last night was one of the best I've seen. Can't remember which one you're talking about, but probably I would agree if I can remember which one you're talking about. It's just that we're in a pretty hectic moment right now. Oh, you're talking about the controversial try. You're talking about the one that bounces back from in a pivotal time. Was a forward pass, so I don't know if I'm ever going to say that's the best try I've ever seen, but the kick was incredible if that's what you're referring to bounce back perfectly, which wouldn't put it past Nathan Cleary to have known what he was doing there, to put the ball to bounce backwards, which it's crazy thought process, but that's how good he is. Fit tackle here for the Raiders at 35, but to say it's the best try I've ever seen off a forward pass, I would have to disagree with. And that's going to be allowed to bounce, and Dean Mariner will get this ball to 5, and taken down here at the 18, first tackle. Peter Pritchard says, I've honestly been saying the same thing about Ricky. He doesn't get the job done as a forward. For so long, Peter, he's had a lot of potential, but I've said this for a very long time. I don't know what he actually brings this Broncos team. I don't know what he actually does. And the same thing goes for New Zealand. I haven't seen what the New Zealanders see in him as well to take him for the international team. If someone can explain to me from a Broncos perspective or anybody's perspective why Jordan Ricky is touted as such this big-time back row, I don't get it. Fit tackle, I would love for someone to explain it to me. 30 minutes to go here in the game. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. And now Ben Hunt on fit tackle. Raiders will get the ball at the 10. Tamale nearly knocks it on, but he gets it. First tackle. Dat Boy Jordan says Broncos never get finals, to be honest. Well, in 2023, I think they disagree with you because they made the grand final. Toons Wild Game says Broncos are behind because not going to read the rest of that comment, but the Broncos will give away a penalty. That's why they're behind, because they've given away a lot of penalties today. Raiders, there's no challenge there because they know that is a penalty. Carrigan's shaking his head because he knows he made a mistake there. Oh! Yeah. That's really silly from Carrigan, man. That's really silly from Carrigan. Alright, so 29 minutes to go here. That's silly. I mean, they keep choking 2015 and 2023. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you, bro. I'm a fan of what you said, but I just think that their fans would argue that they've still gotten to the grand final. You know, so I think they do get finals, just maybe not grand finals. Broncos don't get grand finals is what I'd kind of specifically refer to there. Josh Papali'i out to 45. Second tackle for the Raiders. Peter Pritchard says, I believe he's the reason why Renault keeps getting injured. He's never really up there in defence and is why Renault is up there defending, in my opinion. Sure, but Renault also had an injury problem at the Rabbitohs too, so that can't be on Jordan Ricky. So to be devil's advocate, I would say that this has been a common theme with Adam Reynolds for years now, even previously to when he was at the Brisbane Broncos. So Jamal Fogarty now to Morgan Smithies. And he'll get his ball to the 25. I just think that Adam Reynolds is one of those guys who just has a bit of that injury bug. Has been a consistent theme throughout his career, which I wish wasn't the thing. And it's fit tackle. Oh, Ethan Strange. Dude, if he actually grabs that ball, that's a try out of the post. He's knocked the ball on. Dat Boy Jordan says Weeks for Dalian winger. That is absolutely insanity considering KO Weeks is a fullback. What? Kale Payne Haas for Dalian halfback, lads? Are we thinking Payne Haas for Dalian halfback, or what are we doing? Kale Weeks for Dalian winger. We don't play winger. But fullback, who else is there? Third tackle for the Broncos at the 30. No, Tedesco. No, Tedesco gets it cleanly. Tedesco very cleanly gets fullback of the year. Fourth tackle here for the Broncos at the 40. Informant says, if the Panthers were to lose Nathan, would they even make the top 8? I don't think so. But the Broncos are away here. The Broncos are away. Oh, taking it to the 35 on fit tackle. Kobe Hetherington rolls it back to Reece Walsh, who plays it quickly. He goes down to the left-hand side of the 25. He'll get it across. Broncos here on fit tackle. Shibasaki. Oh, no, Broncos. And the frustration shows there from Brisbane. It's a knock-on. Oh, Biffo! Biffo! You can tell the intensity of this game is thick, dude. This is a thick intensity game. And there is a Biffo, son. Someone throw an uppercut. Give me a headbutt. You cat. You cat. Someone throw an uppercut. Paul says Tedesco had a great year. Tedesco could genuinely win the Dally M. So what happened for this to be a Biffo? What happened for the Biffo? Zach Hosking there. Oh, it's Hudson Young. Oh! Oh, Reece Walsh might get binned here. Has he thrown a headbutt? Oh, this is a bin. Reece Walsh, you're missing next week. Reece Walsh, you're out of next week. He's just thrown a headbutt. Holy shit, Reece. That's a send-off. That might be a send-off. What the fuck did you just do, Reece Walsh? You might have just lost. What the hell has Reece Walsh just done? That's a send-off, and he's going to be suspended. Ashley Klein, if you don't call this, you are off your rocker. Hudson Young is going to the bin for 10 minutes. Reece Walsh, that has to be a send-off. It's a headbutt. I can't believe that Hudson Young's been binned there, though. I agree with Joe Tarpany here. How was Hudson Young being binned there? Reece Walsh, it has to be off. It has to be off. He sends the bin for 10. It's a headbutt, though, Ashley Klein. It's a headbutt, though. He's thrown his head. Is that... How is this... That's actually wild, what we've just seen there. How is Hudson Young gone to the bin... Because he has come up to him. I'm really confused by a lot of this. Why was Hudson binned, though? So Reece Walsh has thrown his head at Hudson Young. He's actually thrown a headbutt. He will be suspended next week. He's not going to play next week. You can't argue that isn't a headbutt from Reece Walsh. If you had to pick who would win, who would you choose between these two Raiders? That's because he tried to start... No, Olivia. Oh, and the Broncos get the ball from this is crazy. What? Yeah, Lucas says, I can see the Hudson bin if you send off Walsh, but how have they got the same punishment? That's crazy that they've got the same punishment there. And also, can I ask, how did the Broncos get the ball here? Wasn't it fit tackle? Did they give a penalty or something? And Broncos are going to be 10 metres away from the line. I'm surprised with what just happened. Yeah, Mods, can we time that Reece Gilbert for the rest of this game? That's going to be a knock-on there from the Broncos, and the Raiders get away. KO Weeks! KO Weeks at 20, at the 30, at the 40, at the 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, straight over the Raiders. KO Weeks goes through. KO Weeks goes through. Eat that one, Reece Gilbert. 22-12 with a kick to come. Try time, KO Weeks. And that's scenes in Canberra. That is scenes in Canberra. And you know what? You know why he was gone? You knew why we all knew that was a try at the 20-metre line? Because Reece Walsh is in the bin. Because Reece Walsh is in the bin, and that has taken a 12-point lead for the Raiders because they will get a kick from right in front. Again, though, it's well, I want to see, is there a knock-on here? Let's have a look to see if because it was knocked. Ashley Klein said it was knocked backwards. But as soon as KO Weeks got through, you knew it was a try because Reece Walsh wasn't there because the guy's an idiot. He's in the bin. I think it's a try. They haven't confirmed it yet, though. I still can't get over how Hudson Young and Reece Walsh can have the same punishment for Reece Walsh throwing a headbutt at Hudson Young and then shoving him to the ground. Oh, dude. Look at those Raiders fans in the background. Oh, you're looking at the Broncos and Raiders. I think it's a Caxton. Can we please get a Broncos Raiders grand final just for a follow-up of this game? What a game this has been, though, Aussie. What an awesome game to watch. This has been my game of the round. I think I would go Raiders Broncos, Sharks versus Roosters, Bulldogs Storm, and then obviously Warriors Panthers. Yeah, that same punishment is kind of bullshit. Yeah, but Reece Walsh has to be suspended. He has to be suspended, but they won't suspend it because they won't have the balls to do it. I guarantee you we see Reece Walsh play next week against the Cronulla Sharks. They won't have the balls to suspend him despite the fact that he threw his head. With the way the refs have been performing as of late, it might be time for the game to use automated officials instead of human refs. So what are you complaining about with this who's who? Are you complaining about the fact that the same punishment happened for Reece Walsh and Hudson Young, or are you saying something else? So 24-12 here to the Raiders with 25 minutes to go. Yeah, so it was Jamal Fogarty who hit it, knocks it backwards, and then KO Weeks broke away. Dapboy Jordan says, who has the craziest fans in the NRL? Or Bulldogs. Jimmy says, guess I'm putting my Reese's Pieces in the bin. Well, right this very second, there's still plenty of time to go here. 25 minutes to go of the game, but right this very second, it's 24-12, and the Broncos would be going to play the Sharks at Suncorp Stadium. And if the NRL has any balls about themselves, they suspend Reece Walsh for what we just saw. But I guarantee you they do not, because also Nico Hines was able to play this week when he was originally meant to be suspended last week and they got him off. Funny Cats Vid says Hudson Young provoked Walsh headbutt. Good for the ref to send both off. But he didn't send both off. And also, you can't tell me that Hudson Young coming up and screaming at Reece Walsh is the same as a headbutt, Funny Cat Vids. You have to be a Broncos fan to have that thought process. Hudson Young hasn't gone up and put his head into another player. Hudson Young hasn't even come up and shoved him. All Hudson Young has done is come up and get passionate in his face, which is not great, and sure, warn him, but to bin him for what? For screaming at a player in a passionate moment? Warn him if you want, but there's no excuse there for Reece Walsh to come back and headbutt him and also shove him to the ground. This might be a penalty here for the Raiders. There might be a bin here against the Broncos. Paddy Carrigan might be off here. I think that we're going to see Paddy Carrigan get binned here. We're about to see Broncos go down to 11. Yep, Paddy Carrigan's in the bin. Well, Broncos, you're playing Sharks next week. This game is this has been such an intense game, lads. This has been such an intense game. Paddy Carrigan has gone to the bin, so both Reece Walsh and Patrick Carrigan are in the bin. Bailey Lewis says, Walsh is an idiot for getting himself sent off. 100%. He reacted to Hudson Young. Hudson Young has come up and should have been warned for what he did. Raiders break away here. They'll get this ball to the 50. It's first tackle. Lucas says Carrigan and Walsh could be both gone next week. Dude, the Broncos are just, they're having a brain explosion right now. The Raiders on second tackle get this ball to the 40. There's no way that Hudson Young misses his next game, because I don't even know. Shouldn't he get binned for that? Steve says, send all those bum Broncos to the bin. Anyway, so second tackle of the Raiders. Obviously, Morgan Smith is going to come off here for a HIA. Walsh is a diva. He thinks he's bigger than the game. Well, you need to have the composure there not to react to Hudson Young coming in to get a reaction. Like, Hudson Young is trying to get a reaction. He hasn't done anything where he's actually shoved the player or thrown the head. Jack says, I don't disagree with 10 for that, but Klein has such a role in the results of these games. It encourages the player to just flip out and do stuff. But what are you seriously complaining about from Ashley Klein today? Like, what is it? Oh, Razor away here, Razor away. 8 metres after the line, 4 tackle. What is the specific example of what you disagree with Ashley Klein today? Out of the back, left-hand side, Jamal Fogarty gets it off here. Here's a chance. Aiden Strange, son! And the Raiders, they are going through to the preliminary final. You would assume if the Broncos come back from 18 points down here, it's incredible. The Broncos just absolutely collapsed because Reece Walsh couldn't handle he couldn't compose himself. Reece Walsh has blown this game apart. Because KO Weeks doesn't score that breakaway try from the knockback if Reece Walsh is there. Because Reece Walsh is going to give him a good run for his money in regards to the chase. And then now they're down to 11. I don't think Carrigan actually probably gets binned. And I don't think that Carrigan situation happens if Reece Walsh is still in the field. This whole game changed because Reece Walsh can't compose himself in a big finals game. we're all feeling intense. This has been an intensity matchup, but the Raiders have been able to hold themselves together more. Reece Walsh has honestly cost his team the game here by being silly, because they were well and truly in the game. It was only 6 points. It was only 6 points before Reece Walsh did what he did. And he did fall for the rage bait, that boy Jordan. He did. He did fall for it. Damn Stranger's paying $4. Really? He scores a lot. But anyway, 28-12 with the kid to come. Yes, Steve, the Raiders do get another... Well, they don't get another home semi. They get a home preliminary final. The Raiders will skip next week, provided they win this game, and they will play at home against whoever wins between the Bulldogs and the Panthers. Reece Walsh has arguably just cost his team a potential chance at the prelim. Fez says, look, by no means am I a Broncos fan, but F me, Klein doing his finest work again. What are you disagreeing with? Oh, Rays missed the kick. It's 28-12. 23 minutes to go to the game. Okay, Fez, if that's the case, what do you disagree with from Klein? What do you disagree with? I'm not arguing against you. I'm just arguing. I'm just asking you, what do you disagree with today from Klein? When your captain and star player gets sent off in a final, you clearly have serious disciplinary issues. Absolutely. Absolutely. They haven't been able to compose themselves today in a game where it was such in the balance. I don't care that it was 18-12 Raiders. The game was in the balance. It really was. That boy Jordan says dogs beat... Oh, wow. Raiders off the kickoff, knock it on. And the Broncos, you have a chance here. I couldn't be more infuriated by Walsh and Paddy. Absolute brain explosions. Absolutely. Over the years, players that think they are the game, this shit happens. It was just such rage bait from Hudson Young that really... Ben Hunt, well, even flashbacks there. But it's such rage bait from Hudson Young. I can't believe Walsh has reacted in that way. He probably doesn't play next week. And you're definitely tipping the Sharks if Walsh isn't playing next week and Paddy Carrigan. But I don't think the NRL has the balls to do that, especially at Suncorp Stadium. So Broncos now 5 metres out. I don't think the NRL has the balls to do it. We've seen time and time again when they don't. So second tackle here for the Broncos. They're 11 players. The Raiders are 12 players right now. Second tackle, 3 metres out. They go at the back now to Payne Haas, and Payne Haas goes through the middle. Third tackle, 4 metres away. They need to score in the next 6 minutes to get back in the game. 6 again. 6 again for the Broncos. They go to the right. Ben Hunt, they just shouldn't have an overlap because they're down a player. They're down to 11 whilst the Raiders have 12. Oh, Smooth. He's so close, but he will be held short. And they get across. There's a big gap here. Payne Haas, he saw it, and that's why he bubbles it, but he keeps it. They go to the left-hand side. They give it off to Shibasaki. Shibasaki cuts back to the right-hand side. This is an interesting kind of game here with the fact that both teams are down, just the Broncos with further players back. Out of the left-hand side, now for the Broncos. Billy Walters gets the off-right away. Corey Pakes off to Ben Hunt. He kicks that ball over the top. It's 1-on-1 and knock on for the Broncos. Good defense, the Raiders. Good. What? Oh, well, I'd love to see this again. They've said this is a tackle in air. This will be a penalty Broncos. Oh, he's never contesting. Okay, you know what? I agree with Ashley Klein there. I do actually agree this is a tackle in air. He's never contesting. Yeah, no, it's correct. It's a correct call. Could Walsh face disciplinary action for flipping the bird at the crowd? Walsh should face disciplinary action for how he acted on the field. That is a whole conversation for another time. We'll talk about it after the game finishes. All right, so Jordan Ricky out of the left-hand side. Corey Pakes, Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt, short ball. Payne Haas. Oh, jeez, good scramble from the Raiders. Second tackle, 2 minutes out here from the line. Walsh still with 2.5 minutes left in the bin, same as Hudson Young. 20 minutes left of the game, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. The Broncos out of the left-hand side. Billy Walters, he steps. 6 again here for the Broncos. And Billy Walters will be 9 metres out. 9 metres out. First tackle. Piakura out to Smoothie and then to Jordan Ricky. And they're 5 metres out from the line. Second tackle. They'll give it back here to Smoothie, then to Ben Hunt. Katoni Staggs, he runs it hard. He'll be 5 metres away. Third tackle. You kind of need to score off this repeated attacking opportunity. Broncos to be in the game. They go to the left. Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt. No, 2 metres out. Fourth tackle. 2 metres out, 4 tackle. Papali'i's everywhere for tackles, man. And it's going to be Stags! Oh my gosh, how have they stopped the try? They're the Raiders. Fit tackle. This is an elite defense. This is elite defense. He's lost the ball. Oh, Stags. Oh my God, Stags. Oh, you can't deal with it. Oh, dude, you can't challenge either because you wasted the dumbest challenge in history just before halftime. You literally wasted the dumbest challenge in history at halftime. I would have challenged that too. Stags here. What happens? So he goes to stand up, and then... Yeah, it would have been a knock-on. So either way, you would have lost it. It was a knock-on from Stags. Up the wires, says Wires fan here, hoping the Raiders win. Yeah, dearie me. Before I leave, I want to say you got amazing live streams, man. Appreciate you, Jimmy. Appreciate you, mate. Haas is gone. Nate J says, yeah, you can tell that Payne Haas is... You can tell this is rough. This is the thing with the Broncos. Your season may have just collapsed because Reece Walsh, he'll be lucky to play next week if the NRL has any balls about him. Paddy Carrigan might be missing next week. Obviously, Adam Reynolds and Everson Mam and Xavier Willison and Selwyn Cobb are already gone. And Payne Haas right now is looking like he is all over the shop and is lucky to be on the field at the moment. He's probably taking a needle to even play the second half right now. This is rough to watch because you don't want to see this. You want to see the best players against the best players with no injuries. But the Broncos right now is like a capitulation happening. Jax says, how did Klein miss that? What? It was a knock-on. It was a knock-on. And Raiders chase it through. And is that... Oh, it's Tony Staggs playing fullback there. All right, so Reece Walsh and Hudson Young come back on the field. Nate says, the crowd's going to rip Walsh a new one when he gets back on. Well, they were really confused whether to cheer Hudson Young coming on just then or boo Reece Walsh. It was quite a funny mix just then. When you heard it. Third tackle with the Broncos at the 30. But you got to remember, the Broncos are now on... it's going to be a penalty to the Broncos. But it's quite funny because the Broncos are still down 13-12. The Raiders get their man back to go to 13. The Broncos get their man back to go to 12 because Paddy Carrigan's still off for about 4 minutes here. Gee whiz. Yeah, look, Payne Haas is barely walking here. Like, I would have said he scores that try before. I would have said he scored that try where it looked like it had opened up for him if he wasn't injured because it looked like it was going to be a bang-on try. But maybe it's just this injury that's, keeping it out. All right, second tackle here for the Broncos at the 50. Billy Walters to Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt to Reece Walsh. Reece Walsh, God help. Yeah, they're booing the shit out of him. God help Canberra if Reece Walsh scores, but also God help the Broncos if Hudson Young scores. Second tackle here for Brisbane, and they're at the 45, sorry. They go to Jaden Hunt, who's at the 40. Josie Barr says, no, I was so hyped to see him play for Samoa. Please just give him some corned beef. No, he's all right. Like, he is playing here. It's just that I feel like he's had a needle. I feel like he's had a needle, which will be interesting to see how they deliberate for next week's game against the Sharks. They kick that ball up. That's an awful kick. That's an awful kick from the Broncos, and it's a 7-tackle set here for the Raiders. Brenton still want to see Tarpany chop Walsh again. Yeah, that'd be funny. That'd be funny. Give the ball to Hudson Young. I want to see him run it. I want to see him. Oh, well, Walsh is not coming in the line, to be fair. So Savelia Tamale, he brings his ball out. Can we see Hudson Young get a line break? That boy joins us. Do you think the players' attitude will cost the Broncos the finals? Sure. Second tackle now for the Raiders at 50. I think the Broncos will cost the Broncos the finals, which would lean towards the attitude there. 52 seconds left in the bin for Carrigan. Raiders, third tackle. They will now be 42 metres away from the line. Hudson Young. Oh, Michael Lennon is saying they may even look at the Reece Walsh. You're off your rocker that they even have to may look at the Reece Walsh. He's lucky he stayed on the field in general. So it's Tom Starling, 20 metres out, fit tackle. Why are we not subbing him? I think because you need him to Tarpany over the top here. Oh, Zach Hosking has knocked the ball on. Basically over the line. Knock on. Wowee. So 28-12 here to the Raiders with 15 minutes to go of the game. The Raiders will just knock it on basically at the line. Hosking, I think, would have scored. But to be fair, he was going to drop that ball anyway. But Shibasaki with a nice job to prevent that one. All right, so Broncos, second tackle at 25. They go to the right-hand side of Tony Staggs and Payne Haas has come off, by the way. Payne Haas has come off, and it's big news because it's not a substitution for any reason besides the fact that that is an injury. 6 again for the Broncos at the halfway point, first tackle. Adrian says, too many dual sim bins of players in NRL games nowadays. You can't just send the instigator to the bin. You have to send the opposing player as well. Walshy will still play next week. NRL dream, baby. Reece Walsh is going to score. Reece Walsh is going to score. You would assume he does. Reece Walsh will score in the corner. So there is a chance here. 14 minutes to go. It's going to be a 12-point game. Big kick from the left-hand side. But Adrian, look, I don't disagree with you. Reece Walsh will still play next week. He shouldn't play because that was a headbutt. But at the end of the day, I guarantee the NRL don't have the balls to do it. They don't have the balls to do it, bro. Not at Suncorp. Not at Suncorp. Like, Reece Walsh, you've quite literally cost your team the game here today. It's good to see that he scores this try here, but he's quite literally potentially cost his team the season if he does get suspended, and he's absolutely, unless they have a miracle comeback here, that try right there could have easily happened when you were down by 6 if you hadn't have got yourself binned for getting rage baited by Hudson Young. Redeem himself a little there. Not really, Gary. You know, that doesn't redeem. They're still down by 12 points right now. A big kicker, Reece Walsh. But not really, because they wouldn't be down 28-16 right now, or they wouldn't have been down 28-12 if it wasn't for him getting himself binned. If he didn't get himself binned there, KO Weeks probably gets caught by Reece Walsh. When the mistake happened, KO Weeks is down a back play here, God bless him. When KO Weeks picks that ball up from the Marl Fogarty knockback, KO Weeks breaks to the line. You knew it was a try because Reece Walsh is off the field. So like them going to 24-12 only kind of happened as well because you would back Reece Walsh in a 1v1 there with KO Weeks. You would have. So no, it doesn't necessarily redeem him at all here. And he will miss the kick. So it will be 28-16 here with 12 minutes 50 to go. You need to see more than one try here for him to redeem himself. You're going to need to see him score again to get him really right back into this, because then it would bring them back level with where they were before he got himself binned. How many points did Raiders score while he was off? 12 points. Oh, sorry, 10 points. 10 points. Casey says, if I was Canberra, I would have drained all the toilets in the Broncos changing room. Nate Shade says, Johnny Guard strikes again. That boy Jordan says, bro, drank some toilet water. There you go. All right, so 12 minutes 50 to go here of the game. It is a 12-point game. Broncos are still in this. They are still in it. It's just they may not be in it for next week because you might see bins. Cook says, what times do these games end? Well, 12 minutes 50 to go here of this game. Unless the Broncos score 2 convert tries to 28-28, then the faded scores will come back, mind you. But then it would be, we'd be looking at extra time. And it is extra time in finals, mind you. It's not golden point. It's extra time for 10 minutes. And then if it's still equal, then it goes to golden point. And then it's just until the game finishes. Until someone scores a point. So the Broncos now at 25, second tackle. Remember, guys, the final series is different to the regular season. It's not golden point the first 10 minutes. So Ben Hunt, he will get taken out of here at the 40. By the way, both teams are 13 on 13 again. Broncos plus 19.5. Do you think my bet is safe? Plus 19.5. Surely that was nearly a guarantee. Broncos now at the 45. That would have been paying like what, $1.05? That'd have been paying nothing. Plus 19.5. I hope you had a multi on with that. Fifth tackle with the Broncos at the 33. They give it to Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt puts that one up. And, oh my gosh, Jed Stewart made a tough one. That's a dropout. That's a dropout. Yeah? Well, Broncos, you've got a chance here. You've got a chance here. How long till Paddy comes in? Paddy's back on the field. Paddy's back on the field. Was a line bet for even odds? Oh, well, I think you've got it. No. Plus 9.5 was even odds. Oh, was that when they were down 2 players? But then the race started player gone. Oh, maybe that might be right, actually, with live odds. But yes, I think you're fine. Broncos now. They'll be at the 25 on first tackle. 11 minutes to go of the game. I would love a try here just to make this a really interesting final 10 minutes. The Broncos on second tackle here at the 20. Second tackle at 20. False. A funny cat visits Walsh deliberately got Sim bin so we could go for a quick tour. There you go. So Broncos now, 13 minutes out, third tackle, 10 minutes to go of the game here, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new around here. They go to the left-hand side. Corey Pakes, Billy Walters, Reece Walsh. Here we go. Broncos try time. Oh my gosh, faders, don't do it. Oh, faders, don't do it. 28-20 with a kick to come. Very big kick. Very, very big kick, and that is a fantastic try assist there from Reece Walsh. So you know how I was saying before, we need to see Reece Walsh get another try for the team? Well, he's just done that. Has he made up for it? Well, it's waited to be seen. But this score, as long as he gets the kick, will be the same deficit that it was before he got himself sin-binned. Now, again, do the NRL have the balls, the cojones to suspend him next week? I disagree. I doubt it, right? So it probably won't cost them next week, even though it should. In a regular season game, you absolutely know Reece Walsh is getting suspended for that headbutt, right? But in this final series, I doubt it. So now, as long as he gets this kick, it'll be a 6-point game with 10 minutes to go. Thumbs up, subscribe, let's get it. Bloody faded, Steve says. Peter says, I literally said it before you said anything. Well, no, don't ruin the chat. Like, you've got to wait for me to commentate before saying anything, brother. Olivia says, Billy Walters for the winning try. That'd be crazy. Well, it wouldn't be for winning right this very second. It would just be to get to the... Well, let's see Reece Walsh get this kick first. And... Oh, no. Reece Walsh has hit the post. It's now an 8-point game. Vonnie says, final series or not, he needs a suspension. I agree with you. I just don't think the NRL have the balls to do it. It is a suspension. It's a suspension every day of the week and twice on bloody grand final day. But I guarantee you they don't do it. I guarantee you they don't have the balls to suspend Reece Walsh. Even though he should be suspended for the headbutt. No headbutt, just love tap. Benny West, that's a ridiculous statement. You're very, very well aware of what happened. And I couldn't disagree with you more. If you watch the same thing, you are very, very well aware of what Reece Walsh has done there. It is a suspension every day of the week. It is not even a debate. But the NRL won't do it because it's the final series and he's too big of a draw card. He's too big of a player and it will be huge. But anyway, 8-point game here. But anyone who thinks that doesn't deserve a suspension, I'm sorry, but you just love Reece Walsh. You really just do. Who is a fantastic player, but he can't control his emotions. First tackle here at the 20. Broncos go right-hand side, and they're going to get this ball here to the 22. Like, it's not even a debate. What happened? Second tackle here with the Broncos at the 18. Brett Neslick says, surely one of my multis is hit. I haven't checked yet. Well, you'd hope so. I said my final score was 24-20 to the Raiders. So right now I've got Broncos right, but Raiders, they've got 4 more points than I expected. And no way. Oh, my gosh. Is that a 40-20? Oh my God, Reece Walsh has just kicked a 40-20. Well, as he's coming back, he's turned it on. Benny West says, yes, I love Reece. Well, you'll be lucky to see him next week if the NRL has any balls, but he's having a cracker last bit in this game. That is a huge kick. That's a 30-10 from Reece Walsh. That is a 30-10. That's massive. Massive. That's a huge kick. You simply cannot write off Reece Walsh. No, not on your life. All right, so the Broncos here. Let's see if they can do it today. Reece Walsh has kicked 2 40-20s, mind you. 8.5 minutes to go here of the game. And this is the thing. The Broncos actually, based off of this, as long as he doesn't get sin-binned, as long as he doesn't get taken off the field for his stupid emotions, the Broncos probably would have won this game with the way that he's playing right now. Third tackle, they still have a chance to win it, but because of that missed kick, it's really hard. Third tackle of the Broncos, 2 metres out. They go to the right-hand side. Reece Walsh slips over. 5 metres out from the line, 4 tackle. 5 metres out from the line, 4 tackle. Huge play here. They get it out the back. And it comes across to Carrigan, Ben Hunt, left-hand side, Billy Walters. Try time the Broncos. Oh my gosh, 28-24 with the kick to come. Oh, get hell, Shimasaki. Dude, faders don't do it, lads. Faders don't do it, lads. This is a big kick here because with 7:45 to go, I know it's only a 4-point game, but if he gets his kick, it's a 2-point game. If he misses his kick, it's a 4-point game. You need this kick. Well, you don't even need this kick, but it would bring the 2-point field goal in play. Can anyone on the Broncos kick a 2-point field goal? I don't know who's who. Ben Hunt, maybe? Ben Hunt can kick a field goal. Does he have the distance for a 40, though? Billy Walters, good pass to Shimasaki, and the Raiders are collapsing here, lads. The Raiders are collapsing. This is huge, lads. This is huge. Are the faders really going to fade? Lucas, we haven't called them that for a long time, but right now they're getting called at. Oh, boy. Who's this? Kim on the Broncos. That's right. Gary says Raiders imploding. Lorna says, believe in yourself, Raiders. Well, they've got 6 minutes 50 to hold out here. They're very, very lucky. Reece Walsh missed that last kick by hitting the post. Now it's still a one-score game, despite the fact that they have scored the same amount of tries. They have scored the same amount of tries in this game. 5-5. All right. Well, let's see if the 2-point field goal is on here. Brett Neslick says, Silky pass from Walters. Frost Kings Genetics has told them from the future. Yep, well, you're stupid because they're still down by 4. Even if they get this kick, there's 2. Anyway, so 6 minutes 20 to go here, and Reece Walsh will get the kick. Okay, 2-point game. Here we go, lads. Here we go. This is finals football, baby. This is finals football. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Get in the chat. Let us know who you think wins. Do the Broncos find a way to come back here, or do the Raiders hold out? It is a 2-point game. Oh boy. If Walsh is suspended, can he hold it on for next season like some Panthers players did a few years ago? Well, there's that option there, even though it shouldn't be available, but there is that option there, which we have seen in recent years. Sharry says, let's go, lads. This is finals football, lads. This is the game of the round. I'd say second best game of the round was the Sharks versus the Roosters. Then we'd have the Bulldogs versus Storm, and then obviously low down would be the Warriors, Panthers. But it's been a great round of rugby league, which is nothing that we weren't expecting for this final series after what we've seen this year. All right, Broncos here. 6 minutes to go of the game. First tackle. A 2-point field goal or a penalty ties it up, and we potentially go to extra time. Not golden point, extra time. Remember that. Second tackle at the 20. If they can score a try, they would lead by 2. If they can score a converted try, they lead by 4. Raiders would still have a chance. But the Broncos' third tackle now at the 30. Do the Broncos find a way? Do they go for another 40-20? Reece Walsh has kicked 2 today already, and it's going to be Jordan Ricky at the 40 on 4th tackle. Do they try and take a shot now? Do they try and take a shot? No, they don't. They're going to run this ball left-hand side. Billy Walters taking it out of the 50, 5th tackle. 5 minutes and 25 seconds to go here of the game. Damn, what a game of footy. Ben Hunt fakes it, runs it, kicks it. Difficult kick here for the Raiders. They're going to let it bounce. Oh, they threw it. Oh, Broncos caught it, but the Raiders, luckily Joe Tarpany was waiting just behind the play and he caught the offload from the Broncos. Raiders at the 20. Whoever wins this game, guys, will play in the preliminary final against the winner of Bulldogs-Panthers. Whoever loses this game will play next week at home against the Cronulla Sharks. And right-hand side, the Raiders will get this ball to the 35. And I guarantee you, after the way, the intensity, and the physicality of this game, you don't want to be playing next week. The Sharks will be loving this shit right now. They'll be loving it. Corey Horsburgh gets this ball to the 45. Ballsy there from Ashley Klein. Not call a penalty, but I think he's done well there. Not call a penalty for a high tackle because the crowd really wanted it. 5th tackle at the 50. They roll it back. Tom Starling. He'll give it to Jamal Fogarty. And Jamal Fogarty's going to kick this ball down to the corner. The Broncos will grab this ball at the 5. Don't make a silly mistake. Our Broncos bring it out of the 10 to the 15. It's just like Katapani. This is where the big players get. This is where the big players get paid. This moment here, control yourself, keep your composure. And the Broncos will get this ball to the 40. It's a good set even the Broncos. Second tackle at the 40. I can't really read your comments out right now, guys, but keep getting involved in the chat. It's that hectic of a game. Broncos at the third tackle at the 50. 4 minutes to go here of the game. It's a 2-point lead for the Canberra Raiders, 28-26. Will they take a 2-point field goal opportunity here, or do they try and get a penalty, or do they try to go for the try and win it? Broncos now, they give it out the back to Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt then it gets out the back to Reece Walsh. Too quick of a pass there, and Katoni Staggs taking it to 30. Do you go for a 2-point field goal now? Do you think about it? Do you think about it? Do you think about it? They do. Reece Walsh here, 43 metres away! Oh my gosh! Oh! That is insane! Reece Walsh has just hit the crossbar. That was a 2-point field goal. It hit the crossbar. Oh, dude, he kicked it from the 44 and it hit the crossbar. Not the side post, the crossbar. And now Raiders have the ball, second tackle at 25. That is... when was the last time I've seen that? I can't believe what just happened. Third tackle with the Raiders at the 33. Literally inches in it, Gary. It was on target. He got it in between the posts. It just hit the crossbar. 4th tackle for the Raiders. That would have been a tight game. We would have been going to extra time. So 4th tackle now for the Raiders. Wow, this crowd is intense. This game is intense. 5th tackle, 2 minutes and 50 seconds to go here of the game. Well, we've just seen that Reece Walsh has a good field goal in him. Does he have the boot, though, on him? So Ethan Strange, not a good kick. What happens here then? Raiders knock it back. Still Raiders ball there. Wait. No, it's a knock on. Okay. Broncos, you're going to get a chance here. This is crazy, Branson. What a game. Hoo-hoo-hoo. Oh, dude. How can you be a rugby league fan and not be obsessed with how this is going? 2 minutes and 25 seconds to go here. The Broncos are going to get a set from 45 metres out. The Broncos score, they win the game. If they score a try, they win the game. If they get a penalty, they tie the game. They get that 2-point field goal was not over the black dot, but close enough. Oh, hits the crossbar is crazy work, dude. So the Broncos now, Katoni Staggs. It's great to see Reece Walsh standing up because this might be his last game this season if they lose this game. The Reece Walsh will go to the left-hand side, and it's going to be Jordan Ricky. Second tackle at the 45. Do they think about another 2-point field goal? Second tackle, 1 minute 50 to go here. How intense is the feeling of this game right now? Ben Hunt, Reece Welsh, left-hand side, knock on Broncos. And the Rays pick it up, it's at the 40. Now, Broncos, you're still going to get another chance at the ball, but that was not composure. That was not composure. They threw a little bit too hard there, and now it's first tackle for the Rays at the 50. First tackle for the Rays at the 50. Again, guys, no matter who loses this game, you will be still in the finals. You just play the Sharks next week. Broncos right now at Suncorp Stadium against the Sharks currently. Minute 20 to go here. Second tackle for the Raiders, the 45. You just need to do nothing silly here, then kick it normally or even run into the line and then force the Broncos to run it, 70-odd metres with a minute left. Fourth tackle now with 1 minute and 5 seconds to go. The game, we'll recap the whole game after this finishes, lads. Hudson Young at the 32. Tom Starling gives it off to Zach Hosking. Jeez, the Raiders are going to really need that week off next week after this, if they can hold it. They give it Jamal Fogarty. He kicks his ball over the sideline. Smart play. Okay, Broncos, you get a full set here. All right, Broncos, you get a full sec here. You've got to pack the scrum immediately. 51 seconds, 50, 49, 48, 47, 46. It's still going down. You haven't packed anything. You haven't played the ball yet. 43 seconds. Okay, here we go, guys. 40 seconds to go. You've got to run 80 metres, Broncos, to score a try to win the game and go to the prelim. First tackle, they go to the left-hand side. The atmosphere here is crazy. Second tackle here at the 35. 30 seconds left. You're going to have a chance at a 2-point field goal. You will get a chance. They're going to be 45 metres out. 21 seconds to go here of the game. Third tackle. Third tackle. They go to the right-hand side. Payne Haas here. He's back on the field, Payne. Fourth tackle. You get one more run up the line. I wouldn't take the field goal now. Paddy Carrigan back to Reece Welsh. He goes to the 2-point field goal. Charge down. Broncos get the ball back. They're going to have to run it out here. Get him out, Shibasaki. You got to pass the ball, Shibasaki. You're off your fucking rocker, Shibasaki. Oh my God, Shibasaki, you're crazy. Shibasaki, bro, pass the ball, dude. Raiders win the game. Wait, hold on. They're reviewing the charge down here. This could be a penalty to the Broncos. This could be a penalty to the Broncos here from 45 metres out. That could tie the game up. Oh my gosh, they haven't ended the game yet, lads. The game is not over. Reece Welsh puts it through. Oh, this is a penalty. This is a penalty, Broncos. This is a penalty, Broncos, lads. This will be a penalty for the Broncos 45 metres out. This is about to be a penalty, Broncos, from 45 metres out to tie the game and send us to extra time, lads. It's his left leg. He does come through him. This is to send us to extra time, guys. This 100% is a penalty. This is what they call. Yep, that's fine. But he runs through his leg. It's a penalty. It's a penalty. This should be penalty, Broncos. You've got to feel for Zach Hosking. He's literally just trying to charge it down, but it is a penalty. Zach Hosking might get binned here too. Oh, that's right. It's 10 metres in front of the post. Oh, we're going extra time. We're going extra time, lads. We are going to extra time. 10 metres out is pretty crazy. Oh, wow. We're going extra time, lads. Broncos get a penalty from right in front of the post. 10 metres in front of the post is crazy. Is that the rule? I didn't even know that. In the act of going for a field goal, if you do that, it's a kick from 10 metres out. I think we saw this one stage this year, actually. The Broncos are about to tie it up at 28-28, guys. We're going extra time. It's a penalty, Churry, but I just don't understand. So have we seen this before? This is from right in front, guys. We are guaranteed going extra time. The game was over, and now the penalty's legit, but to have the penalty from right in front, I don't understand it. I want to question the NRL's use of this rule. If this is the rule, which I believe is the rule, why? Why does the team get a kick from right in front because of it? It should be just a penalty from where it happens. Why is it from right in front? I don't understand why you get so much of a benefit. At the end of the day, he's just trying to charge the ball down. Again, there should be a rule to not come into contact with the player's legs. That's fine. I understand. It should be a penalty. But to have it in front of the post is just like, well, why? Anyway, Reece Walsh is going to tie this game up, and bang, there you go. 28-28, here we go, lads. I just question the ruling to move it to in front of the post to guarantee the points. I just question that part of it all. Hello, people. Says, I swear Tanner Boyd got penalised for this when he attempted the 2-point field goal. No, because we ended up losing that game because we didn't get a thing for that. Anyway, we go to extra time, guys. Hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. This is one of the greatest finals games you've seen in recent memory. Absolutely crazy time. This game is absolutely nuts. Live up to the hype. Absolutely, Dingo. Absolutely. Well, Sharks are loving this, by the way. Cronulla Sharks fans, you are loving this because whoever plays you next week is going to be tired as all about shit. They're going to be tired as all about shit. You're going to be exhausted. You are going to be exhausted, Raiders and Broncos. And Reece Walsh should be lucky to play against the Sharks, to be honest with you. So you still might get suspended for the preliminary final. You know, it's a lot's going to go happen in this week with that headbutt. Ricky Stewart blood pressure just rose. Everyone's. So Raiders will win the toss. They're going to receive. But this is not, by the way, guys, I need to repeat. We are in finals. We are in finals, which means that it goes from golden point to extra time. We will see 2 halves of 5 minutes here, regardless if there's a score, which forces a try, or, well, you can go for a field goal, but it won't end the game. It's only golden point if we get to the 90-minute mark and still the game is tied, okay? So please don't think that a field goal or a try in the first 10 minutes is game over. It's not. No matter what, we will see out the 90 minutes here, and then if it's still tied, then it will become golden point. Oh boy, let us know in the chat who you think wins this from here. Shannon says, what a game. I knew it was going to be a cracker, but man, this is awesome. Even for a Raiders supporter, let's go. Jeez, this is a crazy game. Michael Nummer says the Bronx. Royal Grand Majesty says Ricky was celebrating too early. Yeah, this is a tough one for Brisbane because they might lose Carrigan. They might not have Payne Haas, but they might have Reece Walsh suspended for the next game, whether that's in the prelim or whether that's next week against the Sharks. Either way, you'd like to see the Broncos get to the prelim there for the Broncos, but they might be missing quite a few players, which is quite crazy. Newman says Ashley Klein should be fired. Why? That's not the wrong call. That is the NRL's call. I disagree with the NRL making that call to put it in front of the goalpost, but at the end of the day, it's still the rules. So why is Ashley Klein to blame for that decision? Raiders now get this ball here to the 15. You cannot run through the player's legs. That is a penalty. That is 100% a penalty. The issue is that I don't agree that the team should get the kick from it immediately right in front. I think they should get the penalty from where it is. Anyway, Raiders here at the 20. It is second tackle now. Now they'll get this ball to the 30 on third tackle. Who has the ability here, lads? Who has the ability here? Third tackle to Zach Hosking. What an intense game. This has been one of my favourite finals games I've ever watched. Truly. Depending on how this ends, it could be up there like Roosters Tigers 2010, I think it was. Fifth tackle at the 45 with that intercept from Sean Kenny-Dow. They go to the right-hand side, and Jamal Fogarty, he's going to keep this ball straight down the guts with the Broncos get this ball at the 10. And now Reece Walsh gives it off to Josiah Kotapani. Just don't make a mistake here, Broncos and Raiders. In the second half, kick it off straight to Ben Hunt. First tackle for the Broncos at the 24. They give it off to Josiah Kotapani. The Broncos have lost 10 in a row finals away from Suncorp, apparently. Third tackle now for the Broncos at the 35. Really good run there from Dean Mariner. They go to the left-hand side. It's going to be Gamut Shibasaki at the 43 on third tackle. Justin says, momentum definitely has swung. Yeah, absolutely. Well, oh, boy. Jeez, that was a big attempted hit there from Corey Horsburgh, but you've got to keep your composure and don't give away penalties. In extra time like this, you can't make shipping mistakes. Fifth tackle now at the 43. And the Broncos at the 45, they will kick this ball up in the air. Oh, good pressure from Stags, but the Raiders, wonderful catch from Savelio Tamale. Wonderful catch. Second tackle now for the Raiders. Oh, has he lost that ball? Yeah, he has. Yeah, he has. He's lost that ball, Sebastian Chris, and this is going to be Broncos ball at 25. People, you got to remember this is not golden points. If the Broncos score here, the Raiders will still get another attempt at it. But 25 metres out. It tries to encourage not going for the field goal. It tries to encourage going for the try here. Maxon says, wait, what? Left when the Broncos were trailing by 16. Yeah, no, crazy comeback here. The Faders doing Fader things. Trinidad says this extra time is not golden point. Not until the 90th minute. If it's still tied after 10 minutes of extra time, then it will be golden point. The finals is a different system to the regular season. Whether you agree with that or not, it just is what it is. But it is a different system. Broncos here, left-hand side. Shibasaki, first tackle. He'll be 20 metres away here from the line. 20 metres away, 2 minutes and 21 seconds to go of extra time, 1. Second tackle here with the Broncos. They'll be 13 metres away from the line. Second tackle. Corey Pags gets it across here. Paddy Carrigan. Carrigan now. He'll be 5 metres out from the line. Third tackle. Corey Pags. He'll go at the back to Ben Hunt. Hunt. Don't know what's happening there. He'll give it back here to Jordan Ricky. And Jordan Ricky. Oh, it's actually a good run from Jordan Ricky. We do criticise him a lot, but it's a good run. 3 metres out. Fourth tackle. They go all the way out the back here to Billy Walters. Walters here. Reece Welsh. Short ball to the line. Shibasaki. Fit tackle at the 10. Do they go for the field goal? Regardless of the fact the Raiders will still get a chance at it. I would think about it. I would 100%, but don't give away 7 tackle set. Out to Reece Welsh. He will kick it across. It's a good kick. Raiders, good grab. That's a penalty. Well, that's a penalty against Stags or a tackle in the air. You've got to penalise that. You've got to 100% penalise that. That should be a penalty. Canberra here. That is a tackle mid-air. I'm sorry, but that ball is in the hands of Sebastian Chris. That is 1,000,000% a tackle in air here. Tony Staggs is bringing him down. Wow, they're not going to call penalty anyway. So that's going to be Raiders here. Second tackle. Now they get this ball to the 35 on third tackle to the 40. Great run from Savelio Tamale. Third tackle at the 40. The Raiders go Tom Starling off to Zach Hosking. What a game this is. Fourth tackle at the 50. Minute 12 to go. Wow. Fourth tackle there at the 50. The Raiders go left-hand side. A lot to talk about after this game finishes. Fifth tackling out to 45. They go right-hand side. Jamal Fogarty's going to go for a field goal here. Doesn't get the distance on it, and it'll be 11 metres out. Shesai Katapani gets the ball out here to the 30 on first tackle. 40 seconds to go here of extra time 1. And now Broncos, Billy Walters. And now he's going to be at the 35 second tackle. 30 seconds to go with the first half of extra time. And they go to the right, left-hand side. Shibasaki to the 45, third tackle. 20 seconds to go here of extra time 1. 20 seconds to go. They go to the right side of Paddy Carrigan. Carrigan to Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt at the back into Reece Welsh. Reece Welsh to Tony Staggs. Staggs runs it himself to the 50. 10 seconds, gets the offload away. Dean Mariner. Dean Mariner at the 45. Dean Mariner steps. Taken out to the 35. 4 tackle. Do you go for the 2-point field goal now? You have to, Broncos. They get it across here to, oh my gosh, this is a brain fade. Payne Haas runs it instead. They're at the 35, the 30. He flicks the ball at the back here. Broncos throw it back. Oh my gosh, they might get a chance of Reece Welsh. No, they go out to the left-hand side here. All the way across. Oh my gosh, nearly an intercept. That might have been the dumbest thing Reece Welsh could have done. But you're lucky. We got to the second half. Oh my gosh, this game's insane. If Josiah Kapani might have just scored if the pass goes over the top, but Jed Stewart nearly just did exactly what the Roosters did in 2010 to the Tigers. Oh my gosh. What? Hold on. Hold on here. What's happening here with the game? Network error? Are we still live right now, guys? Are we still live? Please check your internet and try again. What? Excuse me. The NRL is I've still got plenty of internet right now. Oh my gosh. Oh no, it's fine now. Okay, we're back. Oh, that freaked me out. Okay, we're good. Oh, that freaked me out, lads. We're live. It's just that something was happening with my watchnrl.com. Guys, half time of the first half of extra time. Sharks fans, you should be loving the shit out of this because they're both going to be tied for next week's game against you. If the Raiders lose this game, you play in Canberra. If the Broncos lose this game, you play in Brisbane. But either way, they're going to be tied. Second half of extra time coming up here, guys. Who breaks? If there is still no score after 5 minutes, or if the game is tied after 5 more minutes, it will be golden point. Hit that thumbs up button, guys. Subscribe if you are new around here. Yeah, I don't think that Jamal Fogarty should have been going for that 2-point field goal. Sebastian Chris, does he have to come off for a HIA, does he? He's saying he's okay, but he's having to come off. That'll be the end of his afternoon. What a game. What a game. Tied game. We go to the second half of extra time. Owen Paddy on the field. The Broncos will receive this ball. I'm kicking it to Ben Hunt if I think Ben Hunt catches it, to be fair, but I would be kicking it to Ben Hunt every day of the week in this situation. Is it golden point or extra time? It's golden point for the next 5 minutes. If there's still no score, if it's still tied, then we go to golden point. Okay, so that will be Billy Walters who catches it. They roll it straight to Corey Jensen, and he's going to beat the 15 now to the 20. What a game this is. The first tackle for the Broncos. Billy Walters rolls it back, and just don't make a mistake here, Brisbane. Just get through your set. Winning this game for either of these teams is just about not making the first mistake. Paddy Carrigan at the back to Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt here at the 23. He'll give it out the back again to Jordan Ricky. And Jordan Ricky is going to be 25 metres out from his own line here. Third tackle. 4.5 minutes to go here of extra time. They go at the back into Paddy Carrigan. Carrigan to 30 off to Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt gives it off to Reece Walsh. Reece Walsh. Left hand side. Oh, forward pass. Yep, thank you. Oh, you know what? Fuck yes, NRL, for calling this shit. I will say that 100% of the time because you know what? We didn't see that in the Cowboys game. We didn't see that in the Warriors game yesterday. Congratulations to the NRL for calling a forward pass in a big moment. Congratulations to the NRL for calling a forward pass in a good moment. That is the first time I've seen them actually make a ballsy forward pass call in a very long time, and we would have seen criticism. That is the correct call, and they've done it in the biggest time of the game, which takes a lot of balls. Well done to the NRL for that. Well done. Warriors fans, that will piss you off, and also Cowboys fans, it'll piss you off. But at the end of the day, just be grateful the correct call's been made. We shouldn't have to be grateful for it, but at the end of the day, we should be grateful for it based on the fact that we don't usually see it get called. First tackle of the Raiders at the 50. First tackle at the 50. And now the Raiders will be 45 metres out, second tackle. 3 minutes and 16 seconds to go here in the game. Yeah, exactly right. Well done for the NRL getting the rules right. Correct. Jamal Fogarty at the back. KO Weeks. KO Weeks. He's got space. KO Weeks at the 38. Wowee. Third tackle. Third tackle. Owen Paddy gives it to Jamal Fogarty. And now it's going to be Morgan Smithies. And Morgan Smithies will be at the 30. Fourth tackle. They give it out the back into Hudson Young. It's conservative. Hudson Young goes. He's at the 20. Hudson Young. Oh my gosh, Raiders, here you go. You're going to go for the field goal. Risk a 7 tackle set. It's fifth tackle. 15 metres out. They give it back to Jamal Fogarty at the 20. He puts it up. Oh, he's missed it. 7 tackle set for the Broncos at the 20. 7 tackle set for the Broncos at the 20. Holy shit, lads. Rugby league. It's the greatest sport in the world. 0 tackle at 25. Keep coming in the chat, guys. Who do you think wins from here? Broncos, 0 tackle at 25. Everyone's tied right now. Who has more in the tank to steal it? Oh, he's lucky he didn't lose that ball there, Tony Staggs. Otherwise, it would have been just a knock-on. Second tackle here at the 43. It's a golden point. It's not golden point for the next, unless it's 2 minutes 10 until it is golden point. Reece Walsh, he goes to the left-hand side. Shibasaki, forward pass again. Oh, they said that's okay. I'm not too problematic with that one, but 1:59 to go here. The Broncos are in good position. Third tackle at 33. Will they go for an early one? Reece Walsh up to Ben Hunt. Who goes for it, Reece Walsh or Ben Hunt? They go to Payne Haas. They're going to be right here. Fourth tackle, 32 metres away from the line. Every tackle, you've got to rush up here in defence. Raiders, Billy Walters. He's going to be 20 metres out. Here we go. Walsh here. And they give it across. Here's the 30 metres out. Charge down from the Raiders. Oh, that's unbelievable. And it will come to the Raiders at the 20. You know what? Well done. Was it Hudson Young? Was that Hudson Young who stopped that? Minute 26 to go here of extra time, and then we're into golden point, guys. We still don't know who is playing the Sharks next week, and we still don't know who is in the preliminary finals just yet. Second tackle at 33. That is outstanding from Hudson Young. Yeah, who else to charge it, Lucas? Exactly right. They go to the left-hand side to KO Weeks, and they'll give it this ball to the 40 on third tackle. This might be one of the greatest finals games of all time. It might be. Out of the right-hand side, it's Joe Tarpany. Tarpany, fourth tackle to the 50. A minute to go. They roll it back. They go to KO Weeks. KO Weeks here on fourth tackle. He steps. He's at the 38. He steps again, and now they'll be 35 metres out. I wouldn't even go for a field goal here. If I'm the Raiders, I kick through. They go to the right. Jamal Fogarty. Don't even go for the field goal. They go to the left-hand side here. Ethan Strange. Ethan Strange here runs it. That's a knock-on for the Broncos. That's 6 again here. It is 6 again. It's 6 again. They might not need it. 8 metres out of the line. Here we go. Raiders, your chance. Oh, they've lost the ball. What's going to be called here? I've called held, and he's passed the ball. He's entitled to play it. What, Klein? I've called held, and he's passed it after the held call. But what happened at the beginning of the game? Well, it's Raiders 0 tackle here at the third. What? Okay. Anyway, that's a completely different call to what we... Anyway, we saw what happened at the beginning of the game, but sure. That's a completely different call to what we saw earlier on. 0 tackle. Raiders, your chances right now. This is your chance to go to the preliminary final right now. First tackle, 10 metres out, 20 seconds to go. We're basically at golden point right now. Jamal Fogarty, he'll give it across here to Josh Papali'i. All right, set up for the... Oh, I score! Paddy left their side! Broncos intercept. Oh, my gosh. They nearly just won the game off an intercept. And it's Broncos ball at 15. We're going to extra time. We're going to golden point, lads. We're going to golden point. Dean Mariner just saved the Broncos the game. But we go to golden point, lads. This might be the greatest match in finals history. Well, in not great. Well, actually, this is unbelievable. Guys, hit that like button and subscribe. We are going to golden point. We have gone through 90 minutes. I'm pretty certain, as long as it goes 2 more minutes, is this the longest game of all time? Because that Tigers-Roosters game, went for 92 minutes or something before the intercept? Sharks are loving this, Scott. The Sharks are loving this. They are loving this. If you are a Cronulla fan, if you are a Cronulla player, you are thrilled this is what this game is doing. They've gone through 90 minutes. We still don't have a winner yet. And Cronulla get to come and travel to you next week, but you're going to be tired. What a game, Monkey Muay Thai says. Okay, so the Raiders win the toss. Okay, so the Raiders are going to receive for golden point. The Raiders are going to receive. Whoever scores... you're right, King Zion says, wow, forward pass, and they call it, but not for the Warriors, bro. Referees these days agree, but you've got to commend them, at least get this call right. I know you'd be frustrated as a Warriors fan, and they did do you wrong, but at the end of the day, we did see the right call get made here with a forward pass. So whilst it's frustrating that we have to feel like we're grateful for getting the correct call, at the end of the day, we still got the correct call in a big moment that really adjusted the game. Comment in the chat right now, guys. Who wins golden point? Raiders will receive the ball. I will say the Broncos, I have more faith in kicking a field goal. I don't know. I feel like the Broncos, I don't know who wins this game. This could be game of the year. This could be game of not just this year, but a long time. Mitchell says this game may not end. No one has the energy left. Someone will score at some point, man. Reece should have been sent off. Agree, Scott, but that's irrelevant to think about right now. No one deserves to lose this. Someone deserves to win it. So I will say someone deserves to lose it, but someone deserves to win it. Because it's been an incredible game. All right, 28-28. We go to golden point. Whoever scores first will be in the preliminary final. Whoever loses will play the Sharks at home next week. Extreme zones. This is when either team needs an Nathan Cleary for sure. For sure. So Reece Walsh kicks this ball off. And the Raiders, you know what would have been interesting? If the Broncos had kicked that ball out the full there, what do? Do you take the 2 from right in front 50 metres out? Or do you go for the sideline and then go for the field goal? Because 50 is a long kick. And I don't know if the Raiders have the distance in them. 90 minutes gone here, guys. The Raiders' second tackle. Don't give away a penalty here, Broncos. And also don't make a mistake, Raiders. Second tackle at the 15. They go to the left-hand side. Everyone's exhausted. You can see Hudson Young, strong run to the 25 on third tackle. JDS says both teams getting tenderised for the Sharks. Mate, Sharks are loving this shit, bro. Fourth tackle here at the 40. And with the way they played last night, you know, they're on. Joe Tarpany, he'll get this ball here to the 50. It'll be fit tackle. It's been a good set, no errors. And they should just be able to force the Broncos down into their own end there. They won't go for a field goal. They'll just kick it to the 8. Well, it'll be Reece Walsh here. He's going to slowly give it back to Dean Mariner. Didn't like that. I would have liked to see a little bit more energy there. First tackle at the 15. Very tactical play right now. Broncos to Tony Staggs. He's at the 20. Good strong run. They're all tied. Don't lose the ball there. So close. He held on to it. Second tackle at 25. Off to Jordan Ricky. And Ricky's going to be third tackle here at the 35. Who makes the first mistake here? They go out to the left. This game could... If this game goes 100 minutes, I think whoever loses this loses the Sharks next week. Paddy Carrigan off to Ricky. And Ricky will be at the 45 on fourth tackle. Raiders going to win for the neutrals. Now, whoever wins this game deserves to win this game, man. Whether it's the Broncos or the Raiders, it's been incredible. And you've got to really commend what a fantastic game this has been. Fit tackle for whoever wins, they deserve it. Fit tackle, Ben Hunt to Reece Walsh. They will kick this ball into the side. Not the greatest kick. Easy one for the Jed Stewart, but he gets slapped to the 15, first tackle. Since there's no number next to the goal and point of the scoreboard, it's as, I guess it keeps going. This just keeps going. This game does not end until we see a score. We could be here for the next hour, guys. If there is no score, we could be here for the next hour, but you'll probably see one in the next 5 to 10 minutes. But we could technically be here until tomorrow. We could technically be here until next year. This game does not end until there is a score. Raiders here, Simi Sasunga to the 44 and 4 tackle. Owen Paddy, he's at the 50. He will give it underneath here to Morgan Smithies, I think it is. And it'll be fit tackle at the 45. Look how tired everyone is, man. Owen Paddy off to Jamal Fogarty. And now he'll just put that ball up in the air. Good chase through here from Jed Stewart. Oh, knocked back. Raiders! Jamal Fogarty! The Raiders are through! The Raiders are through! The Raiders win in Golden Point. The Raiders are the preliminary final and Broncos. You're playing the Sharks next week. Jed Stewart, take a bow. That is phenomenal stuff there from Jed Stewart. That is phenomenal stuff from Jed Stewart. To chase that through, they're all exhausted. He hits the ball back, run through from Zach Hosting to get the ball to Jamal Fogarty, and then Fogarty will score basically right to the post. Raiders are your preliminary final hosts against whoever wins out of the Bulldogs and Panthers, and the Storm are the preliminary final hosts against whoever wins out of the Sharks and the Broncos. But you know what, Broncos fans? You've got to hang your head damn well high. You've got to hold your head high, sorry. You've got to hold your head high. This has been a great game. This has been an absolute game for the ages, dude. A game for the absolute ages. Mate, says Ricky, you're going to be so proud about that. Well, mate, Broncos might not be with Reece Walsh next week. They are still checking this try, mind you. They are still checking this try. They are still checking this try. This is not game over yet. Yeah, win for the Titans, Monica Vids. They haven't confirmed this try yet, mind you. They haven't confirmed this try yet, lads. They might say this is a knock on Jed Stewart. They're going to go to the bunker here, lads. This game's not over. This is the greatest game we've ever seen. We might be about to see a no try. I think Jed Stewart touches this ball first and goes forward. We just need to see if it goes forward or backwards, though. This is crazy. We just need to see if this goes forward or backwards from Jed Stewart. Oh, dude. I don't want to be the bunker here to make this call. Right finger of Jed Stewart first. Then the hand of Josiah. Knock on. First knock on is Canberra. So it's a no try. And it will not be game over yet, lads. Oh, come on. Oh, this is crazy, dude. This is going to be Broncos ball at the 20 on 0 tackle. Game's still on, lads. The game is still on. Raiders have thought they've won this game twice today. They had a bunker review for a penalty at full time of the game, and then they've just had a bunker review on a no try. Well, after a try has been scored. Second tackle here for the Broncos. They're 33 metres out. Second tackle. Yeah, the commentary's talking about what I was just saying before. I don't know why I know that. You don't know that commentary, considering you're the professionally paid commentators here, but we do just keep going here. Third tackle at the 45 for the Broncos. They go to Paddy Carrigan. Carrigan at the back here to Ben Hunt. Ben Hunt at the back. Reece Walsh nearly breaks through, but good bump there from Matty Tumoko. Fourth tackle now, Payne Haas. He will get this ball to the 35. He can't get the offload away. Fifth tackle. All right, do they go for the field goal? They do. Ben Hunt to go for the win. Oh! He got it! Oh my gosh, the Broncos. I'm pretty certain the Broncos just won. Oh my gosh, Raiders fans might. That is actually the most insane way to lose a game. Ben Hunt has just kicked a field goal. The Raiders won this game twice and then lost it twice and then have just lost it. Oh! That is just absolutely wild. Well, Broncos, you're in the preliminary final at Suncorp Stadium against the winner of Bulldogs Panthers. Raiders, you are playing the Cronulla Sharks in Canberra next week, and you could get bounced out in straight sets. I actually am speechless, Jozzy. You know, well done, Broncos. Congratulations. What a crazy game. That might be the greatest finals game. That might be one of the greatest games I've ever watched. It might have just been one of the greatest games I've ever watched. I actually can't believe what we just witnessed there. The Raiders won that game twice, lads. They won that game twice, and then the bunker has given... Again, the bunker has made the correct call in regards to a penalty for running through the legs. That is the correct call. I disagree with the NRL ruling of placing the kick from right in front with a field goal, like coming through the legs for a penalty right in front. I disagree with that, but it's still the rule. So it's the correct call there. And the Raiders were celebrating, and then the Raiders celebrate again with a try to Jamal Fogarty, but they come back after the try to go to the bunker for Jed Stewart knocking it on, and then the Broncos in the next second the field goal and win the game. But the Raiders were up by 16 points in this game, lads. You know, the thing is, Broncos fans, I've got to warn you, you will play in the preliminary final, which is awesome, and you'll play against the Bulldogs or the Panthers. But the issue is you may not have Reece Walsh. You also may not have Paddy Carrigan. I don't know who's back out of guys like Adam Reynolds and Ezra Mam and Xavier Willison and Selwyn Cobbo, but you are likely to be without Reece Walsh if the NRL has the balls to suspend him for the headbutt. And Paddy Carrigan might get suspended, but then again, it comes down to the NRL having the balls to do the right thing in regards to those suspensions. So it is very interesting what Broncos players will be there. The Raiders, obviously, you're taking on the Sharks next week. You have a genuine chance of getting knocked out in straight sets. Like a genuine chance. Funny Cats Vid says, Channel 9 straight to the news. Otherwise says, holy shit, what an insane game. One of the greatest games I've ever seen. If you're a Raiders fan, you just couldn't even survive. Ashley Klein versus the Raiders, no broski. No, you can't be unfair to this game, bro. You can't be unfair in this game. What are we claiming that Ashley Klein has done wrong here? What if we claimed he called it as a try for the Raiders when it was a knock-on, and at the end of the day, he also didn't call the penalty even though the play was taken through? What are you claiming was again from Ashley Klein that cost the Raiders here? Because at the end of the day, the Broncos' penalty count as well was penalties conceded 7 from the Broncos and 5 from the Raiders. You know, the Raiders made 17 errors in this game. The Broncos made 12 errors in this game. The ruck infringements was 6-2 against the Raiders and 1-0 10 metres. But the penalties conceded was more from the Broncos. Where are you blaming the referee here? It's unfortunate you've lost and you've thrown away a game when you're up by 16 points with like 15 minutes to go. Why is it the referee's fault for that? Challenge me, geeks. I just witnessed the most corrupt piece of refereeing I've ever seen in the Raiders vs Broncos. What are you complaining about, man? What are you complaining about? You know, I won't leave until I hear what is your legitimate reasoning for how the Raiders have been robbed there. You can clearly see Jed Stewart touches the ball for a knock-on. And you can clearly see that the Raiders have run through the player's leg on a field goal. That is a penalty, and that is a knock-on. I'm arguing for the Broncos here. In what world is there corruptness there? In what world are they the wrong decisions? In what world? Raiders robbed. Well, you're an idiot if you think that, because you don't know what you're watching. Again, I'm not a fan of the Broncos whatsoever, but I'll tell you right now, they deserve to win that game. They earned the win. The Raiders were up by 16 points with like 15 minutes to go. We'd seen 2 bins for the Broncos and 1 bin for the Raiders. And the Broncos have had to work their way back into it. By the way, away from home in Canberra. And by the way, both of those are legitimate. Ashley Klein is not to blame for the Raiders losing this game. You know what? You fucking are. You are to blame for the loss of this game. You're up by 16 and get complacent, and you need this roasting because your team has been known as the Canberra Faders for a long time. You cannot take this loss out on Ashley Klein. You need to take it out in the fact that you didn't play the full 94 minutes of this game. You didn't play the full 80 minutes of this game. The Broncos earned this win. They deserved this win. Regardless if you hate them, regardless if you're a Rays fan, you have to give credit when the team does well. You can't just blame referees when it's not the referee's fault that you lost this game. Fortnite says, good day to be alive, boys. Vonnie Hunter says, Raiders fans can't take a loss. Like, come on. Come on. Reece Robin says, this guy's talking rubbish. Kemp was robbed. Yeah, well, shush. Justin says, how are the refs cheating? Exactly right. Because this is the thing. All these people here that are chatting cannot tell you legitimately what was incorrect. They can't tell you. They're just complaining for the sake of complaining. They're desperate to say that their team isn't accountable. And that's why I say with the Titans, the only time I could criticise the referees and complained overall about the referees was the Panthers game. Outside of that, we lost every game fair and square, and then we won our games when we did. But we lost our games fair and square, and we were absolutely shithouse throughout the season. But to come first, play a home final, to lead 16 points with a man advantage, despite the fact you went down 1, they went down 2. And then you have the audacity to blame the referee for throwing that game. You are known as the faders for a reason, and I like the Raiders. I would like to see the Raiders do well, but I think you lose to the Sharks next week. I'm going to tip the Sharks next week because you're going to be exhausted, and that was embarrassing how you've thrown that game away. You know what? Congratulations for making it a really competitive game, but you are expected to do that as the first place team. We have just seen in the AFL, the Adelaide Crows got knocked out in straight sets. The Adelaide Crows lose the first week, and the Adelaide Crows lose the second week. Well, Raiders, you are on a fast track, express track to doing the exact same thing as the Adelaide Crows. Because you can't become complacent when you're up by 16 in a finals game. Astronomical says, my heart just went on a marathon after the sin bin started rolling. Broncos conceded 2 and the rest is history. Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, though, I need to come back to the Broncos here, and I've got to say, it is a very big worry whether you see Reece Walsh play that preliminary final. It is a very big worry whether you see Paddy Carrigan play that final. I don't know how long Adam Reynolds is out for, but do you bring Adam Reynolds back in? If Reece Walsh is out, you definitely bring him back in. But also Ben Hunt and Billy Walters are winning games as your halves. Corey Pace is doing well on the 9. But if Reece Walsh is out in the fullback, well, you know, do you change the halfback situation again, put Ben Hunt back to the 9? Or is that man? I don't know your kind of injury situation, but the biggest issue, you're going to be waiting for that judiciary to see if Reece Walsh gets suspended for a headbutt and Paddy Carrigan is allowed to play as well. Because you're already without Xavier Willison and so on cover for the rest of the year. Matthew S. says, as neutral, the double bin should have been a bin nothing or a send-off bin. The fact that it was given a bin each way was probably the worst call the ref made. I agree with that. I don't think Hudson Young should be binned. I think Reece Walsh should have been sent off. Reece Walsh should have been sent off, which actually is the game right there. So if you want to complain about something which is based off of your opinion, mind you, it's not a fact, it's not something that you can 100% go off, but based off of your opinion, if you're the referee, yeah, you could, and I believe this is the wrong call here from Ashley Klein. I believe you send off Reece Walsh for a headbutt, which ultimately the game's over then because Reece Walsh just won the game for the Broncos effectively. And then you don't bin Hudson Young because Hudson Young is entitled to do that. He hasn't come up and shoved him. He hasn't come up and headbutted him. He hasn't thrown a punch. He is screaming in his face passionately, which you can warn him for, and that's a warning every day of the week. But to sin bin Hudson Young and to have the same reaction for Reece Walsh, who has headbutted Hudson Young and then shoved him to the ground, is the incorrect call from Ashley Klein. So if you want to criticise that, then sure, I'm okay with you criticising that. But also, I worry if Payne Haas will be able to play that preliminary final because he got injured in this game. Sharks weren't amazing, though. Roosters just had so many errors. That's an absolutely incorrect statement, Sniper Wombat. That is an absolutely incorrect statement to say the Sharks weren't amazing yesterday. The Sharks deserved that on their defense. They could have absolutely collapsed under the pressure in the 40 to 50th minute, and they didn't. The Roosters are known for coming and absolutely slapping teams in that 40 to 50th minute, which takes you down, and then they just go on with it. You didn't watch the same game as what I've watched if you think that the Sharks weren't amazing. The Sharks deserved that. They didn't fold under the pressure, as they have for many, many years now. The Roosters are a form team. They're a hot team, especially in that 10-minute period, and yet they weren't able to get over the top of the Sharks. The Roosters made the errors, sure. Sharks made errors too, but the Sharks were very clearly the better team across the game defensively, and the Sharks didn't play 94 minutes right now to lose. So, no, I think that's crazy. Broski says, Parrot Eels have been the Prem. Oh, that's ridiculous. Josie passes, yeah, Young shouldn't have been binned for talking smack. I agree. Gary says, I'm off to play golf now, Blaze. Great stream again. You are as entertaining as the matches, even this one. Have a great rest of the weekend, guys. Appreciate you, Gary. Get around you. Challenge McGee says the capital city corruption arrest to back Melbourne and Brisbane continues. Yeah, sure. Happy Snake says, wait, why is the Titans on top of the ladder? Because this is a legitimate ladder, mate. This is the real ladder, mate. You know, we don't talk. We're serious channel here, man. Serious Stanmore channel. That's right. Bruce says, who won? The Broncos won 29-28. One of the craziest games. I can't believe you missed it. This truly is the greatest. This truly is the greatest game of all. Oh, it's an unbelievable. Rugby league is just... How good is rugby league? You know, how good is rugby league? And that's why we're still here. Like, we were meant to finish this game up 40 minutes ago, lads. No, even before that. This has been going for probably an extra 50 minutes. I've been live nearly 4 hours now. Gary says, so who plays the Titans in the finals? In the final, gee whiz. Well, we've already won, so it don't really matter. Albert Gals says Broncos. Yep, they won. Yeah, they won. Storm vs Broncos in the finals. Well, no, broski. Oh, unless you say grand final. I don't think so. I think that it just comes down to the judiciary. But, like, Panthers and Bulldogs can both beat the Broncos. But the only issue is that the Broncos have beaten the Bulldogs twice this year. One where it was an origin game where all the players in Broncos and Bulldogs were out. So you don't really look at that. Bulldogs were up 18-0, Broncos won 20-18 or whatever it was. So they came back and won that game. The first game was a 42-18 win for the Broncos where they led 32-0 in half-time. That was the first game the Bulldogs lost all season. So you would lean with the Broncos there, but this is also a Bulldogs team. It'd be very difficult, but Crichton apparently is out for the rest of the year. So that's where I probably do think the Broncos go and win that game. The Panthers, though, I think with this result, we may have just seen the best chance of a Panthers versus Storm grand final. I think with the Broncos winning this, we have just seen the greatest chance of a Panthers versus Storm grand final. Because now it looks likely the Panthers, if Nathan Cleary plays next week and is not injured, it looks likely that the Panthers will beat the Bulldogs with no Crichton and with a couple of injuries for the Dogs. And then I think the Panthers with a full-strength team beat the Bronx. And that means that you would have to rely upon Sharks or Raiders beating the Storm in the preliminary final. Otherwise, we might be about to see a Panther Storm grand final, which is going to suck, dude. After all this amazing year, it actually looks quite likely, if you think about it, of a Panthers versus Storm grand final again. Oh, for gosh sake. Happy Birds won't Storm be on top? Why? What? They're in the preliminary final. Raiders' run has got so much harder. Sharks and then Storm if they get that far. Yeah. Well, no, you're still going to play the Panthers or the Bulldogs in the preliminary final if you had won this game. It just means you've got that extra game. But, you know, it's funny how people have changed their mind of the Sharks. You know, because for so long everyone said the Sharks were going to be straight out. The Sharks weren't even favourites yesterday. And now people think that they're the hard game. I actually think the Sharks win that game next week. Storm Panthers grand final, who would you be going for? I wouldn't give a shit. Jodsy passes, Destiny arrives all the same. Storm and Panthers rematch. Oh, gosh. What a shockingly shithouse grand final to have to watch. Up the wires says Raiders will smash the Storm and Sharks. Up the wires, you have just watched what we've just watched, and you have the confidence the Raiders will smash two teams that actually they went to the wire against. The Raiders played the Sharks earlier in the year at about round 4, and it took in the last seconds an 80-metre try from Sebastian Kris for them to win that game 24-20. And then the other game against the Storm was a 20-18 win for the Raiders against the Storm. And you've just watched this game here where they've thrown away a 16-point lead at home against the Broncos team that had two players sin bin in this game. And you have the confidence to say the Raiders are going to smash both of the Sharks and Storm. Mind you, the Raiders lost this game when they threw an intercept potentially to Dean Mariner to the left-hand side. Otherwise, they would have had a field goal from right in front. Alex says, never gave up with the Broncos. Well, you would have with 16 points down. It was a miracle turnaround. It was incredible. Shannon says, Raiders still to win the grand final. This is what the boys need to be tested. Everyone says that, man. Everyone says that. I don't think in the finals you needed a loss. I don't agree. I think that if you lose within the last 4 weeks before going into the finals on a legitimate full strength, I think that sure you can argue that you needed that, but I don't think that any game in the finals is a we needed to lose that game. I don't think so. If you go on to win the comp, that's great, but I don't think that any game is if we needed to lose this game to do better. Like, we're in the finals, lads. We're in the finals. There's no we needed it. You can't use that excuse. We cannot use that excuse. Go Bronx, dickhead. Well, I just was very excited for the Broncos to win that. They deserved the game, BRFC. Otherwise, I don't want to see Panthers Storm final again. No, no one does, man. No one does. So that's the thing. Like, that's what I'm talking about. People don't understand. Like, if you watch my reaction to that, I gave you a very fair reaction to the Broncos. They absolutely deserved to win that game. Funny Cat Fitz says, will the Titans make any big name sign? Oh, we'll talk about that another time, bro. Not the time. Kane says, I highly doubt they're smashing a rested Storm on a Sharks team that hasn't played so many minutes. Raiders looked like they were tired and done since the 80th minute. The Raiders looked like they were like tired and done from about the 65th minute, really. The 65th minute. But the Raiders still had multiple opportunities to win that game. Psychonaut says, down minus 16 and taking it all the way to Golden Point and winning make this match deserving of a Wikipedia page? What? What? Benjamin says, you have always rubbished the Broncos. Get that in ya? Well, no, at the end of the day, like, yeah, of course, I'm not a big fan of the Broncos. Just like I'm sure that you would obviously rubbish my team and whatnot. At the end of the day, you still have to respect when the right result happened. And at the end of the day, the Broncos deserved that result. So, yeah, I'll rubbish the Broncos and I'll say the Broncos can get fucked right to your face. I couldn't care less because at the end of the day, I can still respect that they absolutely deserved that win. They lost the game twice, but they still came back from 16 down. But I do worry that you will lose Reece Walsh. You might not have Payne Haas and you will potentially lose Paddy Carrigan. So it's like, yeah, sure, you can hate on it all you like. I'll still maintain the fact that as a rival fan, of course I don't like the Broncos winning. But also, as a commentator who watches the games, the Broncos deserve to win that game. You're never going to get me telling a lie for the sake of my distaste for a club. Just like you dislike me, you can't respect the fact that at the end of the day, I genuinely believe the Broncos are well and truly deserving to win that game and have actually had to go against Raiders fans who have complained this game was a robbery. I've defended the Broncos today. So you can dislike me all you like, but at the end of the day, I live rent-free in your head regardless, and I'm still able to tell you what I think about the Broncos in a legitimate time like this where they win 29-28. And that's why I reply to you. Like, you can hate on me all you like, but you're here. I'm not where you are. You're here watching me. So, rent-free in your head regardless, Mr. Benjamin Cox. Get that in you. Justin says, why are the Storm always so good every year? Because they are just a very fantastically built team, developed from the bottom all the way to the top. A lot of their foundations were built off of the 2000s cheating and stuff like that. But, ultimately, they just are such a successfully run team. Matthew S says, why do the two teams that played last have the earlier game next week and the Panthers Dogs have the Sunday game? That feels wrong. Oh, do we have a Saturday game next? Do we have Saturday, Sunday? No Friday night game. Is it no Friday night game? Is it no Friday night? Dearie me. Bulldogs Panthers on Sunday, 3 p.m. Raiders Sharks. Wow, that's even worse for the Raiders, lads. That is even worse for the Raiders. Raiders will play Sharks on Saturday at GIO Stadium in the earlier game than the Shark. What's it called? Dear me, what am I blanking right now? Oh, then the Panthers and the Bulldogs. Tom says, you've always been completely fair, even when Broncos get the rub of the green, and I agree with you, and that is a Broncos fan for you. But obviously you get these cucks here who just watch on from afar and they think that they get you just because the team wins. It's like, they deserve to win today, 100%. Ryson says, it hurts me to admit as a Titans fan the Broncos were great after Walsh came back on. Walsh absolutely was fantastic. Walsh was fantastic. He'll be lucky if he gets to play the preliminary final, if the NRL has the balls to do what is necessary. But if he does play like this, Broncos team could go even further. That was a good game from him. To be honest, I don't know how the Broncos came back from 16 points down. They honestly shouldn't have won that. Why, Happy Snakes? Why would you say they shouldn't have won that? Why would you say they shouldn't have won that? Based off of what? Shannon says, no doubt we will all be back here next week. Same time, same channel. Congrats once again, Olivia, and all Broncos supporters. Well done. Good comment. They came back with 2 bins and misconversions. Raiders choked, unfortunately, 100%. But also, the Broncos were still very fast, very good. Again, we'll disagree with the no send-off of Reece Walsh and the binning of Hudson Young, but overall, the Broncos were the better team. Broncos fans won't be washing off their texture tats when they shower later on tonight. Ali says, please answer me truly, was that a try Raiders done? No, it wasn't. You can't call that as a try. Jed Stewart touches it. It goes into the Broncos player. He's trying to hit it backwards, but it kind of comes like this, right? Kind of comes like that into the Broncos player, which would make it a knock-on. I'm okay with it being called a knock-on. Again, he's trying to hit it back, but he doesn't get a hold of it. And the reason why it does go that way, that direction, is because it comes off of the shoulder or the hand, I think it was the shoulder of the Broncos player, which goes forward. So it is a knock-on from the Raiders. So no, it is the correct call. as someone who watched the game for some time, that 1 week off is always crucial. Sort of, Nishon. Sort of. Sometimes you can see teams struggle with a week off, and sometimes you can see teams need the week off. I think that the week off for the Broncos here is very critical because, one, they don't have to go a long way. They've had a 94-minute game, now they get 2 weeks off. I'm going to get 1 week off, sorry, but 2 weeks, you know what I mean? And also, the fact is that they take on a Bulldogs or a Panthers team here. A Bulldogs or a Panthers team. The Panthers might have Cleary injured. The Bulldogs have a few players injured. The Broncos might be able to come into the right time, but it gives Reynolds an extra week. I don't know about the Ezra Mamsell Cup and whatnot. I think Xavier Willison's done for the season, but they have a chance to be able to bring a couple players back for the Broncos, but it just comes down to if Reece Walsh and Paddy Carrigan are available, and if Payne Haas got injured tonight. That's the only issue. Thanks for the stream up the Titans. Get around your funny cat vids. Ali says, do you think the Raiders will bounce back? I actually think the Sharks could win next week. Josie Parsons Welsh will get 2 weeks off if the NRL has balls too. They won't do it. There's no way they make him miss 2 weeks. No way. No chance. No chance. But guys, I'm going to jump off. I will see you guys. We're going to go live for tomorrow for the post-season reviews. We're going to do 2 season reviews per day. We were meant to only do 1 last week, but we had a few internet troubles. So tomorrow, we've got the Knights and also the Titans season reviews. On Tuesday, we'll do the St. George Illawarra Dragons and the South Sydney Rabbitohs, and Wednesday, Thursday, so on, right? So, I appreciate you guys for you as usual, whether you're a lover, whether you're a hater, I appreciate you because no matter what, you are here and enjoying the stream. It's been a massive game today, really enjoyable game. Hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you're new around here, and I will see you guys for the next stream. And next week, big games, man. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.